Looking at Polly's Diner. Polly's Diner.
Welcome back to another FAQ podcast where we answer all of your questions. This time we're talking about Batman because apparently it's broken on the PC.
Wait, we're playing on PC.
And we're playing on PC, and so the game might break. There's Bruce.
Oh, that's me, right?
It's Bruce!
People keep tweeting me with that picture. It's like, why are you in the game?
You're like, I wish I could play it.
For your likeness.
Hold on, Henry Adams is missing. That
He
won't
is.
factor in later.
I forget it. Oh, wait, it does factor in later. I
Wow,
forgot.
This guy has.
Is that
like,
the timekeeper? What's his
Whoa,
name?
Jesus.
Man,
She looks
This
like
guy
she
has-
just got incinerated.
He's got robot eyes.
I'm piloting the game right now. Lawrence, want to take a... Yeah,
Wait a minute. I thought
piloting.
this was supposed to be a DLC mission where you go crazy and kill everybody.
No, this is the very intro of the game.
They lied to me.
Anyway.
Just like they lied about the PC port, which is
Not
that's
suspicious.
Cute. Oh,
it's Halloween.
Go ahead. You can ask the first
So if
question.
you guys are unfamiliar, the PC port of Arkham Knight is apparently terrible.
What?
Adam hasn't had any issue with it,
We'll
but
find
we'll get
out.
to that
Well,
soon.
yeah, I'll break down the setup.
People are getting real conspiratorial with it, saying that saying that Rocksteady and Nvidia lied about all this stuff and
Oh
faked
my
all these
gosh.
videos. And so I'm not going to dig into that too much. We're going to talk more about the broad business implications of PC gaming and why this stuff happens, and answering your questions. So Weed Zero Monkey, frequent submitter to the show, nice to hear from you again. Weed Monkey writes, "What do you think about console ports to PC and vice versa? Do you think it should be one way or the other? Also, what are your opinions on third-party companies handling the ports to the other platforms? Do you think it should be done by the main company itself as they are more familiar with the game?"
Yes, but that means the game won't come out for another year and a half.
Well, that's like what
Rockstar.
Rockstar did.
Yeah.
And everybody whined and whined and whined and whined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people make those comparisons and other questions. The thing I want to impress with this question is making a game and porting a game. It's work either way, and one is not necessarily like rote. It's not easy to port, so please don't assume that it's just like they were lazy and didn't do their jobs. But
with the new console, it's supposed to be
It's
supposedly
closer.
easier, right?
yeah,
Because they're closer to PC architecture.
exactly
Right.
I'm not sure that we're exactly seeing the benefits of that yet. I think that'll happen, but there are companies that specialize in ports. That's just what they do. So there's a level of expertise there. You wouldn't know it, apparently, based on the quality of Arkham Knight. But everybody has their role, you know? Like, everybody has their specialty. So Rocksteady, they're good at designing and developing a game. Maybe not so good at porting what runs well on a PS4 or Xbox One specific engine to a PC engine that has to run on 30 different video cards, 20 different processors,
Yeah.
18 different versions of drivers that are all different and have their own quirks. Like, there's a lot of work to be done.
It's a strange double-edged sword where so many people, the PC, the spools of the world, will basically...
PC.
Yeah, and whereas like
Is it?
the benefit of console is you know what the hardware is. It's streamlined across all owners. Basically, you know what you're working with, and so that's why you'll get like apparently Arkham Knight on PS4 is like amazing. It runs fine. There are no problems whatsoever. PC though is fragmented, and you're gonna have issues with different video cards, different processors, all this stuff. So PC players can have their, the master race or whatever, put their nose up in the air of like, look how much better we have it. But then they will get very upset when the ports are bad because there's a bunch of different hardware out there.
But I'm going to
So-
kind of go out on a limb here, and you can disagree with me if you want. I think that's kind of the way it's always been.
It absolutely is.
Because PC there are thousands, probably millions of combinations of different hardware in anybody's PC at any given time. So making a port is a lot harder than on a console, because a console you can rely on one piece of hardware.
Yep.
On PC you cannot.
It gets even worse when you factor in software. People have, Bongo Buddy, Clippy Helper,
Booty box.
Boonty Box.
Oh, hold on now. Boonty Box, that only optimizes.
You can have any number of pieces of software running that could, for reasons completely unknown and unpredicted, fuck with your game.
Yeah.
And you would like to think that an operating system would prevent that from happening, but there's always a trade-off between freedom and a closed system.
I was gonna say, and then you can take it even a step further. From my understanding, which we'll never really get an actual number on, but sales on PC are usually the lowest of
Oh, yeah.
everything out there.
Like a
So-
20th of console
Even lower
sales.
than Wii U?
So now look at this. I guess like from
Maybe not.
from the
Maybe
consumer
not.
perspective, this blows. This
Yeah.
sucks. I'm with you there. From the publisher developer angle, this is fragmented and it's going to sell the lease on here. Why waste my time?
Yeah.
That's kind
So-
of the Android compared to iTunes was that way for the longest time.
Yeah, it
It
was.
still is. Look at Bethesda, where they're like,
still is to a degree.
Android, we're not going to put our game on there. And it's
Yeah.
like more people use Android. They're like, yeah, but we want those rich people who buy iPads.
That's the thing. For the longest time, your average user on iTunes was way more willing to spend money. So even though there were a lot of unwashed Android users out there, it didn't make sense to target them because they wouldn't spend any fucking money. You would rather go after the 1,000 people that are actually going to spend money than the 100,000 and they'll never spend a dime.
All right.
And we can get more into that with some other questions that kind of target that issue directly. Venjitsu writes, disregarding the broken launch, how do you feel about the game? How do you feel about how the game fits into the trilogy? What do you think of the new combat mechanics and the development of the different characters? That's going to be an Adam question because I'm still trying to.
Quadrilogy.
You haven't started playing
Yeah.
yet, have you?
No, not
I'm
this
still
one.
working on Origins, which I
So,
like.
so yeah, Adam's the only one I think's actually played.
I've played all of them. Yeah, I've played Arkham City twice.
Nerd.
All the rest of them I played twice. I'm a huge Batman nerd. I will admit that openly.
Yeah.
I've watched Justice League many times, Batman Beyond many times. Yeah, I'm the biggest Batman fan in the room.
Shui.
Yeah, I hate how they said that. But I love the game. I think it flows. The best thing I compare it to is Assassin's Creed 2. How quickly the story moves.
Ooh.
How just it moves you from one part of the game to the other, just seamlessly. Gameplay-wise, it's fantastic.
What about the story?
Story's really good. I don't want to spoil it. We might get to it in this part, but
Oh man, I finished I finished
man.
Arkham City lately, and I was like,
there
really? It was just kind of an excuse to cram villains right next to each
There
other.
is a thing they do in the very beginning that is a very clever way of introducing an old character.
Fuck me.
It's a gorgeous
so
game.
cool.
The Scarecrow thing? Or something else?
It has something to do with the Scarecrow.
Spoiler alert!
I'll
we
say
just
this.
saw it.
Okay,
It was
I'll
at the very beginning.
I'll say this.
not
it has,
that, not
it has
that.
to do with the Scarecrow and the fear toxin.
Oh.
I guess also a late heads up. There's gonna be a lot of spoilers in this if you're watching the gameplay.
Yeah.
If you want to avoid those, but they do this really cool thing with it where I'm like, they added a part to the story that it integrates with the gameplay that they did not have to do, and it's so well done. I want to give this game like a couple weeks to breathe before we do like a full anything on it. But God, it's as a Batman fan, I couldn't have asked for.
So you're
anything
saying
better.
the Batmobile has Barbara Gordon's AI implanted
God, the
into it,
Batmobile's awesome.
and she is your
I found
Cortana.
it to be gratuitous, and the game has a woman problem.
Oh,
Fuck
me.
I will say this. Okay,
Well, I might actually. Batman's kind of.
there is a scene where they recreate a
Very
very
Frank
famous
Miller-y.
scene from The Killing Joke, which I was like, I
Barbara
am so
Gordon's right there. She's
I-
gonna die.
That's Oracle. It's also
Nice
Barbara.
try,
Look at-
Lawrence.
give her little bat ears.
Lawrence's face
like,
when you
"What?"
basically said exactly the same thing he did.
But when he's on her arm, it's Oracle.
Wait,
my
did he
gosh.
have glowy Batman eyes there? Or was
Yeah, he did.
No,
he
he
just freaking
no,
out?
No, he just
Next
has.
question.
Or that was just
Yeah.
a PC problem.
All right, the six.
Wow, thanks.
The Six Espada writes, do you think that the game should have been delayed again to prevent an unsteady launch, and more games should follow in the footsteps of how Rockstar handled the PC launch of GTA 5?
No, and I'll tell you why. I think that usually, and this is just from a purely search traffic sales point of view, typically if you're not Grand Theft Auto 5 and no game is, then you want to capitalize on all the hype behind it. Because this company, Warner Brothers, spent millions of dollars marketing this game. And they're throwing it down the drain if they release the PC port 6 months, a year later. Because then they have to market it all again, and everybody's like, I don't give a shit, I already played that game on console.
I guess the option is either it doesn't come out or they put out a buggy version, which I don't like that at all. But that seems to be their attitude of like, well, we gave it to you, just be happy you got something.
Well,
You're just gonna pirate it anyway, so whatever.
They also patch it, so
Yeah.
they'll patch the games that don't work, and that's the one thing that I've always sort of expected with the PC game is that I don't think it'll be perfect when it comes out. I've never expected that, but I also expect it to be playable. Now, so far so good, right? We're playing it here. Adam's been playing
So
at home,
the big problem here is the game is running at 30 frames a second, which
Oh.
for a game like this I don't really mind. And I'm apparently a casual.
I think,
Plebeian.
yeah, you're in the minority. I think.
Yeah.
Pleb.
Well, for a third-person action game like this that is so freaking cinematic, I'm like, I hate when publishers and
Look at
developers
YMCA.
say that. I do hate when they use that term when they're like, it's a cinematic experience. And it's like, but it's Batman. Like,
That's like
it
the
is
order.
it is cinematic.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's a first-person shooter where like it's like Counter-Strike Go, yes, it needs to be 60 frames at least.
I mean, there's also kind of a precedent. Were any of the prior ones in 60 frames?
On
played it on
PC,
PC,
yeah. You can get the game to run in 60 frames. You just have to change an INI file, which is like you shouldn't have to do that. It should just be in
Yeah,
the
that's
settings.
dumb.
It is dumb you have to do that, and then I think people are having performance problems when they change the INI file, and they're like, "Well, I changed this thing, and now it's broken." And
Batman's
it's like,
a dick. He's just gonna leave him up there.
Yeah,
Would you rather
Have
them,
fun going home, jackass.
rather
Lift
th-
can't get up here.
Would you rather them put like the 60 frames option in there, but with like a heavy warning that
Yeah,
says warning
like
this could
this-
break your computer,
it-
or would
it-
you rather them make it complicated and only like the diehard?
Yeah,
fans
I
really
mean,
want 60?
I would prefer them to make it just work.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it,
of course.
60 frames shouldn't be a a mythological thing at this point.
Well,
Like it should just work.
Obviously, this game, though, again, probably designed more for console than for PC.
100%.
Wasn't designed to run at 60 frames a second on the consoles.
Right.
So then when you change that INI file, like, I bet all the PC guys at Rocksteady are like, well, it'll work, but not for very long. So like, like, good luck.
I was
type
watching
thing.
a Total Biscuits video, and he was when he went through the controller setting, it showed a PS4 controller, which was weird. But I guess if you unplug it, maybe it shows it. Maybe I'll crash the game.
Oh,
I shouldn't
please.
do that.
Oh boy.
So on the subject of like Bruce was saying to start, there's a lot of time, effort, and money put into a marketing campaign. I feel like a lot of people noticed it, but didn't know they noticed it when it came to Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs had a really good PR campaign, really good rollout of like gameplay features and all that stuff. People were really excited for that game when it was supposed to come out, but it got delayed. And by the time it arrived, everybody's like, I kind of don't care, and I wonder why. And they were like being like, oh, did the hype train derail or whatever? No, they had a plan, and the plan got fucked because the game got delayed. That's exactly what happened.
Also,
so.
people's hype were like hyped the game differently than what it came out being.
Doesn't
I guess
matter.
I'm trying to say.
Well,
Like,
that
so
doesn't
people-
matter.
So
That-
that
yeah.
kind of fed into
If it came out when
yeah.
it was supposed to, people would have bought it, and whether they were happy with it or not doesn't really amount
Still
to
sold
anything.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would have been
so-
like it was still a marketing win, and it did sell well. You're right; it sold phenomenally well for a new IP. But that's something that I was hoping a lot of gamers would realize. Like, wow, we are kind of subject to good marketing, which is not a bad thing.
So is every human.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
yeah,
It's
I
not a
was
bad
gonna
thing.
say.
Just be aware that it's
Not
happening.
me.
Yeah, spools and
Sure,
me.
you're not spoiled.
I'm in the 1%.
We've played your shitty games.
Condog writes, hi all. Do you guys feel that the PC community is just a loud vacuum, or does the crowd as a whole feel the weight of bad ports, thus this volatile reaction?
I don't feel any air sucking around.
I would hope some people at Rocksteady realize that even if it is a loud vacuum, that this gets bad publicity all around. I guess I'm not exactly sure. I think he's asking, is this a vocal minority, or do all PC gamers feel this way?
Well, in every group, it's almost always vocal minorities you hear on the internet because
Yeah, that's true.
all the people who are okay or like something don't go out like broadcasting like, I love this game, it's the perfect game of the year, blah, blah, blah. Except for a few very minor few that do that. But in general, the comments you see on YouTube videos or on the forums or whatever, like it's always the people that aren't happy about something. Never the people that are neutral, for sure. Like it's usually just like the ones that are like, this game sucks.
Well, it's also
It
another
worked
thing
for me.
where if you say like I'm not having any problems, they're like you shill.
That's
You're lying.
That's what's funny to me because, like we were saying about PC components and all the different combinations of them, in the PC Master Race grouping, you have a group of people that all share your same perspective, but you're also utterly alone. Because you'll be like, well, I was trying to play Total War, and every time I loaded it up, it just crashed. And everyone's like, never happened to me. Sorry. And you're like,
That's
well, like, I don't know. And then you're like, and then you'll find, you're like, oh, it looks like an NVIDIA issue or something. And you go into an NVIDIA forum, but even in that forum, there's subsets
Oh,
of
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
when mine crashed, it was because of this kernel panic or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, and it's not even your issue. And you're like, ah.
Well, my favorite are like the people. There's like different sects, and there's like the people that have
Oh,
sects.
yeah, I love different sex.
PC gamers do not have sex.
There's the like ones that are always
They
have like
fuck
the top of
anime
the line
machines.
computers. Like, oh, if it doesn't run at 60 frames the entire time, I'm gonna be like grumbling the whole
that's
time.
cool.
Whereas like there's the other people who are
Kinda
like,
Dead
my
Spacey.
computer can run things like all the modern games. Like not necessarily the best, but they can run them. Then there's the people who are like, I can play LOL and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minecraft poorly.
Well,
Adam Scarecrow, he's right there.
Huh.
Look out!
Here.
You're going down.
Get him.
What's it do? No, I do remember that like when they announced the GTA 5 specs, they I remember they released it and all these guys were like, finally coming to PC, and this guy goes, oh, never mind, I can't play it. And it's like, shut up! Like
Yeah.
it was like, well, they didn't make it good enough for my $300 PC. It's like I don't know how.
$300 piece.
It's a weird thing. It's hard trying to make content for a reactionary group of people who will like love
Poor
you and
people.
hate you at the drop of a hat.
We should
Reactionary
specify,
poor
though,
people.
they did make a broken game, right? For whatever reason, they ended up with a game that seems to be broken for a majority of
What,
It
who?
its
seems
users.
this.
Well, it's broken
Rocksteady,
enough. It's broken
like-
enough. They pulled
Well,
it off the store, like
Yeah.
digital stores.
Removed it from Steam.
It was ported by a different company. I forget exactly who it was. Rocksteady did not do the PC version.
I actually. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, we are saying, oh well, there's all these excuses. There are excuses for this game being broken, but it also is broken,
Nice.
and that has to be something that has to be acknowledged.
Well,
you know?
I have a-
Rocksteady acknowledged it. They pulled the game from Steam.
Yeah, I actually have a theory on this. I think that companies recently, because of all the whining on the internet, are getting more reactionary to this. So I think that's why Rocksteady pulled it from Steam, because they're like, we don't want to hear it from the 10% of the audience that can't play the game. Because I'm sure they have statistics on how many people can play this on their PC.
Yeah.
And I very much doubt it's the majority of PC players. I very much doubt that. I think that there's a minority, but again, a vocal minority, and like we know, the gamer audience is so loud that they just don't want to hear it. They're just like, you know what? They're just like, hold on a second, we'll fix it. Just
Do you
give
think
us a
that they
second.
would pull it from Steam if
Yes.
it was a minority?
I do, and the reason I say is because I
she have pants?
think recently a lot of
She's
game
got a
companies,
leaf thong.
publishers, and things like that have started being more reactionary to this and started trying to help, but in just different ways.
I think it's bad PR. Like
Yeah,
we were
exactly.
saying, the value of a good marketing campaign. This is basically ruining that.
Right.
And I'm sure there are people that are second guessing whether or not they want to buy it on Xbox or PlayStation because they see a headline that says Arkham Knight
Doesn't
broken.
work, yeah.
You know, like.
Pulled from stores or like pulled down or whatever.
So as long as they can stop those headlines because there are no broken copies out there because they're not selling it anymore, that at least means.
It does make me wonder how much of the consumer base of a game even sees those headlines or even cares. Games sell in the like 5-6 million unit range, and the people that consume gaming media, like if you get PewDiePie numbers, okay, then you can almost draw one-to-one there.
That's not gaming media.
Yeah, but yeah, people that watch Let's Plays, people like gaming news, you're dealing with 200,000 to 300,000.
It's a smaller subsection.
Totally true. I don't think that everyone realizes that. I don't
Yeah,
think that
sure,
I don't
sure.
think that like executives realize
Correct,
that. I don't think like
I
that's
see.
the reason games media gets invited to huge, expensive, and lavish parties and all kinds of things that they shouldn't even be because they have no reach and they have no influence. Like because the marketing people don't know.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, games media, okay,
Yeah.
let's give IGN this thing, and then it gets 40,000 views. Or
Yeah.
that's not a shot at IGN. It's just like
Yeah.
in general,
Any
like
gaming media outlet,
and it's
yeah.
like,
yeah.
well, why would
they're
you
even
waste
like
that?
individual YouTubers. Like we met a.
Yeah,
Look, she's totally got breast implants.
She's
She
gonna
does.
kiss him.
That's
They're
something
made
I
of
know.
plants.
When I watched this,
Yeah, breast implants.
I already made that joke
I know
on
you did.
Twitter.
I'm aware of it.
But I'm saying like silicone implants.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, Adam. Go
They're
ahead.
little circuits.
Oh, I don't know. We met some kid who. Yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna get into it.
Oh, I wanted to hear it.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
all
hearing
right.
kid
Implant
stories.
joke.
yeah, what was
I
the
don't-
kid story?
It was we met. I forget which event we were at. Some kid got flown out, and he didn't know who we were. I didn't know who he was. But at some point at the end, he was like, well, by the way, check out my YouTube channel. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. We looked at it, and it was like he had like a lot of views. He didn't have a lot of subscribers, but each of his videos got like I don't know, like 3,000 views. But he had this sort of attitude of just like, I'm hot shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool, dude. Like, I guess maybe, but someone flew you out, so that's cool.
Yeah, someone thinks you're important.
Yeah. I
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying there's a discrepancy, possibly for the same reason that there is a discrepancy. You know, I think on two sides of things. There are people who are mistaken about how influential they are when they're shouting into the void of saying this
Sure,
game's
yeah.
broken, but then somehow through a weird game of telephone, they end up reaching the people that shouldn't at all care about them
I
shouting.
think you're very right. It's funny how people don't recognize that dissonance. Like Destiny sold crazy, and it did because they had like billboards and TV ads, and people on the internet are like, we don't get it, we don't like it, we told them we don't like it.
Yeah.
What? And it's like, well, they listen to you, sure, because they care about all of their consumers, and especially the most passionate ones. To put it in business speak, you can convert a passionate consumer into a marketer for you for free. So if you get somebody to tell their friends to buy the game and they do, that's good. You basically you got free marketing out of somebody who is a passionate fan.
You killed
But-
those guys.
Oh, they were like sandbags.
You
Uh,
ran over them like 3 times.
Nah, they're shocked.
Well,
it's
that's
fine.
They
those are
disappeared.
sand
They're fine.
tires.
They ran away.
They went
then-
to bed.
Tired.
They're sleeping.
Something like
They're
Aliens.
sleeping. They're asleep.
Something like Aliens Colonial Marines will sell really well because it has one of those stupid little covers over the theft detectors at Walmart. And somebody walks in and be like, aliens, awesome. I like aliens. I want to shoot aliens. They buy the game, they go home, they shoot aliens, and they have fun.
They cry.
No.
While
Not
having
really, no.
No.
I mean, it's like mass movies do well because it's not, like those don't make money off the backs of people that love movies and talk about them on forums every
Right,
day.
yeah.
fun. Like Paul Blart.
Yes, like Paul Blart
Yeah.
and like Transformers. Like
Grown-ups 12.
your average,
Ooh,
grown
grown-ups
ups
12?
18,
Man, I can't
Back
wait.
to the Sahara. It's basically like,
Is that the sequel to Sahara?
Well, there is also
Don't
the.
tease me.
We've talked about this before, and
they
it's always.
explode so pretty.
And
They cram them full of fireworks.
it's a great game. Well, and they're drones, so no one's dying spool. It's okay. You can go to bed feeling
Woo!
good today.
Yeah.
Well, those guys are still laying on the ground getting blown up.
Oh,
Oh, they're
you're-
okay though. They're sleeping.
I'm just saying, there's lots of people that Batman kills.
Never.
Hashtag real talk with Spool.
I mean, this goes back to I think we've brought up before, and it's always kind of worth bringing up because then this always gets into the thing where like I saw this Sharktoid article with like once again this proves people who pre-order games are fucking idiots, and it's like
Pre-orders had nothing to do with this.
yeah, it doesn't, and it's like you know what. I don't want to tell you how to spend your money. You're an adult, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, or you have an allowance. Whatever. You got to learn the value of money one way or the other. I hope you're doing some sort of research before you buy anything. You don't just blindly go into anything. That's just not smart when you live in this sort of economy.
Yeah.
Pre-orders, though, don't... Basically, what's interesting about them is similar to all the love Shenmue got, they basically drive interest. They gauge interest.
Yeah.
So the reason why Destiny had such a big marketing budget was their pre-order numbers were through the roof. And so Activision saw that and said, well, let's dump more money into it because people obviously want this. That's pretty much all a pre-order does.
Yep.
And people don't really understand that part of it. So once again, I'm not going to tell you to spend your money, but that's more or less why people are doing it. It's not sort of like, give me your money, before, and we're going to give you a shitty product. It's like, well, you should probably wait until see if the product's good or not. That's on you.
Yeah.
If you want to get a free hat or whatever for
Free hat.
oh, there's Spool. Yep, he's gonna buy it.
Funhaus fan writes, with so many
I'll
games...
be the judge of that.
Yeah. We'll see if we like your question or not. Writes, with so many games relying on day one updates and patches just to function on a semi-stable basis, what do you believe is the first step on the consumer end to help put a stop to a broken game shipping?
I think Adam just talked about it.
Kind of, yeah.
Don't buy it day
Wait.
one.
Well,
I mean, why-
so what
yeah.
frustrates me is you guys, and I say you guys in reference to the Steam market writ large, you guys are totally cool with unfinished games and paying for them.
It is
Yeah.
a weird.
It's just not okay for
Early
AAA
access.
devs to do it, apparently.
Well, it's
And you
yeah.
can tell yourself it's not done yet because PC ports rarely are, and do what Bruce said and wait a couple of months and tell yourself in your own head, if I want early
Well-
access, I'll buy it now. But if I want to wait until it actually probably should have shipped, I'm going to wait a couple
To
months
be
for a couple
fair,
patches.
the usually early access games, their prices are like $20, $25.
Yes, that is also
maybe
true.
$30, so they're half the price.
Well, also, Spool, if this was an early access game, this, I think, justifies $60 even as
Absolutely,
early
yeah,
access. Because
absolutely.
this is an awesome game.
Well, they're
if
like
it runs.
what is it? Elite Dangerous is like
Yeah.
in beta, and then
It's
they're
like
charging
$80.
yeah, like they're charging $75, $80
Star
for it.
Citizen.
So, but it's a fucking great game, but that doesn't mean it's going to work perfectly all the time because
No,
it's not
yeah.
fully finished yet. And I think that's one thing that we're learning with the talk with Jeff Gersman that I had during the E3 live stream was really interesting because he was like, yeah, on the one hand, there's millions of people buying these early access games and they're totally broken.
Yeah.
And so there's this huge market for these games that are completely broken. And then on the other hand, there's these people whining. And he said basically just amounts to two different audiences.
yes.
And
and expectations.
and expectations, yeah. I mean, and it was one of those things. Where he's like, they're still spending their money. The one thing that you can do to answer Funhouse fans' question is to not buy the game. So if you really are that upset about it, and you read all the news stories about how Arkham Knight is broken, and that it's the worst game in the world, then don't buy it.
Or get your refund, because
Yes.
now Steam, you can get
Steam
your refund
refunds.
within 14 days
There you
or
go,
whatever
yeah.
it is,
There you
7
go.
days.
That's the way to do it.
So you bought it, okay, it's broken. You give it back. Be like, I don't want this game. It's broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if I pirated it? How do I get my money back?
I don't have a broken copy of Arkham Knight because I haven't bought it yet.
Yeah, same with me.
And this is a game I'm
I
very,
see.
very, very, very excited for. But I didn't go out and buy it.
Yeah.
I was going to wait.
Yeah.
But
For whatever number of reasons, I decided I was going to wait.
But
At the
I
same-
want it now.
At the same time, there's different kinds of bugs. Like, there's a point where I think people will tolerate them.
Yeah.
Like, Bethesda games are super glitchy.
Yeah.
Like, they have all kinds of graphics bugs, but they're
they're
not
charming.
usually game breaking.
And they're-
Like,
they're
if you
playable,
get to the
yeah.
point where the game is breaking, then I understand why people will complain and be
Sure.
upset.
Like
Where,
it doesn't run.
Usually, if it's graphics bugs, they're hilarious. Like the ones in Assassin's Creed or like any of
Yeah.
those. where,
But
like, you
even
see
that people complain about.
Yeah,
It's weird.
but it's kind of
Well,
like
it's not weird. I mean, that game, when we played it on Xbox One, we had the pre-patched version, and it was bad.
yeah, if the
Like,
game.
playing on Xbox One, I remember that was one of the things I told Lawrence where, we'd been covering stories for weeks about, does it run at, 60 frames a second or 30 frames? I'm like, you're
Yeah.
lucky if you get 15 out of this thing. It was bad.
Yeah, I also understand there's different kinds
Cinematic
of people
at
where
it.
some people enjoy those graphics bugs.
Yeah.
Where, I laugh at whenever I see stuff
Sure.
like that in Bethesda.
Faceless.
games,
I
guess-
but some people, it takes me out of the game. It's so
Yeah.
in a,
Well, when it's
ruined my brain.
unplayable.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
the thing with Arkham, at least what I'm noticing with Arkham Knight is it's 1-to-1. It feels smooth. The
said
game,
it, yeah.
what I'm pressing, he is doing. It feels great. It feels
Now
like
get
a
out
good
of
time.
Half the frames he should be doing it.
Ooh, we didn't get out.
I guess that's the argument, right?
Well, but that's just always wanting more. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we didn't have the internet 10 years ago, 15 years ago to whine about every single little thing. I mean, like, yeah, I played a bunch of broken games on console, and like, you know, they glitch out, and I have to restart my fucking Super Nintendo. It didn't matter. I mean, I paid for the game, so I was like, I'm gonna play it.
You blow on the cartridge.
I guess the
you're going
question is
back
like,
in.
I've just, it was so funny. I was watching Total Biscuits video, and he has like the MSI Crossfire, like all the details of like the CPU and how the frames are dropping and all that stuff. And I'm the old man where I'm like, is it okay if I'm just having fun?
No.
Like, I don't. I guess I don't really care how many frames I'm getting. Like,
You're not getting enough.
Well, I'm playing as Batman. There's not a lot of games that allow you to do that. And it's a superhero game where I'm in a fucking Batmobile and I'm having a good time. So I guess that makes me worse than Hitler. I'm sorry.
Batman Returns, take a CD.
I will say, as obviously as a PC gamer, I've never been bothered by games that are 30 FPS. Like I've never. I don't know if it's just because I've been playing them since the 90s.
I think that's what it
I'm
is.
just used to not having them be like super high fidelity. Like as long as they run and they're not glitching or tearing, I'm happy.
I think that in 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, whoa, like,
Yeah.
what is this? Like, this is not right at all. It's still in a transitional period.
Yeah.
Not like it's still transitioning to like fucking 1080p in a lot of
Yeah.
cases.
Most
So
consoles
like
can't even
60 frames, yes, it's awesome, but for me, it's still kind of like a perk.
My hair's
you
freaking
know?
out. This game's
Yeah.
busted. Fuck this game.
I'm
only now getting into like the like Blu-ray versus DVD thing. Like if I have a copy of something, I'm like, I don't need to rebuy this on Blu-ray. Why do I need to? I'm only now getting over that hump, and I'm like, oh, okay, I don't even really want to watch this if it's not on Blu-ray.
Well, I think it was about a year and a half ago. I remember Time Warner sent me a notice saying, hey, we're finally up-converting to digital. Meaning they were getting rid of analog, and now it's all HD. HD, 1920 by 1080, and that's 1080i, typically, 720p.
Yeah, it's always 1080i.
And it took them, I want to say 10 years. 720p has been around for a very long time before they finally actually converted everybody over to HD.
Yeah.
And that we're in the same, I think, the transitionary period, maybe even earlier for 4K. Like, this would be like me whining that my content isn't 4K. Of course it's not 4K. Nobody watches anything in 4K right now. There are a few people that can, but not a lot.
Well, I bet there's people who watch 1080p videos and they're like, well, this video would be better if it was in 4K. It's like, your monitor only does 1080p.
I know, you don't have a choice right now.
Yeah, and I actually have yet to see any 4K video. I've never actually seen it
Yeah, me
on a
neither.
4K monitor.
I have.
No.
I mean, it's great.
I mean,
What do you
it's
know the
just-
4K?
in the
I know
movie
you get
theater.
Yeah, some movie projections.
Oh,
Like
I guess.
IMAX.
I mean, I'm sorry.
But,
I meant like
at
in a
home.
consumer.
Yeah, like on television, right.
Because I know there's like
like on a screen that's not really large enough to justify it.
well, like I know there's a monoprice monitor you can buy for like $400, and I see that and go, ooh,
Yeah.
Like
Not
we
yet.
have this BenQ here that has like almost no lag, and like it's a great monitor. Like
Yeah.
I've been playing everything on this. It's like I'm happy. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I a bad person?
This
I'm
looks
sorry.
like shit.
I
You're
guess.
a pleb, Adam.
Next question.
Part-time Crazy writes, do you think this utter disaster of a PC launch will
Wow.
actually make developers rethink how they make / outsource PC game development? There have been so many scripts recently, i.e. Assassin's Creed Unity being the main one, and now Batman, but no one seems to be learning anything from it. The attitude just seems to be give people some free game / DLC to keep them happy.
Real quick before a more technical answer comes out. People are learning things from it because this game is no longer for sale.
Oh.
Also, Assassin's Creed came out a year ago.
Yeah.
That's not enough time to change anything in the games industry because
Yeah.
the games that are coming out 2 years from now are already
Well
well
underway.
into development. So, like, you will see the fruits of this kind of protesting, whatever you want to call it, frustration,
I guess
way down the
maybe
line.
I think-
boycotting.
I think they need.
Yeah,
to,
boycotting is that's
I
one
think
way
they
to do
need
it.
to port them
Yeah.
from PC to console.
Boom!
Nice.
Cool, got him.
That's right.
yeah.
Work for the minority.
Prioritize the smallest audience.
Yeah, but it's the most
That's what we
demanding.
do.
Adam's
the
theory
most-
for the
that's
future
worked
of
out for
gaming
us.
consoles will resolve all of this because everything will be on
PC.
computers
Basically.
anyway, and it'll be
Streaming.
software.
Yeah.
and that's a lot easier to accommodate.
Ooh, that guy's
He
dead.
just
not
got shot.
dead.
He's
Killed that
sleeping.
man.
he
He's
stunned
sleeping.
him. He stunned him.
He's dead, Adam.
Batman doesn't kill.
So when it comes to like rethinking how you make or outsource PC dev,
Oh.
I don't think so because ultimately this is driven by the consumer base, not the fan base, the consumer base.
Yeah.
And when your sales are 4 million on console and like 200,000 on PC,
Yeah.
you adjust your resources accordingly.
They're like, but those people were loud.
They are.
They are very
They
loud.
can continue being loud.
Because
That's-
they have computers.
I mean, you do what you can to make them happy. You do what you can to make all your customers happy.
A
But
small group of people can take down an empire.
or they just
So,
don't get games.
by the way,
Port of Owls.
how fucking cool is this? Do you get this? Do you get
I
this?
got
saw
it.
you
It's
this the other
Shakespeare.
day.
Got
Yeah.
it.
But I mean, like, come on.
That's pretty neat.
That's
Actually.
pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's cool.
Come on, great ghost in the background. There's a movie poster over here somewhere over there for starring Clayface. Like,
Where's
this
the
is
Court
so
of
cool.
Owls?
What's that?
Why would you
Where's
have
the
a
Court of
clay?
Owls?
I'm hoping for a Court of Owls, something in here. I doubt they'll show up, but
It just looked like he jumped into like the 13th floor or whatever it was.
Well, Lawrence, you answered that question.
sorry.
Very well.
Yeah,
That was really
thank
good.
you.
Good
Got it.
answer.
Yeah.
Munsaucel8 writes, did any of you get to play it on the PC before the takedown? Obviously.
We're
Hey,
playing it
look at
now.
that,
This
right
is
now.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, Adam has been.
I've been playing it at home, and I just wish there were more hours in the day that I could play. Like, I get home and I'm afraid someone's gonna spoil it. I already saw someone complaining in the Batman subreddit. They're like, "Were you upset about the Dark Knight reveal?" I'm like, "I don't want to read it. I don't want to read
Oh,
it. Like,
shit.
please don't. I enjoy the story."
But he goes on to ask, if so, how do you feel about the game's performance? You basically already
We're showing
said,
it.
yeah.
I mean, really
Good enough.
It
Like-
doesn't seem to be having any problems on this computer either.
I mean, maybe, but this is the other thing too, where this was Total Biscuits video where he's like, yeah, the game looks okay in 30 frames, but he's like, but 60 frames is objectively better, and if you don't like that, like, I'm sorry for you, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you, buddy. Like,
Mr. Biscuit.
yeah, I know. Well, I mean, we're friends, we're buddies, and I'm sort of like, I like Lawrence and I had this not argument, but
It's better.
well, like for a while, Lawrence was like, all television should be in 60 frames a second. I'm like, I like 24 frames for film and stuff.
Well, yeah, this is all subjective. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I think it comes down to the directing, and I did come to this revelation when I tried to watch Bad Boys 2 with like ultra frame smoothing on.
crap.
Yeah.
Total crap. And then I realized, and it's silly that it took me this long, considering I came to this revelation a long time ago when it came to like playing games and stuff. But you should.
Hold on.
But-
Can
but-
you look at her spine?
Oh yeah. You actually can.
Really?
Yeah,
And it's
bro-
broken?
And there's
it's
a bullet in there?
There's a broken part of her spine in there.
All right.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I saw a skeleton.
But I mean, the detail in this.
The axiom that I kind of arrived at is whether it's a game or a movie or a piece of music, you should experience it in the way the creator thought of and imagined you to experience it. So if he or she shot the movie 24, 2997, whatever, you should watch it in that format.
Yeah.
If the developer designed a game to run at 30 frames per second and designed all the visuals and graphics and combat systems to run at 30 frames a second, you should probably play it at 30 frames a second.
What about The Hobbit in 60 frames?
Well, no, it was in 48.
48,
And I
yeah.
saw it in 48, actually. I saw it in 48 3D,
Yeah.
just the way he shot it, and I didn't like it. I mean, I
Okay.
thought it was like, but that was the way Peter Jackson intended me to watch it.
Yep.
So I watched it that way. I'm very much a movie purist that way. I love to watch movies in theaters because that's typically the way a director watches their movie.
Yeah.
I think that that's a great example. I think a better situation is this movie is in black and white. Right? Does it make any sense to colorize the film before you watch it because you don't like black and white movies? No. Because the director made a conscious decision to make it a black and white film, and it was shot entirely that way as a black and white film. The 48 frames thing, I think, is kind of a product of that whole consumerism and technology. Like
it was a 3D thing.
a lot of
Yeah.
directors are getting pressured to figure out new ways to charge more for movies and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. And so we'll see what 48 frames. I think there were some sequence. I saw it in 48, not 3D. I don't think I saw it in 3D, but I saw it in 48 frames per second, and there were some sequences that I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I get it, and other sequences
Action
where it's like,
stuff.
this just looks
Weird.
horrible.
Yeah.
It looks like a soap opera,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and it's if Pixar did 48 frames a second or 60 frames a
They'd
second,
probably
I'd be like, ooh,
I guess
hell yeah.
It's also worth noting that a lot of the issues with the PC version of the game for Batman have less to do with the frame rate, more to do with like their anti-aliasing options that are missing. There's just like a whole bevy of options that are just like, why aren't these in here? It's a
Yeah, they're
PC
standard.
game. Yeah, there's a lot of just like kind of random stuff and not a lot of types of anti-aliasing. It's just like
you-
on or off.
Do you think they could do like give people like a sugar pill where they like have those options in there but they don't do anything and they would still be happy with that?
Yes, because
a
I
great
don't think
The internet would find out, and then they'd be really mad.
I don't.
Right, Lawrence
I
is
think it's one of those things where it does become an echo chamber. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but a lot of people hear big smart words and then they repeat them, not knowing what they
Yeah.
mean. They're like,
I think there are a lot of people that-
is that TSAA? It's not. No, thank
No,
you.
it's MSA.
People
Yeah.
like I think people can't tell the difference between 8 and 16 times anti-aliasing.
I don't know.
I think you have to know what ambient occlusion is to see if it's on or off. And I think your average game player would not know.
Yeah.
I think we're at that point of diminishing returns where all these like tessellation and stuff. Sure, if you know what it is, you go right up to a wall and you're like, I could see the
Stress
bumps.
effects.
But
Yeah.
nobody would know
But I guess
otherwise.
this is the other thing too. You guys have been watching me play the game, how I play the game. I'm moving, I'm playing it, I'm having fun. I rarely play the game. I go up and I go, Oh, money
Hey, come
back.
on.
Money back, please.
You were just spinning around Batman being
That's
like,
the
it
man
looks
that's
so
looking-
good.
Well, because I'm looking at it, I guess I look at it from a wide angle where I'm just like, holy fuck. But someone would be like, there's no depth of field.
Man, it also
What?
goes back to the gameplay argument. Do you feel like Batman right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
okay.
There you
Then
go.
I
I
guess
like-
they did a
I
pretty
like the
good
way
job
the-
at least
Rain's
with
not
that.
real enough.
The cape's all wiggling when you're gliding. That looks really cool.
Fucking cool.
Yeah, I guess that's my sort of thing where like
Missed it.
Cape wiggle.
I don't normally play
it's
games for
alright.
graphics. I usually play for the gameplay. If the graphics enhance the gameplay somehow, great. So far the game, because the graphics are so damn good, they are making me believe I'm Batman.
Yeah,
so
man.
that's good. I believe that's the Batwing. That's fucking cool. So
Fucking
Is that the Batwing?
that is the Batwing.
Holy
Is
shit!
it gonna pick up the bat?
Man, that's
no!
fucking
Oh,
awesome.
you're gonna love this. This
Where's
is
the
so
bat
fucking
mode?
cool. They basically have a baby.
Oh my god.
Look at this.
Oh,
Come
that's
on!
Ew.
What?
This is how it upgrades.
This is so cool.
That's
Got a little
sexual.
grapple now.
All right, Kovic's first writes, do you think the release of this game is enough to justify the argument for not pre-ordering games? Do you think it thickens the argument?
There shouldn't be an argument. It should be responsible with your money.
Boom!
Is someone holding a gun to someone's head saying,
No.
you're not getting the game
Well,
unless you pre-order
the
it?
ar-
You don't
There's
get
no
the-
low
you don't get the
supply.
DLC.
That's the thing. The argument is you don't get all the stupid tchotchke that's terrible if you don't pre-order the game. I don't understand how people haven't learned that pre-order exclusive content is always bad.
Well,
Yeah.
also, if you stop pre-ordering it, they'll have to find new ways to give you that content.
Yeah, they will.
No,
So
or
if
there will be
everybody-
no
Well, they won't
content
do
in
it.
the first place.
So if
to
everybody
worry
stops
about.
pre-ordering, then developers will take notice and publishers will take notice. It'll take a couple years. I'm sorry, you guys.
Swish.
See, the only problem is it goes back to the vocal minority, and most people don't care or
Yeah.
enjoy those things. It's only the ones that are being vocal that don't, and so
it's-
they're even if they don't get it,
Yeah.
then
I feel like
there's
it's.
still a majority that will.
I've seen this mentality pop up a lot of different ways of people can't stand knowing there's something they didn't get. So that's actually pretty
We
sweet.
didn't figure this out yesterday.
So it's like
I did later.
Yeah.
I'm
It's-
basically speedrunning right now. No.
So it's
Swish.
This is what drives a lot of people crazy with on-disc DLC or pre-order bonuses.
Yeah.
They think like the developers made something and they chose not to include it with the price I paid. It has nothing to do with how much I actually did get for what I paid. It's that there's something else that I'm not getting.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And that I think that also factors into the insane micro analysis people do of like it should be 59 frames a second, but it's 57. There's 2 frames we're getting cheated out of.
Money back, please.
Again, it's that mentality of like there's stuff that I could have and I don't have it and I want it even if it's not valuable.
Like the Destiny thing?
Yeah, that's
Kind
what I
of,
was gonna
yeah.
say. It reminds me of the Destiny thing of like the people. I've been playing this game I put this much time into it and spent.
They
this
owe
much
it to
money.
me.
I should be given as much as they are.
Well, I mean, the little dance moves. I don't know. I mean,
That might be funny.
Rabble,
Well-
rabble.
yeah.
Well, the interesting thing that I've seen recently is the "they owe it to me" argument.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I have never. I'm a huge Battlefield fan. I played all those games, and I played thousands of hours of Battlefield. I don't ever feel like they owe anything to me.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. I bought the game, and I played shitloads of hours for $60.
If anything, you owe them more.
I was gonna say I owe them because honestly, they've given me
According
so
to
much
Spool's
entertainment
logic, yes.
for $60.
I get that all the time. That people are like, I played Counter-Strike for 3,000 hours. I mean, I owe $3,000. I mean, kind of in a way, but no.
Well, no, it's just Valve made a good game.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. Like that, and fucking Dice made a good game. That's kind of what their job is, and that's again up to you to do the research to figure out if this is a game worth your time or not. That's all.
It's funny because my knee-jerk reaction went off where I'm reading YouTube comments before they pop up. But when someone's right now going, this jackass thinks Battlefield 4 was fun, it's like, well, I lived it with Bruce because we played it a lot.
Yeah.
We played on PC and it was always fine.
Yeah, it was fun.
So there was all the server issues. But this also goes back to Arkham Origins. I remember I was playing it, having a good time, and there was an old coworker where they're like, how can you play the game? It's awful. And I was like, did you play? He goes, no, I just heard a lot of people didn't enjoy it. And I'm kind of like, fuck you. This is my
It makes
kind
me wonder how much of that is Arkham Knight. Like people being like, "The game's broken. The game's broken." They turn
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Did you hear the game's broken? It's totally broken.
And I'm playing it right now. I'm having a fun time. I guess it's broken.
I heard it steals your soul.
I saw a lot of blog posts from all the big blogs, and to a T, all the headlines were, "So turns out Batman's totally busted." And I remember
Yeah.
thinking, did the
Like,
author
are-
test it him
yeah.
or herself?
That goes back to my complaint of this is why I bought a Wii U. This is why I bought a Vita. This is why I bought a 3DS. You do not have the right to complain about something unless you own it. That's sort of
true.
where that's my mentality. Where
There are people that'll take you to task on that.
Yeah, they
actually,
will.
they will unironically say, "I have a right to parrot what I've heard, and I have a right to get mad at companies on behalf of others.
Sure, but I'm like, I guess have your own educated opinion. That's always my sort of thing. So when someone goes, "Dude, Arkham's so fucking broken," I go, "Well, I have been having a pretty good experience with it, and I have gameplay supporting it, and these are my thoughts." And they go, "You don't know what you're talking about." I go, "No, I do."
I'm gonna go home and have fun. So
Yeah.
I know, so see you later.
you enjoy being mad at video games.
They will though.
It's like I've been, they do, yeah.
totally
So I've been playing Arkham Origins, and I like it a lot. Like it's probably my favorite Arkham, and that includes like City and Asylum. And it's really strange to me and try to think back, like what were people mad about?
People just really wanted to hate that game because, like, well, it's not Rocksteady and it's not it's not Mark Hamill, and it's like I hate you and I hate everything. And it was just like, okay,
God.
I guess. But like you said, I played it, I enjoyed it, and I did this whole video when we first started Inside Gaming, remember, where people were losing their shit over the voice actor. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I'm like, listen, Batman has been voiced by like dozens of
Yeah.
people, if not hundreds at this point. It's okay. Like he's being played by Ben Affleck right now. It's all right.
Boo.
What? No, he looks
I
fine.
know.
Yeah, that's fine.
To that same
We'll
to that
see.
same point though, we were talking about it today, and I was like, I did play Arkham Origins, and I didn't like it. You
Oh, yeah,
know?
that's right, yeah.
And but we
You
were
had a-
able
you
to
had a legitimate
we were able
point,
to
though.
talk through it and
Yeah.
have a probably less vitriolic
Yeah.
argument than one would say. It was just like, well, it felt different to me. I noticed different things, and I was having issues specifically with the gameplay
Yeah.
that I didn't have in my full playthroughs of the other two games. So those were my gripes with it. And I
But-
think
but-
that
but-
made
but-
for an interesting discussion. We were all like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh.
And now we've learned more by hearing each other out.
Yeah, and both Lawrence and I were like, we didn't have that problem.
Yeah,
and
but
then it came down to
I believe James did. Like
yeah,
I'm not
no,
calling
for
him
sure.
a liar.
Well, you you said the other thing too, and it's so always easy to be like, well, there's your problem. But you said you're like, I played on PS3. I'm like, well, I played on, or you said PS3, and I said
Yeah.
I played on PC, and you're playing on
PC.
PC. So I'm like, okay, well,
That was the difference.
that's a
Potentially.
pretty easy way
We're
to kind of figure
narrowing
out
it down
a
now.
little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you just had a buggy copy, I guess. But
maybe people just don't like to trust other people on the internet,
Could
like
be.
if they don't know them.
yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
I feel like also people just kind of go with preconceived notions of like,
Yeah, they
well,
believe
I'm
what
going to
they
hate
want.
this game. I want to hate this game. And like,
Yeah.
I went in going like, well, it's just another Batman game. I did feel a little uneasy playing it. I was kind of like, well, I know it's not Rocksteady and it's not the voice actors, but I'm just going to, it's the same thing when like Batman Beyond came out. I'm like, this isn't really Batman. Then you watch it and you're like, oh, this is pretty good. I enjoy this. It's totally different, but it's Bruce Timm and it's the same guys who made the animated series that I love so much. So
Then you
I'm gonna
felt
give it a shot.
dirty.
Yeah, a little bit.
So your JD writes, do you think that developers nowadays give too much focus on the consoles and put minimum effort on the PC ports? Example, I saw in an interview about Mortal Kombat X, another WB game incidentally, Ed Boon stated that NetherRealm Studios was not working on the PC port of the game, but another external studio, and we know how that ended. Basically, the Mortal Kombat port on PC was not so great.
It's fine. I played it.
What's your opinion on the whole release half-assed games trend that has been on the rise on all platforms recently?
Those are all
I guess we
our
kind of
questions.
answered
We
that.
answered the first part of that
Yeah.
question in terms of the PC port because it's a smaller audience. So
Yeah.
that's what they're looking at. They're looking at the bottom line because it's a capitalist society and we're all trying to make money. So they're looking at, well, there's 60% of the consoles. Of course we need these games to work on the consoles, and they do. It turns out, but with a PC game, it doesn't work perfectly. That's okay. Put it on anyways. We'll make 20% sales. No big deal. Yes, they could optimize and make 30% sales or 35% sales, but that's probably about the maximum they're going to hit. They're not going to all of a sudden sell more on PC because they made a perfect game. They're
But
just not.
who do we blame, Bruce? Do we blame the port companies then?
Blame
or
the market. That's just how it is.
Yeah, blame the market. Exactly.
I mean, also that's just kind of poor QA testing where it's like,
Yeah.
did you play this on more
My
than
lens
2
flare is pretty-
computers?
Yeah, that's another problem is that
Well,
they may have only played it on a few
They may
systems.
have. Like, listen, they're not stupid.
Whoa.
It's probably that they had the time to hire a certain amount of people. They hired that amount of people. They did all the work they could, and then time's up.
Yeah.
It's going out the door.
Yeah.
Well,
And they're like,
going
well,
back to-
shit.
going
We
back
know
to-
it's not working on this stuff. Maybe we should warn people. But let's just throw it out there and see how it
And
goes.
going back to Bruce's point where they're like, well, this chart says we'll lose sales if
Yeah.
we don't put it out now.
That's the biggest thing that
So-
I think so many people on the internet could
Money.
stand to really embrace. That I don't blame them for. That's cool. That I don't blame them for not doing because no human being does this. But
Batman,
people
could have saw your face.
I know he's
Oh,
standing right outside of the room full of bad
One
guys,
guy opens up
and
and
he's
goes-
in his underwear putting on new boots.
He's got a mirror in there and everything.
Well, there's one guy who opens the door and goes, oh, Bruce Wayne's Batman.
Bruce Wayne, okay.
That's got it. Kicks his ass.
your average average game company, whatever, they have been doing what they do for a while, and they're probably doing it for a reason. So stop assuming that they're
Dumb.
They're like, yeah, that they're dumb or vindictive or malicious. They just work in a world of realities, and some of those realities mean you're constrained on time or money or both.
And typically, I guess, having worked at a couple different companies, there's always a lot of moving pieces. It's rarely one guy going, I've got my finger on the pulse and I'm going to fuck all of you. It's always like...
Porting a game while it's in
gaming.
development is crazy.
That's
Yeah.
really, really difficult.
And
Because you get a new build like once a month, and you're like, well, that broke everything that we fixed. So we got to start over again.
yeah, I don't know. And then it'll come down to, this is always I'll see the counter argument, like,
Look
these
at
guys...
his
well, it's always...
His butt's not armored. How's that?
It might be. This might
butt
be.
When we
Yeah.
get shot in the back.
Anyway, you want to go to the next question?
Yeah, sure. Whiff98 writes, do you think Steam refunds will encourage developers to make better ports? If anything, it'll probably
I
encourage
wasn't
the opposite.
listening.
Oh, nice job, Spool.
I was looking at.
Yes,
Batman.
I actually think the answer
Really?
to that question
Okay.
is just straight up yes. I think because Steam.
What were you texting?
No, I was.
No, he wasn't
watching
actually.
Batman.
He was
Okay,
watching Batman.
that's fair.
I think if Steam, because Steam releases, they have all these numbers, and if they tell Rocksteady that there were 1 million refunds of 1.5 million copies sold, they're gonna be like, "Holy shit!
Yeah,
we're
next-
gonna do something different next time."
Exactly.
Well, they'll probably. So the problem is, and maybe I'm being a little too trusting with this, but it occurs to me that the port comes out the way it does because there's not that much revenue to be made. Otherwise, they would allocate more resources to it.
Yeah.
So if the potential revenue goes even lower, that doesn't mean they're going to dedicate more people to it. That means you have to invest more to retain the same number of sales you used to get.
Oh, yeah.
And that makes the platform even less appealing.
I guess it's funny because I guess I'm being too trusting because I'm saying that somebody's looking at those analytics.
I hope so.
So hopefully somebody's looking at the refunds and going, "Oh fuck, there's a lot of refunds."
Those are concrete sales you lost out on.
we got to do this different. You know?
You'd think the company that did the ports would be kind of a little nervous because like
they may not be hired
Rocksteady
again.
hired us to make this port
Correct,
and
yeah.
it's shitty and people aren't liking it and they're having to like pull it from stores.
Yeah.
That's not going to help us in the future. And they're like, hey, we have another game, we want to port it.
Yeah, you're totally right.
We're not going to use you guys.
Yeah.
So they're definitely probably looking at the analytics.
Well,
Like,
maybe.
yeah.
I think it comes down to, like, you're right, Spool. Like, there is no escaping the consequence. Even if they were kind of caught behind the 8 ball, I feel like the port
Yeah.
company, I feel like what happened is they were given a shoestring budget and 6 months to turn this thing around.
Yeah. Right.
And they're like, well, we did what we could. And we told you when we started, with that budget and that time, it would only run on these hardware configurations, and it does. So don't you dare get mad at us, because we told you what we would do when we did it.
Bunch of
Also-
grown men shouting at
I
each
was
other
gonna say,
on a
it's-
conference call.
This is the exact same that happened, I'm sure, with the visual effects industry,
Hmm.
where it was just a bunch of smaller companies trying to take whatever deal they can get, and sometimes they'd take an offer that didn't even cover their operating costs
Yeah.
because they needed to take an offer with the prospect of it taking up more work,
I see.
and then, as we all know, sometimes you sign a contract or are involved in a deal and it changes, and you're like, but what about this thing that we agreed on? They're like, sorry,
That wasn't
that's
it.
not the deal. Do you want your money or
Yeah.
not? And it's like,
Pay or
okay.
not. All right, keep going.
And that's just how it works sometimes. This
Well,
game's
stutter,
shit.
stutter,
This
stutter.
game's shit.
Some
Oh.
frame
Yeah.
drops.
If the game was dropping in frames the whole time I was playing it, yes, I'd be
Yeah.
really mad. But I was like, cutscenes like that, I always
When it's
get,
flying through the entirety of
I'm always a
Gotham.
bit more forgivable. Where I'm like, it's okay. Like,
You're pleb, Adam.
I'm not,
it feels like it.
I'm not defending the game for people that it actually broke for.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no.
I'm just saying this
No,
game's
because
shit.
I
I've seen some footage where, like I said, go watch Total Biscuit's video. It's pretty good. It's like a 30-minute video where he breaks it down. He shows someone else's footage where the game just full on like
Wow,
crashes.
okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay,
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
get that, but like I've had PC games. Well, I mean, numerous times where we've played games and it's just locked our systems,
Yeah.
like, and you sort of go, it's PC. It happens.
Yeah.
It's like Chad saying like we're waiting for the game to crash.
Yeah.
Some of them are.
I
saying
get
like-
more mad when that shit happens on a console because I'm like, you have no excuse. Like,
Basically,
And you
yeah.
have no way to fix it really if it doesn't
Yeah.
work. Like James, was it which
Total
game
War.
was it?
Shogun. Total War.
Oh no, on console. What was it?
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne, where you lost your
Oh,
save or
man.
whatever, and you
Yeah.
couldn't play the game at all.
I
That was
got
an
the save
exclusive,
back.
too.
I got the save
Oh.
back.
Oh.
Eventually, it just came back.
they nailed it to you.
But doing every single trick in the book didn't work for me because I found like
grappling gives you so
I
much
found
more
the several
altitude this time.
forums that suggested any number of different strategies, and I tried all of them, and none of them worked.
But there's only so much you can do on a console versus on a computer. But
Yeah,
at the same
yeah.
time, the computer can have some more problems. So
Someone
So-
told me to reformat my whole PlayStation 4, and I said, "Fuck that."
So on that note,
Play
Laura
on
Berry
Xbox.
writes in, I just don't understand how we've come so far in terms of graphics and gameplay and all that, yet we still have these high-profile games coming out with major glitches. How did nobody catch this? Or did you think that they noticed, but it was so close to release date that they decided to release it anyway?
I was gonna say
Probably.
he kind of
Love
answered his
column
own
A,
question.
column
Yeah. So I think it's the latter. I think these people know what's going on. I also want a bit of a reality check on this. Laura Berry, it has gotten way, way, way better, especially in terms of PC gaming. If you tried to play a PC game like in the DOS days now, you would die.
Yeah.
Like
We
part-
do it every
Like
week
demo
with demo
discs.
discs.
Well, even that's easier because DirectX was still out by that point. This is the sort of situation where getting the game to run was part of the game. And I remember, like, back in the DOS days, you had to load your own drivers manually. You had to give it a loading script to tell it the order to load drivers so it would fit into memory and have enough memory left over to run the game. And just that process in itself was difficult. There was one game I had back in the day where I couldn't load my sound drivers and my mouse at the same time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have enough memory. So I had to choose. And that was difficult because it was a flight simulator. I really needed that mouse. So I played it with no sound. And that was after like an hour's worth of troubleshooting and reconfiguring and all that
And
stuff.
you didn't have a YouTube channel to complain on.
Basically, yeah. So Steam and internet connectivity, digital distribution, there are fundamental ways that gaming is easier now than it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like all those are kind of taken for granted because those systems are just locked
They
in
are.
place
Well,
and
no,
they
no.
I was
work.
also going to say, with how complicated games are getting and
Yeah.
how complex they are, more issues will arise. It is the sort of thing where it's like, yes, the engine that this game runs on is so old now that it's like there shouldn't really be an excuse. Like, this is Unreal 3 and like they should have all the bugs worked out.
Is it
but
Unreal 3?
I think they're still using Unreal 3. Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow, really?
Well, I mean, that's the other thing too. This happens with all game engines. It gets
They
to a
just keep
point where
altering it,
it's
yeah.
just it's not even Unreal 3.
yeah.
It's like it's
That happened in Mortal
it's-
Kombat.
It's the Batman engine.
They
Basically.
licensed Unreal and changed it so much they're like, it's our engine now.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, this happened with Quake and
Yeah.
Half-Life and all those things, like Source. This happens with all these game engines.
Mm-hmm.
It's never as simple as I think people want it to be. But I think it was Adam Sessler said something really smart. He goes, "Look, no game ships bug-free. It's up to the developer to hide those bugs as best as possible.
Right.
Because every game is going to have a bug. It's just the nature of the entertainment medium we live in. Like
Oh.
that's what it is.
In old games, even super basic ones, like one-button Atari games would ship with bugs. And-
She's coming
Losing
apart.
it.
She's coming apart.
And
Really,
like I said, and like Adam was saying, no product ships perfect. You have a list of features you want to get in, and you do that as long as you have time and money, and that runs out, and it goes out. Like old games would ship with a list of known bugs in the back of the manual, because it was like, well, we can't fix it, we didn't have time.
I remember that.
Here's what you got to watch out for. Heads up, it's gonna freeze if you do this, so don't do that.
Well, it's also funny if you ever watch like a lot of speedruns. Some
Yeah.
people will play specific cartridge versions of
Yeah.
that game because there are known bugs in those cartridges, but they just reissue. You didn't hear about it.
Yeah.
If you have like a pre-order version of Link to the Past, you can get to the end of the game
Oh, yeah.
as Kid Link, right?
in like 5 minutes.
From the Deku Tree boss battle. There's a glitch that you can execute that you can just jump all the way to the end of the game as Kid Link and fight Ganondorf with a stick.
I've seen Cosmo do it.
So like, but that's something that you can't do on other cartridges because they're like, ooh, there's something here. I mean, now it's probably because the internet's so vocal, but like
And
now
connected.
there's kind of more accountability. You
Yeah,
know,
there is,
like
there
they
is.
have
Well,
to come out and say, all right, something's wrong. We changed something or whatever.
Well,
Also,
now
if
they
you-
can patch it though too. I mean,
That too.
and it's fixed.
And let's like back in the day, you know, in my DOS gaming days, I remember getting an FMV game that I just couldn't get to run, which tore my heart out because it was like a stupid cyberpunk detective game. And I remember like I was in my stupid den like trying to get it to work for an hour or two, and then I just gave up and I was like, well, I guess that's not going to work. If I had the internet, I'd go find other people. We'd whip ourselves into a frenzy and then look like, this is terrible. How could they?
Yeah.
I spent $15 at the bookstore on this.
The way I
actually
always
true.
imagine,
Ravel.
I imagine that like the Bethesda games and the Assassin's Creed games, they're like, okay, so either this thing that you do VATS on and it gets stuck in the ground over and over, either that happens or the game crashes. So like, what are we gonna do? Well, they're like, all right, well, you know what? Fuck it, who cares? Just leave those things stuck in there. The game has to be playable. Let's release it that way. I think that's what most people are. So it's funny because Bethesda, while making sort of glitchy games, doesn't overreach, and the guys that may have been porting this game might have overreached. They might have been like, we can do everything all at
Yeah.
once. We're gonna make it perfect. And then they're like, well, there's just game breaking bugs. They're like, we can fix it all, and then they didn't have time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also super grateful for the time we live in as well, with just the fact that there are patches.
Yeah, no,
this
I
sort
know.
of stuff where you want to talk about accountability and like, oh, this is going to hurt their bank. the Glitch in Myth 2 practically put Bungie out of business because they had to do a mass recall and they couldn't do that as an independent company. Like that won't happen anymore. And I'm actually kind of happy for that. That like, you know, what if Bungie had gone out of business? Like, what if we would have never got Halo? Like that would have sucked.
Would have never been the same person.
I wouldn't have had a job today.
You wouldn't have been writing
actually
Halo
true.
novelizations.
So I was like, on one hand, it's like,
Bullet dodged.
yeah, this sucks, and maybe developers are getting lazier, and they're like, we'll just patch it later. But I'm like, I'm glad they can patch it later at least. I'm glad that technology exists.
I guarantee you, this isn't in defense of developers, but I guarantee you game developers are working harder than they've ever worked before.
Yeah.
Like in terms of putting shit in games and loading games and trying to justify $60 price tags and more, like they are busting their ass. And there's probably people above them that are not working so hard and just collecting a huge paycheck and saying, ship it,
Yeah,
you know,
no.
but like...
Yeah.
The game developers, I'm sure, are really, really upset when something like this happens.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm actually Rocksteady has to be
heartbroken.
Rockstar has to be one of the hardest working developers out there, and I'm sure they're like, we don't want our game looking like this, like, and they're probably really sorry about it. And there are developers who are killing themselves to make this sort of entertainment, and there's guys being like I hope everyone at Rocksteady goes out, like loses their job, and it's like, come on,
Yeah.
like these guys are working harder than I've ever worked
It's
in
a
my
video
life. so-
game.
Yeah,
That's what I always go back to. I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, it's video games. It's entertainment.
Also,
It's
there are
fun.
thousands of other video games you could be
There-
playing.
There are people who are upset about it, but it's like politics. It's like you got to understand how the whole thing works.
Yeah.
You can change it, but you have to be active about that,
Yeah,
right?
you really do.
You can't just
No
sit
one
on your
wants to.
ass and then complain.
Whine, yeah. I would say, listener, to contextualize this stuff, think about a project that you've spent the longest and worked the hardest on.
Was it perfect?
Yeah, well, not
No.
only was it perfect, but like
People
what
laughed
was it?
at it.
Was it like a school project that took you an entire week, an entire month? People work on these games
A
for
year?
5 years of their lives.
Yeah.
That's a significant chunk of your entire life dedicated to one thing. Can you imagine working that long and hard on something, and it coming out, and there being like you get 57 frames instead of 59? And some dude is in his living room going, this is utter shit. This is the worst thing in the world. Whoever made this should kill themselves. I want to kill their family.
Yeah, but Lawrence, Call of Duty comes out every year.
But from different companies that work on it for 3 years at a time.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
And
This is a very valid point that you're saying that I don't think people say enough.
Yeah.
And because it sounds like apologizing. It's not.
well,
it's
no.
absolutely not.
It's just like and it's understandable because if you're a certain age, you haven't had the chance to work on something that long or
Yeah.
invest your life into something like that. You've probably never been
You could
passionate
also say
about
they
it.
had 5 years to get it right and then they fucked it up.
Sure.
So,
Well, I mean,
no.
fucked it up. Put it in context.
Yeah, exactly.
So I haven't played it yet, and if it crashed for me 30 seconds in, I'd be pretty pissed off too because there's a lot of work I can't see. But
Also played enough
This is-
early access games where
But-
I'm like,
but
I've
calling
I've
it-
played garbage.
But calling it like the worst thing ever and like the people should get fired and all that stuff over it is, I think, is way over the top.
I think that filmmakers have been dealing with this for 100
Yeah.
years now.
Terrible game.
No, movies are out.
Oh,
and,
sure, yeah.
And like people dedicate 2, 3, 4 years.
cool.
Yeah,
Dead.
it's fucking awesome. 2, 3, 4 years of their life to a movie.
Yeah.
And it comes out and then it gets panned by critics. That's something that they understand for so long. And actually,
Yeah.
filmmakers, they're not whiners about it. They just sort of move on. They're like, you know what?
Some are.
So,
Well, yeah.
but I mean, honestly, there aren't that many. Like I haven't heard.
I feel like most game makers are the same way.
They aren't. Yeah, that's true.
They
they're
take the
just-
brutality of the internet pretty well. I mean, occasionally one doesn't. You get your Phil Fish who's just like, you know what? Fuck you guys.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him
Yeah.
for
No, I
it.
don't blame them either. Yeah.
No. Well, at the same time too, like it's the Transformers argument that I've used before, where people are like, fuck Michael Bay, he's ruined Transformers. I was like, he employs like 20,000 people.
Yeah, it's
They-
also
there's an
Transformers
economy.
Always sucked.
It was a kids show.
Yeah, I know.
It was a
You
good
can't
show
ruin
designed to-
something that's dumb already.
It was a cartoon designed to sell toys, but hey, whatever. They ruined your childhood.
All right, I guess we got time for one more question.
Oh my god, we didn't even get through the first page, did we?
I've been skipping
we
around.
skipped around.
Okay.
But yeah, it's we got some pretty charged responses. That's not a bad thing. All right, let's see here. Heavy is the head 24 writes, do you feel holding developers accountable will yield an actual solution
Goodbye.
to these clearly continuous issues with recent games being prone to issues? If so, is the solution in favor of the consumers, or will the cards always be better dealt for the companies still shelling out game after game regardless? So there's a lot of subtext to that question that is worrisome. Namely that you're pitching this whole relationship as combative. It's not necessarily, unless you make it that way. Listen, all right. I feel like I have to dig down to roots because there's so many troublesome sentiments in this question. We live in a capitalist economy. These companies are not the endowments for the arts. They are not getting funded by the government to make something that is beneficial to the public good. They're making a product that should be sold, and if it's not sold, they're not going to make it. So when it comes to like contention, or I'm not sure what, like it's us versus them. It is to the extent that you want things for cheap and you want them to work really good as soon as they come out. You want things exactly the way you want them, and that's not bad. But you do have to understand, like, there's a lot of compromise there, and it's all down to what you're willing to pay for.
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to pay for it, don't pay for it, and then they'll stop making it.
It's like, would people be more willing to pay like $80 or $100 if they were more guaranteed that their game wouldn't be buggy?
And that's something that, yeah, like I talked about that on my stream, but it was kind of like if the PC market is smaller, you should understand and appreciate that you have to pay more. And Elite and Star Citizen got around that by charging for it before it was done or out.
Yeah.
And also by hyping people up on space, which still works. But yeah, I feel like if you offer that to PC gamers, like, you know what? If you're willing to spend $120 on a PC port of this game, we will make it awesome for you. But I don't think anybody would do that because they're used to the economy as it is.
Yeah.
I honestly think most consumers would rather pay $60 or less later in Steam sales to get a half-broken game than to pay double for a premium, awesome, bug-free game.
Well, I've also seen that too, where a lot of people go like, they're like, I really want this game right now, but I want to pay $5 for it. And it's like,
Yeah.
You can't have both.
yeah,
really.
there's a lot of things I want to. I don't know. Free. I wish I had a free college education. Like I wish I could have got one of those.
I wish I was having blowjobs.
Come on, Obama.
Just
all the time.
all the
Not
time.
me.
constant
all day.
blowjobs.
Not
all
me.
the time.
I wish.
Don't need to pee.
I wish I had more time to go home and continue my.
Rocket right there.
I think I'm at like 19% on my other Arkham save, but I don't want to spoil it. But that's fine. A lot of things I want. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, I'm also happy to support things that I enjoy, a
nice
type
butt.
of entertainment.
That
So
butt.
many great butts in this game.
Yeah, really good.
Good
butts.
butt game. Good ass game.
Unreal renders butts so good. But
How can somebody
Oracle's
say
butt's a little flat.
Oh, she's been sitting on it for a while?
Low
Yeah.
blow.
Hello. That's
Did you say low blow?
I did.
Yeah,
Nice.
I heard that. That was good.
Low blowjob.
Well, I think that's it.
We
huh?
hit an
Are we
hour.
done?
I think that's it.
Yeah, we're an
Oh
hour.
my.
So, lest we sound like complete apologists, we understand how frustrating it is to pay full price for a game that doesn't run.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally.
But you have refunds, and ultimately, like, at least in America, most of the responsibility is put on the consumer. And thanks to refunds, listen, most of the sentiment seems to be, but I want to play it now. And I'm sorry, that's just not the case. But you can give it some time, pay money for it when it works. That's awesome.
You did.
That's what I mean. There's just too much fucking cool stuff. Look at this. Batmobile.
Also
Boom.
have faith that Rocksteady will be patching the game.
It sounds like they're going to be doing the right thing,
Yeah, they're
which
going
is
to be
good.
patching the game.
I will never apologize for someone shipping a broken game, but it's like at the same time, like you've watched us for the last hour here. I think I've been having a
Sure,
good
you
time
can do 'em.
replaying this, and then
Fucking
you
great.
guys pretty much all have your jaws on the floor going,
fucking
"This
awesome.
game's
Yeah.
fucking amazing."
So
I
good.
was like, I can
Yeah.
wait on this game. Was my but
fucking
now
awesome.
I don't know
Nah.
how long. I can.
Yeah, and like my goal in life is never to tell anyone you need to buy this. I don't want to tell people what to buy. I will say
Unless
what
we get paid to.
Well, what? No, I'm saying
Let me
like
tell 'em.
I'm saying my personal goal in life is like, look, it's a world full of consumerism. That's kind of where we live, and it's like there are specific things that I like. I don't live in a cave. I have to buy things.
Batman.
Typically, to get by, and
Batman Underoos.
I do enjoy being entertained, and there's certain forms of entertainment that I like, and if you align your type of entertainment with mine, then I like to be as honest as possible. Of like, I legitimately enjoy doing this thing or this thing, and like, I'm having a fucking blast with Batman. like,
Chill.
on PC. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Stop chilling.
And it's like, I guess I should feel bad, but I don't.
This world's filled with ramps. I love it.
This
Ship
is-
that ramp from this side of the dock to the other.
This is pretty cool too. If you double tap A, you're like,
Oh!
yeah. And then there's an upgrade where you can go even higher.
And I guess if nothing else, the game isn't utterly broken because we have been playing it for the last hour.
Oh, yeah.
And it,
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
there was-
this
there was
is
some
I guess
stuttering.
for anyone curious, it's we're on an Intel i7 and it's a GTX 970, which I heard it has a lot of issues with the 970.
No.
Yeah. Well, no. The 970 itself has issues
Oh, yeah.
with NVIDIA
The
and
RAM
how,
thing.
Is some RAM issue?
They
I-
cheaped you out of half a gig of
Is
RAM.
it also an
think
NVIDIA
so.
drivers issue?
Yeah,
Maybe?
my drivers keep giving me a blue screen.
Oh, that's
Oh
bad.
boy.
when I try and update them, but then it works.
Yeah.
Oh wait, so you played Arkham Knight? You've been trying?
No.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and then I guess for
Just the drivers.
more transparency, we're playing this on like PCs that we built this year. I've been playing it at home on a PC I built 5 years ago.
Really?
With an upgraded. The only thing I upgraded is the graphics card.
Oh wow.
and is running better there. So
Wow, holy
that's
shit.
why when I'm reading all this stuff and I'm like, what's the problem? What's happening? Like it's
Tessellation doesn't work.
I guess and I'm usually the guy where I get the game and it's just fucking broken, and I'm like it's just me. I just break games. You've seen my gameplay before, and I'm like, I'm the blessed one this time. I'm like, it works. I'm so happy.
A lot of times, middle tier computers will do better than like top of the line ones.
That's because
The
the
drivers
they're
have had
average.
longer to be
That's
out.
why they're average.
Either way, Batman's broken.
Try
you
and
should-
fly to that
yeah.
city.
Shame on you, Rocksteady.
Batwing, activate.
Can you go all the way across?
I doubt I'll make it.
Can you summon the Batwing?
Come on, you can do it,
Does
Batman.
it exist though? Can
Let's
you
see.
go over there?
All right, we're done.
I'm pretty sure he'll fall in the
Oh,
water.
we're done. Okay.
Cut
Hold
it.
on, I want to see if we can make it to the city.
I mean, you can keep watching.
One
But
last question from James Willems.
I gotta go
Will he
answer
make it to the city?
email.
I need a little
Go for
boost.
it.
I need a boost.
Nope.
Come on, boost.
Bye, everybody.
Hold on, I want to see this. Yeah, come on, Batman. You can do it.
Chat's really loving that.
You can do it, Batman. Come on, Batman.
Is there nothing? Does
Maybe you're too high up.
there we go.
There we go. Oh, no.
There, hold on. Come on,
Come on,
I know
Batman.
you can get over
There's
here.
no way you're gonna make it.
There we go. Nope.
Higher.
Higher. Fly.
Can
Oh,
you-
damn it.
Here, he's got it.
Go, Batman.
You
Go.
got it.
Come on, Batman.
There's a Riddler statue out there somewhere.
Come on, Batman. You can do it.
Wait, where's
Oh,
he
he
going?
turns around. Oh, yeah. This is what happens in other Batman games.
Invisible wall.
He's like, changed my mind.
Yeah.
No, I didn't, Batman.
I miss Riddler.
No, I
Okay.
didn't, Batman.
Okay.
I meant to do that.
Did anyone here care about backwards compatibility?
I did.
I did
Okay.
too. That
I
means
did
get
a
to
lot.
take one piece of plastic off my shelf.
Yeah, I very much appreciate that because
I still
like
play 360 games sometimes.
I like having the option to. Just like we were saying, I like having the option to access those old games. My bigger thing is
You guys got to get to it, man. We got to beat this.
I know that.
Just fooling around.
No, I'm moving the story
Yeah.
forward. Joel's exploring
Joel, come on,
dinosaurs.
dude. Stop dicking around.
I'm trying to beat up the dinosaurs.
I am all about knowing. Like I know you can do it. Like when they're like, sorry, Xbox One just can't.
I mean,
we just
I gotta be honest.
can't figure it out.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
I'm not even. I don't even want to answer any of these.
Oh wait, you do the
questions.
intro though.
Hi.
I'm just gonna play the game.
Sure.
All right.
Hey everyone, welcome to the FAQ Cast Question and Answer Show, where we answer every single one of your questions that we try to do.
Yeah.
We got a lot this time.
Really?
Because the theme was freedom.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys,
nothing.
you guys can ask whatever you want, which means a lot of people asked like one word answer questions. So
We celebrated freedom,
I'm Sam Neill.
what, 2 days ago?
Yes.
Did anyone watch fireworks for Freedom Day?
No one asked
Couldn't
that. You
see,
can't
it was
ask that.
overcast.
I actually could because it was right behind my house. Not
Okay.
a joke. They were right behind my house.
My dog was scared.
I was
my dog was
watching
also-
Cats were scared.
fireworks from couch while I was watching Disney Channel.
I bet there's a fireworks channel.
What were you watching on Disney?
Hang on.
Zoe 101.
Ooh, good show.
It was a marathon.
Your first question this week comes from Monozoom.
Yeah.
Can you please include Matt Peak in this podcast? It's been almost a month that he doesn't appear in any video, and I miss him. Tell him that Monozoom asked nicely.
How can you miss him if you've never seen him in any video?
Nice, Bull.
Once again, answer with the quick response. Matt's busy editing right now.
He's editing.
Matt is a workhorse, and this is one of the reasons why I love Matt Peak. He does not throw himself in front of the camera.
He also doesn't like to
He does
really
the
be
opposite
on
of
He
that,
doesn't
camera.
like it.
Yeah.
All, everyone always demand like more Matt Peak,
Yeah.
but that's not what Matt Peak wants. Why don't you want what Matt Peak wants?
It doesn't matter what Matt Peak wants. They want his body.
Dance for me, monkeys.
With all that said, though, I'm actually really happy that you guys enjoy Matt Peak on camera.
Where's
Because
the next level?
what?
I don't know where the next level is.
Oh, I don't know. Probably drive through the gate or something. I do like that you want to see all of us. That's nice. That actually makes, I think, him feel good.
It better.
I think it boosts his ego.
You better. You hear that, Matt? You better feel good.
We love you, Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Bruce, want to take the
Oh yeah,
next
sure.
one?
Agerzik, whatever. Do you guys play any tabletop games and trading card games? Well, have I got news for you? We just bought a bunch of D&D bullshit.
Yep.
Like dice and player manuals and hold on, let me get.
We have player
Yeah.
manuals and we all have custom die.
So it's funny. I guess Joel and you guys all came up with the idea of doing
There it is.
So
a D&D game.
yeah.
I was out, so I wasn't involved in the conversation, but I'm happy that it happened. And then Achievement Hunter announced that they're going to do a D&D game if they hit one of their stretch goals.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
that's right.
Yeah,
that's
and so,
right. I forgot about that.
Kind of
So
interesting.
we have to beat them.
And one of the comments I saw in there was someone saying, "Ugh, as someone who plays a lot of D&D, watching this is going to make me cringe." My answer is then don't watch it.
Yeah, please. please don't watch it.
Yeah, but apparently I know Gus and Jeff and I think Jack, I forget who, or I think Ryan,
Oh, they played.
they've all played in DM before and
well,
stuff like that.
Joel
so.
has. Joel's played, so he's going to be our
Yes.
DM, and he knows Dungeons and Dragons relatively well, and we do not. So he's going to be kind of our main guy.
By the way, I was reading the player guide, and I'm not sure some of those characters you guys were coming up with is gonna play nice.
No, what do you mean? What are the restrictions?
Well, I noticed you guys created bearded robots.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And that might not be a race.
wait, you can't play be robots in Dungeons
No,
and Dragons?
I don't think that's a race that will be in the
It's
edition
called
that
Dungeons and Dragons and Robots.
No,
James.
no.
That's what it's called.
No. So I'm not sure that's going to be a race that is going to be compatible
Listen,
with the
a skilled DM can make
game
anything
tools
work.
that we have acquired.
All
so,
right.
So
We'll
if
see.
Joel's worth any of his salt, this will be fine. It'll be fine.
Well, the thing James is referring to too is Joel sent us this website called Hero Forge,
Yeah.
where you can basically create a 3D model of one of your what do you call that? Just your avatar, I guess, your little
Your character.
just your character they use for a tabletop game, and you can kind of go nuts with it. So like, yeah, I have a robot with a beard with a lizard tail, and he looks fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
it looks awesome. He's got a sword, a chain.
And then you basically you make it on the website, and then the company will 3D print it to you and send it to you in different sizes and amounts of detail.
just
so,
not entirely sure that you're going to get to have your bearded robot.
well, I'm gonna have a bearded robot.
There's a whole other dimension to this tabletop game that we're going to be playing that I don't think we should spoil now.
Oh no, not at all.
So there's a whole other dimension. Just we're planning it. We're planning it. It's coming up.
There's a big plan. Next up, Black Nerd. Anyone have an insane night out drinking story? Like, I guess recently?
Like ever?
I was saying the last time I got like shit faced, like crazy drunk was our last day at Machinima.
Yeah, that was the last time I got shit faced too.
I ran into a guy this weekend who was like, "Hey, we met at that party you were at." I'm like, "I don't remember you," for obvious reasons, because I was gone and I was singing a lot of music, and when I sing karaoke, I sound like the lead singer from the B-52s.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it was awesome.
Hey! Except when you're singing, what about Tiffany's or whatever?
Oh, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Deep Blue
something.
Prediction,
sound good.
Prediction though, I think that we might have one of these insane night out drinking stories after SGC.
Oh,
yeah.
I have a feeling because I'm hoping to. I don't. There's no way they listen to this, but I'm hoping that we get to drink with Mega 64. That's my
I
plan.
want to meet Andrew.
I'd like to also meet Andrew and talk about his project Wind Whistler or whatever it was. But yeah, I want to drink with those guys in Dallas in a couple of weeks.
James, how do I climb a wall?
Press up.
Damn it. These damn Lego games. They make them so
why.
complex.
Really?
Needlessly
This
complex.
is where
They
we
actually
gotta
do.
go.
Maybe it's one of the bumpers.
Next question from Hamian. What is your favorite use of music in a video game? Favorite use of music in a video game?
Rock Band.
That's
I like the way.
I mean,
for me it is.
I like the way Rayman Legends did it.
Oh yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that's good too. But
Yeah.
Rock Band is.
I love it. I love any game that kind of quantizes music to what you're doing. So games like Rez and Child of Eden. Those
I was
are
gonna
always
say
really
Yeah, it is really
Lollipop Chainsaw.
yeah. Well, that was just a good soundtrack,
Yeah.
which is not a bad thing.
Well, no, there were
The
boss
music
fights.
like came at you.
The boss fights
yeah,
integrated the music.
multi-phase boss fights.
Yeah.
those are really cool.
I like when it's used in clever ways. Unlike Manhunter, when it just kind of stops when it wants to.
No way. Yeah, that's a feature.
From what I understand, that's actually something that's insanely hard to program. So hats off to developers for
Hats off to Manhunter's developers.
met to Manhunter's 3 developers.
Good job.
They've outdone themselves yet again.
Grantee H has much changed for you guys since becoming a part of Rooster Teeth. Your jobs seem to be very similar from a viewer's perspective. Thanks. But has it been the most? What has been the most notable change in your daily schedule? I feel like this got asked when we first started.
Yeah.
But now that some time has passed, Bruce.
Well, I mean, like, it's good that our jobs seem very similar because that means we're making similar content in the sense that it's up to snuff. I think it's, in my opinion, I think it's better. But in terms of the notable change in our daily schedule, not really. I think we have more freedom now. We talk a lot to Rooster Teeth, but it's usually like remotely, so it's through Skype or email, and I think most of our conversations are pretty straightforward, and honestly, Rooster Teeth is more production focused than Machinima was. That's not a bad thing or a good thing or whatever. It's just more of what we wanted. So Rooster Teeth seems to know more what we want, and so when we ask for things, they're like, "You bet, go for it," which is really cool and encouraging, which we appreciate.
It's just a nice fit. I think every time we talk to any of the guys or gals who come out here, like, I think Bernie and Barbara and Blaine kind of come out the most, or Gus or Matt. Like, anytime they're out here, I think we always kind of were left like with this sense of like, we should hang out more.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we could hang out, and that's good.
Yeah, it is.
Rather than being like, I gotta get the fuck away from these guys.
Right.
Like when Jeff and Michael were here, it was really nice that it was like this. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it feels like we've been working together for years already.
It does. Yeah.
Like, we all just fit in. We all have the same types of conversations.
Yeah.
Like, it's all interchangeable, which is really nice.
And it's funny because recently, like when we tweeted about the Achievement Hunter channel, And then people were like, "Well, I can't believe you're pimping out the Achievement Hunter channel." I was like,
Hey,
"What's
hashtag ad, Bruce.
hashtag ad?" And I was like, well, I was actually kind of blown away because
Yeah.
Achievement Hunter, in our opinion, is like in my opinion, is like our big brother. Like,
Yeah.
they are doing so many similar things and so many awesome things that we want to do. And also, I think they kind of they look to us for influence and inspiration as well. So they're our buddies, they're our friends,
Yeah.
and we love what they do. So when we tweet out that kind of stuff, we actually do love what they do. We watch
Yeah.
their videos, and we really love those guys.
Like a good example, like I've been at other, in the early days of, let's say, Machinima, they were doing some stuff that was like questionable. Like they were making this app for like Facebook, and they're like, "We need to promote it." And I was like, like I don't want to, because it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. I was
Right.
doing inside gaming at the
yeah.
time, and they're like, "Promote this app," and I'm like, so it's like, "Hey, guys," and like that always felt very forced, and I didn't like it. Nothing we do right now feels forced.
Yeah.
It's all just a very natural integration. It's like I said, it's like working with your family. Like it's people you feel like you've known for your entire life, and it's nice. It's a nice natural fit. So it's like anal.
What?
I was just trying to get James's attention.
I'm listening.
Tighter, louder, angrier.
Oh yes, School.
The your guys' mics are kind of low versus the game audio.
Really?
I don't know if you can...
We can turn those up. a little
Man,
bit.
I love live streaming.
Yeah. Is it this one?
It is. If you just turn that up, yeah, there you go.
That one up?
Yeah,
This one
that'll
down?
do. Sure.
Let us know how it sounds, Spool. Sorry about that, guys.
Next question from House of Fun: Fight to the death. Achievement Hunter versus Funhouse. Who survives?
Achievement Hunter, they have more
I
people.
think we already figured this out, though.
Lawrence would win because Lawrence believes the
that's
sucker punch.
And Lawrence sucker punches
is
him while they're
the-
having sex
is
with his
the ultimate,
girlfriend.
is
Oh.
the ultimate attack.
So
right.
can I just rephrase this as my question?
Yes.
So if you come home one day, I guess it doesn't. I guess this is from a male perspective only. So sorry, ladies. You are a man. You come home. Your significant other is getting railed by Ben Affleck. Current day of Ben
Ladies
Affleck.
can still answer this.
How?
Ben Affleck is fucking your boyfriend. I feel like it's pretty similar.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for the women out
We're
there.
really complicating the situation. Go ahead.
Anyway,
Go ahead.
I want
Very
to
simple.
I want to include everybody. Okay, let's just say you're
Come home, Ben Affleck's dick is inside your significant
Like I
other.
said, current day Ben Affleck, Batman, bulked out, huge, 6'3", 230 pounds, whatever. It's sad I know all this off the top of my head.
Well, we looked it up.
We looked it up.
Yeah,
we looked it
yeah. Because we've had this conversation many times now. So Ben Affleck's railing your woman. You walk in.
Or man.
What do you do? What's
Well,
your
no,
reaction?
Not what do you do.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what Lawrence does.
Question
Yeah.
part one is what do you do?
Uh-huh.
Question part two is if you decide to do something,
Can you beat him up?
can you beat up Ben Affleck?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think most of our reactions were kind of laughed
Also,
off.
keep in mind he knows that he knows that he is fucking your significant other in your
your
place
house,
of
yeah,
residence.
Yeah.
On your
So
bed.
He's
knows
taking
who
a
you are.
chance.
Yeah.
He's taking a chance, and he knows that.
Yeah.
But do you think you could beat up Ben Affleck?
So
That's
now,
basically the
Lawrence,
question
give us
boils
your response.
Unequivocally, yes. Without
It's
a moment's hesitation.
unequivocally.
down.
Unequivocally. It's early.
He's just so
It's
excited.
like
he
he's
gets to fight
thinking of Ben Affleck coming at him, and he's shaking.
Basically.
He's getting nervous.
I'm already getting activated.
Yeah.
You're unequivocally fucking my
Tell him why.
girlfriend.
Tell him why.
Oh, I mean, it's just math, really.
Okay.
You bust in on him. I mean, so the arrangement could factor into it.
Sure.
But not a whole lot of guys are expecting to get rushed down in the middle of having sex, even if they're fucking somebody.
I mean, but he's
No,
on alert.
that's what I'm saying.
He's
He-
on alert.
he's alert.
His
He
adrenaline
knows the
is
risk he's
pumping.
taking.
You can see it in his
Maybe
9-inch
maybe-
Whether
long.
it's you, whether it's Jennifer Garner,
Maybe he's just about to come.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Or maybe
I'd be-
maybe I peek through the door and
Okay.
wait till I see him about to come, then I bust in on him.
So
How do you know that
Yeah.
Ben Affleck doesn't pretend to come several times during intercourse like I do?
Well, it won't matter because I am 155% sure that I could swing in, get him on the chin with a powerful flying right hook.
He's got that big bat chin. Though.
Yeah, I know. That's
Really
why it's a
strong.
big target. Got a glass jaw.
So one hit from Lawrence not phases them, right?
Yeah, phases, and then I follow him down to the ground.
Uh-huh.
The beating commences.
I don't. I see. He's from Boston. I feel like he's seen a few fights.
The beating commences.
I think a lot of other actors I would be on Lawrence's side, but
Yeah.
he picked the wrong 6'4", 200 and something pound dude.
Yeah.
I
Size
think you
doesn't
just,
matter.
I mean, you just
Only
just let him
rage.
finish.
Only rage. So here's the thing. I like Lawrence's spirit. I like to think that that's the way I could handle myself. Like if I was so angry I could beat up anybody. Like so if I went after Brock Lesnar, I could beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Probably not true. I'm going to be honest with you. Probably not true.
Brock
because-
Lesnar and
Absolutely
Ben
not.
Affleck are not even remotely in the same strata.
Brock Lesnar's around 300 pounds.
I think they are not in the same strata. Yes, but I do think
But he's the same size. They are the same height.
I do think
By
that
the
they
way.
are closer to the same strata that you may be to either of them.
I think you actually
That's
have
true.
I think you have a better chance with Ben Affleck because he probably has less head trauma in his life.
Yeah, see?
And
Well, no, that's bad.
No,
that's
the
bad
opposite,
for you.
That's
yeah,
bad
yeah.
for you.
So you punch Brock once in the head. He's like, ooh, PTSD kicks in.
Nah.
He falls out.
Brock can
Ben
take a
Affleck's
hit.
like, this fucker just hit me, and I'm Batman.
Who the fuck is
Yeah.
that?
He's not Batman.
He is Batman.
I mean, right now he's
Okay, how
Batman.
about this? It would be harder to beat up Batman's stunt double than Ben Affleck.
Well, I mean, probably.
I think that guy's got a lot of
know.
concussions.
But I don't
too.
know that. I'm not
I
sure.
don't know.
Ben Affleck doesn't have a stunt. double.
Regardless, Lawrence Sontag can beat up Ben Affleck.
That's absolutely
you go.
According to Lawrence Sontag,
Yeah.
Lawrence Sontag can't.
I
beat up
feel like
Ben
if you
Affleck.
could
So-
corner Ben Affleck and get him to weigh in on it,
So thanks for your question, House of Fun, that we completely ignored.
So yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That was the answer.
Either,
right?
either way,
What was the question? If Ben Affleck was fucking.
Achievement Hunter wins. Who cares?
woof.
Munzos 18. Do any of you have any funny firework fuck up stories? I feel like Bruce would. and-
I used to
I
get
do.
into Roman candle fights when I was younger.
Nice.
Did you ever get
Whoa.
hurt?
No, like small burns and stuff, but that's,
Well, that's
basically
minor.
to be. Yeah, that's. I actually still have a pair of pants, and remember when pants that had snaps down the side were really popular?
Yeah.
Just rip them
No,
off.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you do,
remember
liar.
that.
Nope. I just said I don't remember.
You
that.
remember it, all right?
lying.
Like when you want to exercise real quick or maybe strip.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember that. no.
And so I had a pair of pants that I wore with that, and then I also had like some minor paintball gear
Mm-hmm.
that I would wear on top. But if you got shot in the pants, it would just leave like a tiny little
Scorch mark?
burn singe thing in it.
Oh, absolutely.
Lawrence, come over to this crank and move the crank.
I'm the crank man.
I assume Lawrence has fireworks stories. Lawrence?
Oh yeah, because you can actually
sadly-
use them in Dallas.
Yeah.
You can't in Dallas, actually.
Really?
Oh.
I gotta find the wheel.
But what
first.
about freedom?
Yeah, as much as. See, according to people in Dallas, freedom just means that gays can't marry and we don't pay any taxes.
Okay.
Do you pay taxes?
Not in Dallas, no.
Oh.
No state income anyway.
Wow.
Still federal. Yep.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
That's really cool.
And also, gays can marry now,
Sorta.
so
Yeah. So take that.
Suck it, Dallas.
Take that, freedom.
Well, yeah, now gays can marry.
Bruce,
Still-
fireworks
still buy
story. I know
guns
you
wherever
have
you
one.
I have a bunch. So there was one that Dan and I had it was not a firework, it was a model rocket.
Okay.
And what we did was, it was a firework. We strapped a firework to a model rocket.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
ideally,
Like additional thrust.
Ideally, what we were supposed to do, no, it wasn't thrust. This was supposed to go up and explode. So
Okay.
we were supposed to launch the model rocket in the air, and it was supposed to be timed so that when it was in the air, it would explode in the air like a firework. Does that make
Nice.
sense? Because you couldn't buy fireworks in California, so we had to make our own. Regardless, what we did was we strapped the firework to the model rocket. We timed it. We did some math. I don't remember what the math was, but we did it. And we were like, okay, so if we time it right, we hit the button on the model rocket, it goes up around 3 or 4 seconds in and explodes in the air. So we ignite the model rocket. We lit the fuse on the firework before we ignited the model rocket. Lit the fuse on the firework, ignite the model rocket. The model rocket doesn't go. The ignition doesn't work. And this is a big firework we strapped to it, by the way. It was like an M100 or something. And
Jeez.
we're like it's not igniting. And I was filming it, and Dan went, it's gonna blow on the pad, and then it goes boom, like that explodes all over this school that we were at, and and that was a good story that we had.
That was awesome.
Best May 9th ever.
Yeah, it absolutely was nowhere near July 4th.
I know.
Nowhere near.
He said fireworks story. He didn't say.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this was just us fucking around.
Yeah.
Hold on. Can we really just take a fucking minute and say, why the fuck are these Lego games so complicated? Why?
I like that you're getting frustrated at a kids game.
I
Fine.
get frustrated at these Lego games every time I play them.
We're finding all
Just
these.
do what they did in the
There's
movie.
all kinds of shit. Well, I actually tried that. I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the back of the car that we were in. Maybe there's a flare, and I'll do that.
Right.
No, there's nothing.
Don't
And then
you-
all this shit, they put a bunch of shit in the level that none of the characters you're playing as can actually use.
That's for later when you come back with those characters.
Just give me the shit to
I can
connect-
cut open the vines.
Oh God, Dr.
then there's a
Grant
wheel
can cut
behind
open
it.
vines, and there's wheels back there.
That's-
Thanks, kids game.
Next question.
Yeah.
It's for adults too.
From Throwaway R9. Adam, did you ever make a house music documentary?
Well, yes. How did you know?
Well, tell them about it.
Oh,
What'd you do?
So yeah, I mean, all my jobs have tied into
Yeah.
each other in one way or the other. So like, I went from G4 to this place called Channel M that did all the in-store advertising for EB Games, and from there, the guy who used to run that company, like the head of production, left to go do a house music documentary. This guy actually, his brother's a very famous voice actor, which I found out later. He did the voice of Captain Hero in Drawn Together. If you've ever seen that, and he does like a million different voices. Found that out later. Oh, let's play the theme. Anyway, so he wanted to make this documentary about house music, and I was a contractor at Machinima at the same time. I was working like 3 jobs, and this guy offered me a full-time job to edit this movie. So I spent about 9 months on it. But I didn't just edit. I went to like clubs every night and filmed, worked on interviews, did the editing, of course, and then just overall a lot of production. Learned a lot and learned to be very patient with people.
Did you do it all on Molly?
No, so that was
Oh,
actually
you
the funny
should've.
thing was
You
like,
should've.
Not a very accurate documentary.
so yeah, the club culture is interesting. For house, it's different, I guess. It's more about everyone there's just smoking weed and getting drunk. As someone who is working, you cannot indulge in anything, obviously, because you're working. So I never had a drink. I think I got secondhand smoke plenty. I got a couple burn scars on me from people putting their
Ooh.
cigarettes out on me
That
on
sounds
accident. Fucking hate that.
Accident?
Yeah, it happens.
Accidentally.
Because people have their cigarettes and they're jumping and they go, "Say bud," and you're like, "Fucker!" Like, it doesn't feel good.
Wow, assholes.
So I kind of learned to hate club culture a little bit, but I also appreciated it. I was never really into house music. I kind of enjoyed like trance and techno and stuff. But I learned to appreciate house and kind of the culture behind it and like the history of it. It was very interesting. But after 9 months, my job was over, and the guy was sort of like, "Well, you're done here." So I was just like the movie.
The woman's ability is to yell so loud she breaks things.
Don't tell feminist frequency, please.
Mm.
So then, and then at that point, I think Machinima had started its partnership with YouTube, and they were a bigger company. And I went back and kind of like I had to like re-interview kind of, and that's when I was like officially full time. It was like late 2008, early 2009.
What was
And
the name of the
then
documentary? Do you remember?
when I was working on it, it was called An Untitled Documentary About House Music.
Yeah.
That was the best URL ever to work on. And then I think they ended up calling it Unconscious Therapy.
Oh.
I think the movie came out. I'm not sure. It's hard for me to watch my own work.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of my original editing was in there. I think he ended up having to hire another editor because it's kind of tough to make a interesting movie about house music because everyone kind of had all the same answers. They're like, I'm sure, I don't know. They all seemed kind of out of it when they did the interviews. Yeah, and you kind of get the same story every time. But
Right, that makes sense.
like I said, I learned to appreciate it. It was pretty cool.
Well, that just means the story was accurate.
Very much. I mean, so the thing about I found out about house music is that's kind of the constant through all of like dance music because it's basically modern disco.
Mm-hmm.
And so things like jungle and drum and bass and trance and all this stuff will like Jesus Christ. All these things will like come and go, but
Yeah.
house will always just kind of be house. And so like it comes in like peaks and valleys the way it operates, and like so now instead of jungle we have hard style now, and
Yeah.
like I think trance is just I don't know, like
Still trance.
Electro
it's
pop.
something like that. Yeah, like the name always changes.
Future pop.
Ooh,
like
future pop.
You know,
Dark
like,
wave.
trap is a thing. Like you know, it's all the same shit, different name, more modern instruments.
Acid
Ninja style.
trance.
Ninja style.
Psy
that
trance.
sounds
I remember acid. I remember happy hardcore.
Yeah.
That was all
That
shit.
was
I
a
listened
fun
to in high
year.
school. Yeah.
Can you turn down the game volume even more?
Even more?
They're whining.
Should we just do it in the game?
That'd actually be probably.
No.
All right, so we can't.
Well, that'll actually mess with the volume levels of the recording if we
Do I
do
have
that.
to?
Which is not a
No,
big
no,
deal,
no,
but
just over there. Yeah, that'll do.
Oops.
Please do not compromise the sake of our recording for.
Did you see how the Tyrannosaurus Rex was like, wink, wink, and then it actually murdered that guy?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Wink, wink, Lego game,
Remember this
kill.
part?
I just rewatched Jurassic Park over the weekend, kind of on accident.
Still holds up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty
Bruce,
good.
did you see Terminator Genesis?
No,
I almost went.
I almost went too.
I
Please,
almost went. I
please
was gonna
go.
get drunk and then go.
I would have gone with you.
Man, we got to do that.
Yeah.
Drunk movies are fun.
That's Friday.
Except I fell asleep during Dracula Untold.
That was a really boring movie, though.
No,
it was very
Dracula. That was
dark.
amazing.
I liked that movie. I thought
That was the most
was terrible.
sensory inclusive experience I've ever had.
Let the
because
games begin.
We all got really drunk
What's
and
that?
then saw
Sipping on his
Dracula
espresso.
Untold.
Yeah.
And there's a point about 2/3 through the movie where the sun's coming up and Dracula's gonna lose his powers in the sun. The sun basically weakens him and he
Right.
can't. But he's trying to fight off an army. And I was sobering up at that time,
Oh,
so
no.
I knew exactly what he was feeling.
Oh man, terrible.
It's the new D-Box.
Not a great movie.
They're going to pump your body full of hormones so you feel
alcohol.
terrible at all points.
Insane Twig What fads did each of you participate in during the 90s that you're ashamed of, i.e. Jinko jeans,
those snap
bleach hair,
pants.
pogs?
Yeah, those snap pants for
Ashamed of. Nice, Lawrence.
Do this
Look
little-
back to Grant. Excuse me. Ah, God damn it! Shut
So actually, rewatching Jurassic
Shut.
Park this weekend, I did appreciate how much I think Steven Spielberg hates kids.
Yeah.
Because they're sort of like, look at me, I'm annoying, and then he just continues to kick the shit out of
Yeah.
them for the next 2 hours. Or like, Timmy gets like electrocuted. They're just getting beat by dinosaurs the whole time. And Grant's just, I don't think he ever really gets touched. Like, he's fine. And the whole time he's just like, fucking children. Like, cool.
But he doesn't kill him ever. Steven Spielberg loves kids.
Yeah. He'd just rather
Not like
torture
another
Just
movie
understands
director.
their inferiority.
one, Jonathan Landis.
Fads.
I think I did the Jinko jeans and plastic shirts for a while. Remember
What are
plastic?
plastic shirts?
I played
they're-
Magic the Gathering and Pogs.
They were like anime.
Magic the Gathering's still going on, Lawrence.
And
I know.
Pogs are hot
That's
as
a
ever.
weird thing.
I played Pogs.
We all did Pogs, but we were all in like elementary school,
Well,
right?
I'm not ashamed of any of this.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of Pogs. I wore hypercolor shirts. Remember those?
Nice.
Those are cool.
Are those the ones that change color?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a Trapper Keeper, and I'm pretty sure on the front of it, it had a giant, like, reflective marble that reflected a world of pink and checkerboard.
Damn,
like,
that's cool.
Cones and stuff.
Maybe I scream at this thing. Nope.
Trapper Keeper.
I'm trying to. Trapper Keeper's kind of cool. I do remember going to a Hot Topic and buying I bought those big balls, like the necklace that you wear, like the big chains, or whatever. And it had a Marilyn Manson symbol on it, but I didn't know who Marilyn Manson was.
You were like,
And so,
oh, cool.
So the goth kids were like, "Yo, Marilyn Manson." I'm like, "Yep, that's right." I'm like, 'cause I didn't really have access to
You
music.
can't jump.
I'm stuck. I can't do anything.
You broke the game.
There we
Yeah,
go.
you need to move.
Damn,
Uh,
love when you break
What is
stuff.
you?
Embarrassed though. I mean, like in retrospect, I'm like, well, that was embarrassing.
I had a wallet
If-
chain. That was embarrassing.
We all did.
I
Did you have the
won't.
belt buckle with
I
your name
never
on
did,
it, with your
actually.
initial on it?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Oh, I totally have. Oh, you just slapped a woman.
I listened to ska. I'm not really embarrassed.
It's a
of that,
seesaw,
though.
Lawrence.
I like ska a lot.
I think
I still like ska.
I think I remember. I think it was 6th or 7th grade, something like that. I made a conscious decision that
Go to the Target.
I was
please.
going to be a cool kid, and I was like, if anyone asks, I'm only going to say I watch like ESPN and MTV, and I'm only going to wear like these jeans and this shirt, and it worked for about a week, because then I ran out of clothes and things to talk about, and then I realized I'm a fucking nerd.
Yeah,
who
just be a nerd.
likes nerdy
I don't
shit.
think I'm an adjock.
just be
I went
nerd.
back and read my my Terminator
Your Halo.
and Predator.
your Halo fan
Halo
fiction?
wasn't out yet,
Oh,
but I would read Predator comics because those are cool.
those are cool.
Yeah.
Gosh, that screams
So
annoying.
stand there and hit B. There you go. Now I'll hit A, and then you'll jump
Oh
up there.
my gosh.
And
Now
Jinko
you
jeans
jump
are
to
cool
there.
though, so whatever.
Next question.
They're coming
from
back.
Papa Fog. Do you, any of the Funhouse members, follow esports at all? If not, do you ever see yourselves making an effort to start Granted? Granted, it gets popular enough to warrant your attention. So, Lawrence, you reported on esports for a while, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I was an esports reporter.
You hated it.
Stupid job. Yeah, because so that revealed a few truths to me. One is that you cannot report on all esports because there's going to be some dude who has played Dota for 5 years is going to know more about the game than you do.
Well, yeah.
And he's going to tell you exactly how dumb you are.
It's strange though, because then like networks like ESPN can within the same breath go from a football, like an NFL draft pick, to like the top golfers, to like
You know
like
why?
a curling
I'm gonna say something that's
segment.
gonna make everybody angry right now.
Uh-oh.
So not you guys, but the audience.
you're anti-consumer,
Do
Bruce.
you know why? Because
Why?
on ESPN and typical like sports jocks, they don't give a shit whether or not you watch baseball or basketball or football. They don't care. So they might be an expert in one field, but they're not going to come at you and be like, "Oh, you didn't say this one guy with this one stat." Like, but on the internet, they will do that. To
Yeah,
you.
they
Aggressive.
absolutely will.
Oh,
So
okay.
they are a little more highfalutin on the internet than they are in actual real life.
Well,
Gotcha.
it's frustrating because I've seen a lot of networks be like, "Why don't we just do Sports Center but for esports? It's gotta work." It never does. Because what happens is you end up hiring a host who doesn't know anything about esports, and then partnering them with maybe somebody who does know about esports. But then you get this really weird, disparate conversation where, I don't know, somebody is like saying all this really technical, intricate stuff. Everyone else is lost, and then like people just go to the sources they already trust for esports news, and typically those are like YouTubers or like publisher funded stuff like the Riot's WCS or International for Dota 2. Like, I don't know. There's not a big market for like third party coverage of anything esports yet.
Right.
And everybody keeps trying. It's one of those things that it's like it worked over there. Why doesn't it work over here? Well, it's a
Right.
different audience. It's a different sport.
Well, strange enough, I went and saw Inside Out this weekend, and right before the movie started, they did the Fathom events thing where they're like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
like, see Rift Tracks live, whatever, and they did one where they're like, esports live, and they were never clear which game it was. It just said esports live, digital games,
Digital
live.
sports.
I wonder which one it was.
Sports ball,
I'm gonna guess League.
Yeah, it was probably League, right?
probably League or maybe StarCraft. I don't know.
Well, ever since people have been doing their own esports meetup events at like Dave's and Buster's. Used to be
Yeah.
called Barcraft, but now StarCraft isn't popular anymore, so they just call it whatever.
League of Legends craft.
There you go.
I don't know. Get drunk and watch games.
Anyway, I still watch StarCraft, but I'm the only one.
I'd watch a Hearthstone tournament. That'd be fun because I can actually follow the game.
Yeah, it's relatively easy to follow.
Yeah.
But I won't watch what's it called, Heroes. I play Heroes and I like Heroes, but I won't watch it.
Well, we went to a tournament.
I was trying to watch it.
And we were watching, and we were like, we actually know how to play this game, and we don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah,
We ended up coming back here to the office and playing with Gus.
Yeah, that was another thing too. That's another big separation that people haven't really turned their brain over on, is that when you watch someone play in the World Series or whatever, like they're playing in this huge, perfect baseball stadium and stuff, it's kind of difficult to gather up 2 full baseball teams and go out with your friends and play baseball, right? You can't just do that. But if you're watching someone play Heroes,
You can play it. Yeah.
you can just turn it on.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
play it, and it may not be as competitive or the same full experience, but it's going to be pretty close
Yeah, no, you're
to everything
absolutely
they're
right.
experiencing on stage. So I think that's a difference between conventional sports and esports that a lot of people haven't wrapped their heads around.
Yeah, that's true.
That also points at another, like the ability to appreciate what you're seeing on screen without having played the game. You can give somebody a rundown of the rules of baseball or football, and then sit them down and watch a game, and they might ask a few questions, but largely I think they would get the back and forth.
Yeah.
They'd get the tension of the match. They'd get the critical, pivotal moments of the game. That does not happen in League or Dota or even StarCraft. Like maybe a shooter like Call of Duty or Counter-Strike, people can just wrap their heads around, but
I've tried to figure. I've actually tried, and it's
very hard.
Yeah, and it's very. And maybe it's because we're old, but I keep trying because I don't want to be old. You know,
Yeah.
like I want to be like, all right, I get this, but I don't know. I can't figure it out.
It's sort of, for me personally, it's just kind of hard to watch.
Yeah.
Like it's just, even people were complaining about our Smite gameplay. They're like you guys are funny, but I didn't understand what was happening. I'm like, I don't blame you. Like
Yeah.
you saw a lot of, unless you play the game and you're just seeing a lot of flashing lights.
Right.
And when we all coordinate our alts together and we get and we're like, oh, we did it. People are like, they seem happy, so that's good.
we did it.
I don't know.
I am controlling the
Next question from Robot Boots. On average, how long does it take to edit a video?
It's a good question.
What do you guys think?
It depends on the video.
It does.
But I would say if it's a typical like Funhouse joint, like if it has your photoshops, your rapid cuts, all that kind of thing, I would say like start to finish maybe about 8 hours man work. And that's including rounds of notes, that's including weird fuck ups, that's including any doctoring that has to happen to the original footage.
Yeah.
Just like I think that's a pretty safe baseline.
But it's funny because like you say 8 hours and you're about right, but it's not like a full day.
Yeah, it's not continuous.
Because like
You get
obviously we're
interrupted,
not-
we go to lunch.
Yeah, we're
we
not
have
doing
meetings.
8 hours of work
Yeah.
in one day, so it ends up usually taking around 2 days.
Day and a
time.
half. Yeah. 2
Yeah.
days.
Day and a half to 2 days. Yeah, that's true.
But then there's different videos too, like putting up a podcast or something else, like doesn't get as much
Sure.
attention because it's usually unedited.
Yeah, I mean the turnaround on that is like 2 hours
Yeah,
maybe.
it's real
Yeah.
quick.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, and this is just so you guys get a peek behind the curtain. This is what we have to consider when it comes to like what series we work on or what videos we decide to do in a given week. It's all there's a whole cup and shell that you guys don't see behind the scenes of budgeting, who's available for what, who's out of the office. Like, are we taking on new projects that are going to take a little more overhead, all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's also, and then you get into a whole nother territory where we really like to play games together sometimes too,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Ark and the GTA heists
Those are a lot
and
of
stuff
fun.
like that. But then you get into the issue of we have to then do multicam controls on it and then go back. And once we have the full multicam, I think Lawrence cuts the video first, gets the pieces that he knows. Oh, check that out. Gets the pieces that he knows wants to be in the final finished product, and then multicams that. But like,
Yeah, we
I
all
think
have
Spool and I
different
both
approaches.
just sit down with the game, multicam it as though we were watching it live, and then go back and fine tune it afterwards. And then that means that you're left with an hour to an hour and a half footage that you have to watch all the way through multicam and then go back and then do what would be the like probably 8-hour edit.
Yeah, and those projects will sometimes just throw in fun little quirks that were like, why did like, oh, Adobe Creative Cloud updated today, and now we're missing this one feature. Right. It's like, ugh.
Or
Like-
just it won't pause. Like it's just playing and it won't stop. So you know those things, they're always unexpected, and they can take another hour or two to figure out. So.
Yeah. So yeah, different projects take different amount of time. Like we're cutting a live action thing right now, and that was kind of a production headache because we didn't technically have a camera guy or a sound guy, and so I have a couple shots of like Joel naked with his shirt off holding a boom mic because we had to like switch around like that.
Well, I wrote a script that included everyone.
Yeah.
Which I guess was a mistake.
No, that's not
Well,
a
the thing
mistake.
is, you
That's
didn't.
what we wanted.
You kept certain people out of certain shots at certain times, but it forced us to be really creative.
Yeah. So like our intern at one point was holding the audio, like
Microphone,
doing the
yeah.
audio
And Matt
and
Peak was
stuff.
running the camera.
Matt Peak
Yeah.
was doing camera, so it's tough. We definitely have to improvise basically everything we do here every single day.
Yeah.
That's true.
What we learn.
Next question from Liddy. Hello, Funhouse. What video game from past and present had the best intro? The best intro.
But
What do you
will
mean
Funhouse ever
intro?
visit?
I'll get to that one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Lost Odyssey.
Best intro.
Lost Odyssey.
Yeah, it had a really cool like giant cinematic, and it was like this dude running through a battlefield, chopping up all these guys, and then he just like gets done owning some fools, and then he just like steps off, and the camera pans around, and it blends from video to in-engine at that moment, and then like the UI comes up and you're playing. So it's just like that really cool moment if you're like you're in like movie mode and you're watching, you're like cool, and then the interface pops up and you're like, oh, it's a game now. That's cool. And I remember Metal Gear Solid 4 did that too. That was pretty cool.
I'm also going to go with Japanese video game, and I go to Kingdom Hearts 1 because it's like this weird kind of Japanese J-pop music video.
Man, it's super fucking weird.
It's
The one where you have to like pick magic, strength, or
No. The intro is like it's like a cutscene. It's that music video.
Utada Hikaru.
Yeah, the simple and clean.
Yeah.
And
Where
like
he's like falling into the ocean.
yeah, and I was in high school and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I like it, and my body feels weird, and
My
I think,
pants are tight.
I think that the song is better
What is this
in
magical culture?
Japanese.
Kingdom Hearts 2 though.
I don't
The
rem-
intro to Kingdom Hearts 2 I think had a even somehow more Japanese
no.
like J-pop. But on that same vein, I was gonna say Final Fantasy 8. Final Fantasy 8 had a
Oh, yeah.
badass
That-
intro,
They ended up using that
Yeah,
theme
with, like,
song.
Cypher and Squall beating the shit out of each
which
other.
is actually like part of the story.
Yeah,
That's what I like
because it
about
opens up
too.
just after that with like
yeah,
Squall's
and
in the
they're
hospital.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I got cut in the face.
God damn it,
with
Cypher.
a gun blade. No, I remember they ended up using that intro music in like a some like a Olympic swim team.
Really?
Like did a coordinated. Did you just yawn?
No, I didn't. I'm really interested. I actually didn't know that though.
Fethos,
About the
Wusek,
Olympics.
whatever.
Yeah, it's a really good theme song actually. I remember
That's all right.
that was one of my favorite parts of 8 because the rest of the game was a little underwhelming.
I'll say it. Half-Life 2 because
Oh, yeah.
you're immediately in the game and
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that you can't do that you're like, why can't I do this? And finally figure out you're in the intro, which I appreciated. It's funny because like you're frustrated at first. You're like, this is dumb. I don't like this. And then I don't know, for some reason it just clicks right away and you get it and you're like, oh, okay, this is the intro to the game, and you're immediately put in the game, which I appreciate. So,
Half-Life 2, not Half-Life 1.
correct, Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2 is a lot shorter.
It is a lot shorter,
Yeah.
which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I know there's
Simple guy.
there's a bunch in my head. I'm trying to think of like different time periods when I was growing up because like I remember when I was younger I had a Mac so I couldn't play a lot of games, so we had a lot of like Day of the Tentacle and like Sam and Max type games,
yeah.
and yeah, so different time periods in my life I had different intros that really like set you up for the game, and like you were like, yeah, I'm in, let's do it, but yeah, the biggest one I can think of is Kingdom Hearts.
And then he also says, will Funhouse ever visit Asia, specifically Singapore?
God, I wish.
Yeah, I've been to Singapore.
I want to go to
It's
Singapore.
awesome.
Aren't
I
you
wanna
allowed
go
to
back.
not? You can't spit, right?
Okay, so Singapore is like known for
You get
having
caned, right?
This is a
it's
freedom
known
cap.
for having a bunch of laws and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Spit
there
wherever
was
you
that
want.
American who went and got caned because he fucking graffitied up the place.
Yeah, no, Sure,
and I'm
yeah.
glad he got his ass caned. I'll say this about Singapore: it like almost makes a joke about all the rules it has. Like you can get a T-shirt that shows all the different rules, and yeah, there's no chewing gum,
that's
no
awesome.
stuff like
What?
that. But
You like can't hold hands in public with like a significant other or something like that.
I don't know about that. I don't think that's true at all. I think you're
maybe
thinking
it's-
of the United Arab Emirates.
Possible.
But uh-oh, something happened to Tim.
He's a ghost.
Tim,
Punch the tree.
How'd you get over there? Where are you?
it just started me here.
So-
Anyway, Singapore's really like for as many rules as it has, it's super fucking clean. It's like utterly clean and beautiful everywhere, and like the public transportation was awesome while I was there, and everything was really cheap when I was
So
there.
is Oceania in the book 1984. Oceania?
Oceania is
Oceania.
like the Australian continent.
But that's what it's called, though. In
Do you guys
1984.
remember that board game called Passport? You had a little
wrong with
thing,
Tim?
and then you would get acquire passports,
yeah, I
and the
did.
guy would talk to you, and he's like, "You're headed to Oceania."
I do remember that,
And I was
yes.
like, "Where are you sending me?"
To a
But
work camp?
we would love to go to. I would love to go to Japan. I know
Yeah.
you've been.
Yeah, I think Adam Ellis is going soon, and I'm very jealous that he's going to Japan. That's like the one country I want to so badly revisit, and I want to take so many people with me.
Yeah,
I
I
went to
would.
Japan on a Singapore trip as well, so.
Shut up.
And Hong Kong.
All right, rich boy.
Ah, Jeez, James, so world traveled.
I haven't been
Yeah,
to
I
any
am.
of those places.
There
I
it
know,
was.
neither have I.
Cool.
I
So
wanna
the
go.
next time we have an argument about anything vaguely Asian, Lawrence, I win.
I can't argue
Because you were
with
there
that,
for a
so.
week.
Yeah.
Let's see. The next question. This is from Nightmare X. Nightmare X? 75. Who is the greatest American hero in video games? Your dad for
Raw America.
Raw America, yeah.
Or Uncle Zeus. from
President Wolf from Full Metal Chaos? I can't remember his name. He gets into a mech to defend America. That's
pretty cool.
From the evil vice president.
There's also a senator you have to fight in what was that game called? Metal Gear, Raiden, whatever.
Solidus? He was the president, dog.
No. The Platinum Games one. I'm blanking.
Oh, Vanquish?
No, not Vanquish. No, they made a Metal Gear game where he plays.
Oh,
Raiden.
Rising. Yeah.
Rising. There it is. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah, the dude in the robot suit.
No, you like fight like a senator at the end. He's like the boss. You fight him on top of like a Metal Gear Ray or something like that. I completely forgot. The game was a blur in my brain.
Metal Gear has a great story, Adam.
No, it doesn't. No,
That's
it's-
the greatest story.
It's just fun to play.
Greatest American hero. Are there any American heroes in these games? Is Sam Fisher American?
Yeah.
Blaskowitz is pretty.
Technically.
Oh,
fucking
Blaskowitz.
bad.
Yeah,
There you go.
Blaskowitz. I'm with you.
There you go.
Even,
Perfect.
even when he's transported to a different time where Nazis are the default.
Doesn't
and-
matter.
Yep,
America
nope.
still wins.
He's like,
Was it-
America, fuck you.
Was it two bad? Was it two rad dudes or two bad dudes?
Oh, bad dudes. Yeah, they got to
They-
save the president.
Well,
They have to save the president and get a cheeseburger at the end.
Kidnapped by ninjas.
It was something, yeah, it's like kidnapped by
Where
ninjas.
how the fuck do you open this door?
Yeah, I've been watching you guys.
The rest of the game is over there.
I'm making some progress
That's
on
a-
my side.
that's a
I don't know where you are.
That's a ladder.
You're hanging out with a little girl in a ditch.
You got it.
That's fun.
Next question
Oh.
from Slam. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no! I was gonna say the only other thing I think of is in Hitman. One of them, I forget, contracts, blood money. I forget which one, but you. I think the second to last levels you have to kill the vice president.
What?
Yeah, and you're like, just think of the White House, and he's just like walking on the lawn, and you're like,
Holy shit.
well, there's a reason he's a bad guy.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
Well, why else would you hit? Yeah.
You're right. Next question from Slamasaur. What's your favorite comic line or story arc from any distributor? So basically your favorite comic story arc.
One Piece, all of it.
Oh my god.
God, oh man, the worst thing in the world happened this weekend, Lawrence.
You found out that
You
Michael.
could
was
have
in
read One Piece but didn't.
No, the opposite.
Oh, you
I spent
did
a
read
lot
One
of time reading One Piece and caught up to all, not the published Japanese manga, but I
Oh.
caught up to all the American.
The fan side?
But that means I only have about, I think, 3 volumes left of Japanese manga to catch up on. And of course, it ended with like the biggest fucking cliffhanger in the world. Oh, I
Hey.
tripped over that one.
When he's saying distributor, so he's just saying
Huh?
Like
comic.
Any comic. Basically.
Oh, okay, comic. Oh,
I figured Adam was gonna say not year one.
Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Returns
Dark
or
Knight
Killing Joke maybe.
No, well, that's not
Who's
even.
going to be the
real-
douche and say Watchmen? Just get it out
Oh,
of
I
the way.
was gonna say.
There you go.
I'll be the douche.
Really?
Watchmen is fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
Watchmen's great. Yeah, it's
My favorite Spider-Man storyline. There was one.
Carnage?
the Clone Saga.
No, Maximum Carnage is pretty sweet, but
Yeah, it is.
no, there was an arc like I want to say 2000 or so. It's when Straczynski first started writing for Spider-Man. But basically, there was this whole thing where like he was basically rewriting part of Spider-Man's origin, which has happened many times. But I kind of liked his approach. He's basically saying like, okay, you are this like animalistic totem, and then all your villains are animalistic as well. Basically, you're part of this like giant spiritual fight between all
Like
these.
Madam Web.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, it got a little spiritual with it, but basically the implication was you were chosen to be like the link between Spider and man, and that was going to happen whether or not that Spider got irradiated. It was just
Yeah.
incidental. And then he found this other dude who also had spider powers, and it was a neat kind of rework of the origin story, and introduced a cool villain, Morlun, that no one remembers.
Ooh.
It doesn't sound very cool. None of that sounds cool.
Uh,
He's unremembered, and he has a stupid name.
He was like this dude who fed on superpowers, and that's not unique to comic books. But
Tyler from Heroes?
but it made for some good fights. That's it.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
That's it.
God, I've read a lot. Like I went through the Court of Owls recently, and then
I
Hush.
have to read that.
It's really good. It's really good. All the Snyder stuff has been really good. Batman, all the New 52 stuff. Oh, you know what?
Except it's all casually sexist.
I'm gonna get the name wrong. God damn it, because the new Gods and Monsters thing is out. But was it Justice League Gods Among Us? Is that what it is? No, that's Injustice.
That's Injustice. Yeah.
Oh, it's the Alex Ross thing he did. Fuck, it's like Kingdom Come.
Oh, it's great.
Oh.
Kingdom
That's
Come's
a great
amazing.
that's a great comic.
Yeah,
I
I think
read
that's my favorite run.
great.
Just it's very Watchmen, but with all the DC heroes, and the art style is like a Sam Rockwell. No, what's his name?
Yeah, I know who you're talking
The
about.
fucking
The dude
hometown
who does-
buffet.
Yeah.
Or Norman Rockwell.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's very
okay, I
the,
see.
the art style is amazing.
I was trying to remember it, and I couldn't either.
And I like the idea that it's like it's old Justice League, and yeah, the story's like fairly dark, pretty good.
How edgy though? I like dark.
So that's the thing. Like I was going through the Civil War saga, and I just stopped after a point when it started forcing me to read X-Force, and I was like, because the art style was shit.
That's the thing with comics.
Is
A lot of
Layfield still
times,
doing it?
I've said it before,
it's way
but
over.
sometimes the best way to read a comic is to read the Wikipedia for that story arc. Like Age of Apocalypse,
Man, Apocalypse is so cool.
It's such a great concept.
I read that whole thing.
Wow.
Man, but
Yeah.
I read it too, but I like read
I
it
don't remember what
after the
happens,
fact.
by the way.
Because it's not very well done. Like
Yeah. Well,
it's
I think they-
designed to sell comics, which means
Yeah.
that they spread it across a bunch of things, and they have 4 writers all working towards a different goal and stuff. But
Yeah.
man, Age of Apocalypse is an utter disappointment.
My favorite runs are the ones that end.
Yeah,
That's the thing, like
that's
that-
why I like Watchmen and like you said, Kingdom
Yeah.
Come, because it's like one thing.
Well, so the Civil War, I think, was Marvel's attempt at being a bit more. They're trying to be a bit more adult, but they can't seem to break the 14-year-old age range. So like, they can't break that ceiling. So I always thought DC was just always spoke to me more as like because it always felt older, like more adult.
Interesting.
DC stuff was just always better.
See, I always felt the opposite because DC. Maybe this is total prejudice, but to me, it's like DC has characters named like Captain Cold,
Yeah.
and
Their
I don't
names are
know.
bad.
Sure.
The names are always really bad, and it's like there's so much like Silver Age still embedded in DC.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just super lame. But then again, Marvel's the opposite. Like, to me, they're just like super 80s edgy.
Marvel to me just reminds me of Pogs. I don't know.
I know what you mean.
A lot of it has to do because there was a big resurgence of Marvel in the 90s when Avi Arad or whatever took over and was making the cartoons on Fox.
Oh, yeah.
And so they did the X-Men cartoon, the Spider-Man cartoon. So like that was like his first step. And then when the movie stuff started taking off, that all had a very like early 2000s vibe. Like I don't know, Marvel.
Oh, like the X-Men reboot.
Yeah, it always feels really
All
dated.
the leather.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch that. Man, I love watching movies outside their time.
I just remember the intros were so good and like so expensive. Clearly, they had like really intricate animated openings and stuff, and then the animation in the cartoon was so bad.
Whoop,
Like
sorry.
like the X-Men cartoon, like the animation's just shit.
It's really bad, yeah.
Like Wolverine looks really awkward. He's just always wearing his suit, which is always kind of weird too. It's like he's laying in bed
Sometimes
wearing
when
his
he's on his
full outfit.
motorcycle, he's wearing normal clothes.
There's a point though. I think it's like season 3 or season 4 of that show where then they had even less money.
Yeah.
But they also for some reason the artist discovered shading.
Ooh.
Like so like it's like Gambit's face, but half of it is
yeah.
just blacked out, like just because they're like shading.
So Watchmen.
Yeah, Watchmen.
Okay, Watchmen's
Watchmen. Oh, I also want to shout out like when they did Ultimate Marvel stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty badass. That was a smart
Well,
move.
you
because-
got me into for the comics.
Yeah, for the comics. Like
Yeah.
doing Ultimate Avengers is really good. It's like a really refreshing new take on heroes that definitely needed a new take. And then Ultimate Spider-Man's good, except that they ruin Gwen Stacy. But
Yeah, they also raced through like every prominent plot arc of Spider-Man.
but it's a cool way to like almost get that Wikipedia, like that Cliff's
I guess
Notes,
you're right, yeah.
as opposed to going back and reading 500 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, which
That's
most
fair.
of them probably aren't worth it.
I just felt like is Ultimate's just gonna be like another recap of all the high points of all of these various comics, but I know Avengers wasn't like that. They actually reworked a lot of the characters to make them more appropriate.
Yeah.
But for
Thor's,
Spider-Man, it was like,
homeless
oh,
man.
Like they basically rushed through.
That's
Kind
true.
of. He's
There's a
yeah.
homeless man?
No,
That's
he's
awesome.
he's like a cult dude.
They did
like,
a black suit Spider-Man
he's
arc,
like a
really
new
quickly.
age hippie that has superpowers.
And then they got to Carnage like right away. I'm like, okay, you're gonna run out of ideas.
Try hopping over.
Anyways,
Okay. Yeah, Slamasaur asked the question, what's your favorite comic line? Oh, wait, we already did that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we already
Sorry, we're at the end of this page. This is the Legan Bass asks a very long question. There have been several mentions of the Total War franchise in the background of videos, which makes me wonder how many of you are fans. If you're a fan of
oh boy, this
Total
guy
War,
really loves Total
which
War.
one is your favorite? This also makes me
Call
wonder,
me.
what's one of your favorite non-popular games? One question, please, guys. The things that people may not have heard of are things you come back to long after they're popular. I don't think anyone here plays Total War, except for maybe Lawrence.
I played a few of them.
I tried to play Total War and it wouldn't run on my computer.
Spool,
And-
Total War, PC exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you play it?
No.
Hypocrite.
All right, so he doesn't play it.
All right.
Yeah.
Nobody's really a fan of Total War. Maybe Joel is. Who cares? This also. What's one of your favorite non-popular games?
Non-popular
I
games.
mean, Lawrence has got like 50 of them.
Yeah,
I was
all of them.
gonna say.
Assassin's Creed 1.
I don't know what constitutes non-popular.
It sold like 17 million
Probably
copies.
something that didn't sell very well.
Beat Mania.
I don't know how it's sold, but Catherine, I think, is one of the
Yeah,
best
Catherine's
games
fucking
ever.
rules.
Catherine's an awesome game that is both a game and a store and a narrative experience and like a
And, like, it tackles adult
psychological
themes.
study kind of thing.
It's the game that a lot of people want and say they want but didn't play or buy.
yeah.
Oh, I would say in the same vein, Enslaved.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I think was Team Ninja?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do great freaking work.
Aha, a pile of poop. Wait, that's not poop.
No, it's just
Oh, you're
flowers.
playing the game. I see.
Sorry. No, I love
it's fine.
Enslaved.
Yeah, Heavenly Sword, DMC, Enslaved. Enslaved, I think, from a narrative perspective, that was my favorite one because
Yeah.
Andy Serkis like owned it, and I know we always kind of give games shit for no one cares about the narrative sort of thing, but like I really love the story in Enslaved.
It was cool.
Well, we
Yeah.
don't have a. It's when you prioritize.
Yeah.
To be
Right,
clear, it's
yeah.
when you prioritize the narrative above all other
It's when you
things.
put gameplay behind the story.
And it was
It
yeah,
had
it
such
had the
a it had
gameplay.
such a bittersweet ending.
It had the setting for sure. I love that. Like, there's a fuck. Somebody said what that was called.
Dystopian.
No, just like
future.
not necessarily dystopian, but just like nature overtaking
Isn't it?
civilization.
Oh.
There's a specific word for
Astral-
that.
It's
It's
called
like
it's called Last of Us.
Portal 2 had that. Yeah, Last of Us. Just like just like
It is-
skyscrapers with like vines and stuff
So
growing
that's
through.
that's sort of like a crazy thing. I think there was a documentary I've
Tokyo
been
Jungle.
meaning to watch it. It's called like After We're Gone,
diminished something.
and it was like a the idea was they were showing like CGI creations of Earth, what it would look like 1,000 years after we're gone. And the thing like they were kind of pointing out is like people always talk about how like we're destroying the Earth and all that stuff. It's like the minute you leave something alone for like 5 minutes, a tree will destroy it. Like the Earth will retake anything we do to it because it is just it's so powerful. Basically,
I'll say this.
Maybe not.
Plants will destroy
Melt
anything
the
we
ice
build.
caps. That'll
I'm
leave a mark.
gonna say what everyone else is afraid to say.
Okay.
Trees are worse than humans.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Taking over the
trees.
earth,
Why is
making
that?
it their own.
Well, we need
Because of
them
what
to
Adam
live.
just said.
Fuck you, trees.
Yeah.
Well, trees need us. Well, they don't need us to live.
No.
But they need the earth to live.
Well, I thought they breathe our carbon monoxide or whatever.
That existed before we got here.
I don't know how
We're
it
just
works.
we're making way too much of it. Is the problem.
Photosynthesis. Either way,
Yeah.
trees are gonna kill us, so
Yep.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Next question from Diabetes.
Let's kill him first.
How many times can James bench press spool?
Well, how much do you weigh?
Spool, how much do you weigh?
I weigh 150.
A shit ton.
Yeah, so a ton.
A lot of
A
times.
fucking million times.
I do want to see this, but
Well-
unfortunately we don't have the.
You're right.
If
I'm
he
gonna
wants to
move-
try it, he can lie down and I can try and bench press him now.
You want to
We
try
can
that?
rack him for you.
150, yeah.
Flat.
We gotta move out of the way of the webcam.
Okay.
Flat.
So I don't have my hand on your.
This is an open house, but whatever.
easier.
I'll try and hold you guys stable.
Yeah. We're gonna
So lay, you gotta lay it like that's pretty good. Yeah.
Here?
Yeah, that'll work.
So I guess it spools on his back, so you can have one on his shoulder, one on your.
probably need one on his thigh.
Oh, you want him
and
to lay
then
on
one-
his side.
probably that'd probably be the easiest. And then a hand
Taking all the sharp objects.
Or
Oh.
I could put a hand on his chest and then another on his thigh, and then he'll have to keep himself straight.
Like a sword.
So my back.
Strong core.
I'll hold him up.
I just ate like 2 pizzas this weekend. So
Bruce, you gonna be spotter?
Yeah, I'm gonna hold spool up.
Let's try flipping the other way, so that way I don't have to touch his penis.
So close.
I know.
You need a.
Lawrence, you might be in the
I
way.
need
Squat
like crab.
down.
I need crab walk like on top.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking I was going to.
Yeah, there you go.
Now you're really annoying. No, that's fine. Sorry.
All right, Spool, you got it?
Watch
Can you stick your legs out?
I was gonna say,
Your head's fine.
The advantage of an actual bench is it's designed to be lifted many times. Spool, on the other hand.
Yeah!
Wait, are you helping Bruce?
Well, he's
trying to
balance.
Whoa!
I think that's 3.
4,
All right.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Nice job, Spool. 12, 13,
Don't hurt yourself.
14,
I think a spool's turning
15,
red. This is exerting for him.
16, 17. He's doing a good job.
I'm
18,
He's working his
core.
19,
Well, I'm trying to stay
20. Oh, that was good. That was good. That was good.
Wow.
That was really good. Nice job, Spool and
Nice,
James.
Spool.
That was good teamwork there.
That was
Now,
mostly-
Bruce, bend over.
What?
Perfect.
What do you? What?
I'm gonna exercise behind you.
Yeah, you.
Wow.
Will and I are gonna join Cirque du Soleil.
That was really good.
Take that, Blaine.
I could just hear your hands popping. and
Ew,
stuff.
that is a pube.
Yeah. It's been there for a long
You were
time.
here this weekend, right?
I was.
Alone,
It's
right?
your pube.
Yeah, what were you doing?
Straight pube in it. Raw dog pube in
Speaking
it.
of pube, I got
Oh,
You got some
pubes
spool,
all over your hand.
spool pubes?
And pubes.
Hard to top that question. So what was the answer? 20?
20. Yep.
20.
yeah.
The answer is
20 times.
Crumbleina, the 4th of July is known for being a barbecue, fireworks, and family sort of holiday. And that theme is over and done, so give it a makeover. What's the new theme?
For 4th of July?
Russian independence.
Awkward parties.
New theme?
Huh.
Joel?
4th of Drug Lie.
I think
Yeah, everybody does drugs.
I don't.
Yay.
So I did some research a little while ago. Billy Joel is like one of the most celebrated singers, musicians in the world. We do not have a Billy Joel day.
What?
All right, 4th of July is Billy Joel
Just
Day.
all Billy Joel. So you wake up in the morning, you go, Uptown Girl, she's been living, and that's it.
Adam, what is your favorite day that is designated for a specific singer?
Huh. Is there one?
Is there a
Michael
designated
Jackson
singer day? Yeah, is there a Michael Jackson Day?
Michael
No.
Jackson Day would be fun.
Because we don't do that in America.
Because we'd listen to Alien Ant Farm all day. That'd be cool. Was it Annie Uoke came on twice last week?
Oh, man, I
Yeah,
love that
you
song.
called me.
Yeah, that was one of the
Called
times.
me in the morning, and I was like, "Hello, what's wrong, Adam? What's going on?" Like, "Oh no, just listen." And I was like, "I can't hear anything." You're like, "Oh well, Alien Ant Farm is playing."
Kind of how my brain works.
Mr. Gabby Wabby, you have unlimited freedom from Rooster Teeth. What gameplay, machine-animated or live-action series would you like to create?
Do we also have unlimited budget?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I was gonna
unlimited
say-
budget is what we need.
We
Yeah.
want
Yeah,
to-
we'll assume it's unlimited budget.
I was gonna say we'd give Bernie and Matt any stupid idea and then go for
Yeah,
it.
they'll
Does this
yeah.
also
Yeah.
mean like this show has to get viewers? Because I just want to make Cinematech again.
Okay.
All right, so
So basically,
Lawrence is
saying we
gonna
could
make Cinematech.
we could make whatever we want. Is basically what you're saying.
I would love to make an animated series.
One on the right.
That's what I want to make.
Animated would be great.
An animated series of us. That's what I want to do.
You gotta throw this thing at him?
Yeah, that's how this happened in the movie.
You shoot him, and then I'll throw the thing at him.
Similar to Tim and Eric, or maybe just Tim Heidecker. I don't know.
Nope.
I like doing things that are unexpected of us. So at some point, I want to just do a full no humor. I just want to do a drama,
Okay.
and I want it to be like ultra cheesy, or maybe not cheesy, but just really dramatic, like us crying, us I want to make people sad. I don't
Will
know.
Ferrell has been doing that, and he does like these weird television specials.
He did the Lifetime thing, yeah.
He has this Lifetime one coming out, and then Towers of Babylon was a little bit funnier, but they were still very much allowed him to play a serious role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in the movie Stranger Than Fiction.
I think we should. I would
was
want us to
awesome,
do a shot-for-shot remake of every single episode of Big Bang Theory.
Oh, that's a great idea.
That's pretty good.
We have a recreation of the set that's like each one is 75. It's 75% the scale
Yeah.
it's
of
a
the
little
full
smaller,
set. So it's a little smaller, but we're still the same
I like
size.
that.
And then all of
This idea.
all of the dialogue is
with,
in gibberish.
With or without laugh track.
With.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The laugh
Except
track.
it never stops.
Do we get $1
Except
million
for
an
75%
episode like they
that's
do?
loud.
No, we get very little money per episode.
Yeah.
We get 75%
$1
of
million?
I want that.
less than $1 million.
Oh, we didn't get
Okay,
True
all right.
Survivor.
Whatever.
I say we take out every other line
Aw.
from the script and see if anyone notices.
They won't. The answer is they won't.
Yeah. Because as long as you say the punchline and go, Halo, they're
We make a big
nerds.
deal about getting Charlie Sheen in one episode, even though he was never on that show.
Yeah. It's just because everyone watching is just a corpse, just because it's a bunch of old people who died.
The audience is a bunch of skeletons.
So this is what nerds are like. How approachable and unintimidating.
Well, it's your grandmother who's on Medicaid who fell asleep watching CBS at whatever 8 p.m. and it's like, well, it's the highest rated show because she's a Nielsen
Because everybody
viewer.
died
on
watching it.
TV. Meanwhile, the music video from
All the
fucking Taylor Swift gets 10 times the views.
all the ads are for skeletal cream. I can't figure it out.
I'm
Hold on,
also
Fool's
muttering. He's talking to Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Lawrence, you guys were listening to Lawrence.
What's the name of that new Demi Lovato song?
Cool for the summer.
Cool for the summer.
Yeah. It ain't bad.
I know it isn't.
Yeah, it ain't
That's
bad.
the
Angry.
subtitle. Go for the summer. It ain't
It
bad.
ain't bad.
This is E.G. McDonald 09. What's your favorite breakfast cereal? Captain Crunch for me.
Reese's Puffs.
I don't have one.
I like.
this is
I don't.
like
I don't
chops the roof of
really
your mouth.
eat breakfast
Yeah,
cereal.
neither do I.
Captain Crunch.
But I like
that's-
things that have like almond slices in them or something, like almond nut crunch or something
I
like
like
that.
grape nuts. You ever had
Grape nuts. Oh, I'm a big fan of grape. I used to
Oh.
have grape nuts every day.
Old
grape
person
nuts are good.
cereal.
It is an old person cereal, but it's good for you. That's why.
I mean, you seriously, you don't have just like a favorite one? I don't think
I
they're
don't.
asking
I
like...
never eat breakfast. If you see me, I eat a fucking balanced bar.
Yeah,
I know,
he
but
eats half of it
no,
for
I
a
don't
bar.
think they're asking what do you eat now,
Just
but
in
it's
history, like
yeah,
ever,
like,
as
do-
a kid or
No,
anything?
no, I didn't have.
like
so remember,
Cookie Crisp. I mean,
no,
it's just
was al-
cookies in cereal.
I was allergic to sugar until I was like 12 or 13 years old, so I never
That's-
had breakfast cereal either.
God,
Every cereal has sugar in it,
man, sitting there in your Jinko jeans playing Pogs, can't eat awesome
Yeah.
cereal.
but I had wallet chains.
Chewing on a cardboard box.
Boo Berry's pretty good.
What's that?
No,
Never had
I-
blueberry?
See, I never liked sugary cereals.
Oh, I'm missing out.
Yeah. Cheerios are good.
I like Captain
are good.
Crunch because
What is this?
it's the
What is
cinnamon
this
sugar
podcast?
that gets into the milk.
Yeah, and then you just
that-
have horchata milk.
Yeah, it's so good. I do love horchata. I've had horchata.
Oh,
a
I
lot
know.
lately.
I know. You're a fiend on that horchata.
Yeah, but I mean, my breakfast every morning is it's a
Alright.
piece of bread with meat and an egg on it.
You know,
We're
there's
almost
only
out of time.
There's
We
only
are?
about
Yeah, I
45
have one-
seconds.
Hold on,
I
skip
have one-
all the way
I
to
have
the
one
last
quick
question.
Oh, okay.
Really?
All the way to the last one.
All right. What's question from Fred the Free? What is Adam's finger spacing story? Do we need a Kickstarter to make it get told?
I can just
Sorry,
tell it
guys.
now and get it out of the
Go
way.
for
No,
it.
I think we're out of time.
Really?
Oh, that's too bad. All right, well, that's the end of the Fact Cast.
Ooh, I think we went a little bit over too. I'm looking at scene 106 here, so
actually,
we got to
so-
wrap this up right now.
You know, maybe,
Right now.
Maybe. Well, now that we can. Now we can talk about it a little bit. We were talking about trying to get a little competition going with Achievement Hunter because they're doing all their stretch goals.
Oh, right.
Maybe one of them is we tell the finger spacing story.
So if we get 3 million subscribers, we'll tell the finger spaces.
Maybe.
Oh. Is
We
that,
have
that's not
time.
good?
The
We'll
best
have a-
part is it's not that great.
27-hour live stream, the entirety of which is filled with a finger spacing story.
Yeah, I think the idea is we're gonna keep trying to one up Achievement Hunter with one thing. So they're like, it's like, oh, we'll get 2 tattoos of Gavin's nose
But
on
it'll
our
be
body.
on Joel's nose.
Yeah, of course. Better nose.
Our bodies aren't big enough.
Well, shoot. Sorry, we didn't get through every question.
Yeah, I thought you guys were going to race through those questions a lot faster than you did.
Sorry.
Sorry.
We elaborated.
Hey, they don't know.
Well, we ended up talking about comic books for like 6 hours.
As far as they know, we read every question.
Sorry
so
about that.
Thank you for all your questions, and thank us for addressing each and every one of them.
Yeah.
Making good progress on
I like
Lego
that you
Jurassic
think
Park.
yourself. Lawrence,
That's
thank
true.
yourself.
Yeah, we got some good work in on Jurassic
Once
World.
we figured out where to go to make the levels be levels.
Dead octopus there.
Thank you everyone for watching live and watching the cut down later, and
Thank
then
you.
listening to us if we could ever get the download version going.
Stealth.
We will.
Is it coming? Is it coming
Yeah,
soon? We're getting
submitted
close?
to iTunes, waiting for them to approve
Okay.
it. Almost there.
Yeah.
Apple takes a long time.
Sorry about that.
Boy,
guys.
do they ever. Also,
Yeah.
they'll reject your feed and not tell you why. So
Yeah.
thanks.
We're
Thanks for
gonna
that.
get up on Stitcher, SoundCloud, other stuff.
Yes, everything. It'll probably be up on our Funhaus account on SoundCloud, but it'll be a separate feed on iTunes and Stitcher
Yep.
and all the other podcast apps. So
Very cool.
Soon.
And then I think the new Rooster Teeth site. I don't know when it's coming, but
check with your
it's
local
looking
grocer.
good. Anyway, we're done.
Goodbye,
you.
everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for watching.
You guys are the heroes.
I don't think that everyone realizes that. I don't
Yeah,
think
you're
that.
sure,
I don't
sure.
think that like executives realize
Correct,
that. I don't
yeah.
think like
Oh, I
that's
see.
the reason games media gets invited to huge, expensive, and lavish parties and all kinds of things that they shouldn't even be because they have no reach and they have no influence. Like because the marketing people don't know.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, games media, okay, let's give IGN this thing, and then it gets 40,000 views. Or
Yeah.
that's not a shot at IGN. It's just like in general,
Any
like
gaming media outlet,
and it's
yeah.
like, well, why would
they're
you
even,
waste
like,
that? Like,
individual YouTubers, like we met. Oh, hey, welcome back to the FAQ podcast where we read all your questions. This week, Shenmue.
Yep, Shenmue and crowdfunding related questions.
Oh, good. I was
crowd-related Shenmue.
hoping for something related. Our Shenmue video went up today.
Everyone loves it.
We upset 14 people.
Everyone
really loud,
loved
though.
it.
Yeah, they are loud. I think we were charged with trying to destroy the Kickstarter.
Yeah, we were attacking
Kickstarter
them.
that had already accomplished its goal.
We were trying to
surpassed it.
demoralize the army, apparently.
Also, you know what people do all the time? Put money into a Kickstarter and then take it out.
Really?
all
Yeah,
the time.
that does happen
It's like a
pretty
thing.
It's kind of a dick move.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Let's go to your questions. First up, we got Frine Dobby. What is your favorite Shenmue minigame, and how will it? Oh God.
Yep.
And how will it help Greece?
Yeah, there's some meme questions in here, but that's okay.
That's fine. I only played the one, which was the QuickTime event thing, and then the next minigame I played, the thing crashed.
Yeah.
So, but
Emulators.
James, you actually beat it. Both of you guys beat it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I
You
think
won and two,
eventually I did.
motherfucker.
I didn't beat 2.
What were your favorite minigames?
Going into the park
Yes.
and practicing.
Swatting at the air.
The amazing thing about Shenmue is that you go into scenarios.
Why are the levels so
and
hard to
then the
find?
game is training for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So kind of like how you went into the arcade and you were playing an arcade game.
Right.
That was training you for the arcade game or like for the mini game of the game.
I get it. It's doing what a video game does.
Yes.
It makes you do things that you'll eventually do later. Do you eventually do those things later?
Eventually, yes.
Okay.
Eventually, you do. Yes.
We'll get there eventually.
I think that my favorite part of Shenmue in general was just going to the arcade and treating it like an emulator for like 2
Yeah.
games.
That
Space
was pretty
Harrier and
cool.
Hang On, right?
So this is total like Stockholm syndrome, and I know that. But my favorite minigame in Shenmue was like the jobs you had to do every day. So in
drive,
Shenmue
like, a
1,
forklift
yeah,
or
in Shenmue 1 you drove a forklift, and they had a race for it every day. And every fucking day you did the exact same race. So it got to the point where I like had the entire race memorized, down to the point where I knew exactly like the shortest lines to take, the ways I could like turn into an enemy forklift to squeeze them back. so I
Doesn't
would get
sound like
first
a
every
good
day.
way to operate
It's
a
not
dock.
a good way. It's not a good way. In the second game, you like have to carry books out of a Shaolin temple and like have them air out, and you can run full tilt, but it'll make you pop up a QT to not trip and throw the books everywhere.
Okay.
So essentially, I would memorize the timing, just running full tilt, and what I would have to push so I could do it with my eyes closed, basically. So I'm not saying that was fun, but
It's fun. I'm not
was
gonna.
Shenmue.
I'm not gonna
Didn't-
tell. I'm not gonna tell other people what is and what isn't fun. But
But
should
listen
go,
to me.
It should go both ways. I'm just saying. Don't tell me that. So far, what I've read, everyone's just saying, yeah, the nostalgia really did kick in a lot. Seeing these guys play this game for the first time,
yeah,
it's like
Well,
interesting.
there was.
it was
there-
so mind blowing back in the
I
day.
imagine we'll get to the people who genuinely like the game in
Yeah.
a minute. But there was a very well put out like response to our video, or not really a response to our video, but on the subreddit, a very well put out post of someone going, "It's more complicated than nostalgia. These are the things that Shenmue meant to
Yeah,
me."
totally.
And I was like, okay, yeah,
That's fine.
all that makes sense.
My father also was killed in a karate match.
Exactly, yeah, fair and square
I just
karate match.
Stood there and
The
I
problem
enjoy petting
is,
kittens and
the
drinking
problem is
soda.
if you can't see Shenmue now and think, ugh, like kind of like it's when you ever make a short film or a student project or something like that, and you think it's the best when you're doing it, but then eventually you go on to do better things with your life, and you look back at it and you're like, ugh,
Yeah.
boy.
On the flip side too, I've worked on stuff where I've worked on it for so long that I eventually started to like it. Because like I first did it, and I was like, ugh, and then I rewatch it over and over. I'm like, that's actually pretty good. It's like I think a lot of video games do that at some point where you're like, you just
maybe.
play it so much. Like it's not Stockholm syndrome, but it's something close
You
to
just
it.
you get so in the weeds that you can't see it for what it is anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Shenmue was bad, but that
I'm-
can happen to people.
I'm kind of the same way with Destiny right now, where it's like I am in a grind, but it's like I get some sort of pleasure out of it. It's weird, and I should stop playing it. I should play other games.
Can you
Sexy.
play as the raptor?
Well, we're going to SGC tomorrow. We're taping this on a Friday, so I'm gonna pick up Majora's Mask again and try to.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I just need something different.
I need to play that at some point. I've never beaten Majora's Mask.
Oh, I gotta hit that.
It is probably my favorite game next to Metal Gear Solid 3.
What are you gonna play it on?
3DS. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Next question. Do you want to read this one?
I can read it.
I like when
Are
you
you not
read.
playing?
Dude,
Or are
Two
you
of you
playing?
can read it.
Oh,
The
yeah.
second one, is it the
Yeah. Just realized we look like
TO214?
death.
TO214 ELA asks, will Joel ever write another musical again? No.
There we go.
No, he's been banned.
Joel's in Hungary right now.
Joel, well, it took Joel a while to write the first musical. We have Joel. Nope.
No,
nope,
no, no.
Just
That-
the
you-
one.
you had
just
it.
the one. It took Joel a while to write that musical.
Yeah.
That he did write.
It's the sort of thing. I guess it's when he's inspired. Right now, he's really focused on this D&D game
Yeah.
thing, which I love.
D&D musical? Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe eventually.
Kind of. We have some bigger, grandiose ideas for the D&D game. Talk about that more later. But he's so excited to DM that thing. So I'm sort of like, well, let him focus on that. What I like about this group is we're allowed to work on what we like, passion projects.
And go to the bathroom when we want.
Sometimes.
Whenever
not you.
we want.
Yeah.
Not me.
Sorry, Spoil, you were saying something.
that
I
what
cut
the-
you off.
No, that's it. Oh, I was gonna say, well, Joel sings a little bit when he's here in the office anyways. We just
Yeah.
made a musical anyway.
He's always got a tune on his lips.
He's always got a tune
Yeah.
flowing somewhere in his head.
We should just get a couple
Yep.
drinks of wine in him, and we'll just maybe
It doesn't take
improv
much,
one.
yeah.
And just set a piece
Yeah.
of paper and a pen in
Yeah,
front of him.
I was gonna say we could probably do a
That'd be-
live rendition and then maybe like hire someone to animate it or something.
Yeah.
I think the live action idea of it was maybe a little too big.
One of my favorite Joel memories is we were on a trip and we were coming back from San Francisco in a car. Joel and I were driving together, and we had Pandora. We were using his Pandora, but it was a 2-day trip because we decided to split it, and Joel on the first part was like, play whatever you want to, just so long as tomorrow we get to listen to my musical Pandora
Deal with the
station.
devil.
And I was like, all right, I can deal with that. But then a new song would
you
come on,
couldn't deal
and then
with
he
it.
would tell me what it was from. And just like, oh, here comes this part, and this is the scene in this movie when this happens. I was like, oh, Joel.
Yeah.
So my little baby
Five
boy.
sisters?
Joel loves
How many?
musicals.
Yeah.
18 sisters. Yeah.
18 sisters, yeah. He was one of them.
Next question from Dr. Shoestring. Since for some reason people jumped out of their seats to support and kickstart this, what other games could you see Sony, maybe even other companies, kickstarting?
So that,
Anything.
I guess that's basically
Maybe
like.
Uncharted 5.
I'm
just kidding. No.
I mean, so there's some emergent criteria here, right? Like it has to be a game that a small number of people are very loudly asking for. It has to be a game that has no obvious commercial success.
Yeah.
Psychonauts 2 is the short answer.
People have, well, the interesting thing about the whole process is we understand that they're not trying to raise enough money to pay for a whole new Shenmue game,
No.
right?
Because $3 million or whatever it was.
Which
but yeah.
They were gauging
Which is-
awareness, and they were getting the money to basically front the production before Sony loses $70 million, much
Exactly.
like Sega did before them.
Exactly. But it's weird though too, because it's like, all right, well, if you guys want it, we could put out a survey. And ask people if they wanted Shenmue. But if it's a survey, they'll say sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone will say yes.
Vote with
But if
your
we
wallet.
ask them to pay, and only if you
basically
pay X amount of dollars
They're
will
putting their
we
money where their mouth is, basically.
will we actually make this game? It's a weird precedent that
You're sniffing my butt.
I know, yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Kickstarter is being used in so many different ways because it is still relatively young. So people are still trying to figure it out. Small indie developers are. Guys who leave Capcom after making Mega Man for 25 years leave with an idea that they want to do.
And then make Mega Man again.
Yeah, and then not indie studios, but Double Fine, where they're like, we can do this thing. So you're getting all sorts of walks of life, and now you're at the point where this is almost like when your mom joined Facebook, and now it's kind of like, well, Kickstarter's not really cool because now Sony's doing it, and
Yeah,
Sony
it's
has
weird.
billions, if not trillions, of dollars. So it's a little strange.
I think if it had been a couple years ago, like when they rebooted Twisted Metal,
Oh,
they
yeah.
probably would
There you go.
have done a Kickstarter thing if that was now.
Like another Crash
Yeah.
Bandicoot or something like
Crowdfunding
that.
didn't
or
really
like what's
exist.
that fighting game? Did that ever even come out? What was the Sony fighting game that they were working on the
Oh, the
PlayStation?
Oh yeah,
game?
Brothers.
Battle Royale.
That never came out,
It
right?
did. It
Or
totally did. Yeah.
It just died?
PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. It totally came out.
I have that. I got it free for PlayStation Plus. Oh no! I paid $20 for it.
Nice.
I got the free version. I played it on my PS Vita. It's okay.
It's
No Smash Brothers.
Boom.
yeah. It is definitely no Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a life bar. What the heck were they
But I'm
thinking?
kind of like, I guess I'm kind of
plays
twisting
weird.
the question and like, you could like what kind of failed games do you think they could save almost with
Huh.
Kickstarter and stuff too?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I hope that this isn't opening
PlayStation
the
Home.
doorway for
The Vita.
all kinds of stuff.
All of the Vita.
People are gonna just ask for everything. This is what they do.
Yeah.
They just ask for everything, regardless of whether or not they actually want it or need
Yeah.
it. So like we'll get like Milo Like, "Wait, you showed us that demo. We actually want to talk to that kid."
Yeah, he's like, oh, it was a lie.
I think what'll happen is you'll get,
It wasn't a lie.
once these games start coming out and people get burned by them or enjoy them, that'll kind of sway whether people keep going that direction, I think.
It's the same
but-
thing as early access. The idea is infinitely cooler than the final product.
Exactly.
And the
That's
problem
why you
is,
get their money when the idea is cool.
yeah, we as humans are so hopeful for better things, and then when you actually get it, you're always disappointed. I don't know.
At least in Shenmue 3's defense, there are 2 full games which you can play to determine whether or not it's worth it for you to get the other one.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not mad at Shenmue. I was just perplexed why everyone was losing their shit over it. But like the example that always made the most sense to me was what's the Mega Man creator's name? Inafune.
Inafune.
Like,
Keiji Inafune.
that makes sense. He wanted to do something. He's basically like, okay, I've worked at Capcom for years. You know what I make. You get it.
Yeah.
And then he showed this concept art of basically a character called not Mega Man, but it was totally Mega Man. And it's like, okay, I know how this game is gonna play. That makes sense to put my money down on something like that because there's like a track record. So Shenmue kind of fits in that world where it's like you know what you're getting. So yeah, I mean, if you want it,
Pay for it.
believe.
Sure.
Psychonauts 2.
Crucify this asks, do you
Nice.
think all the hype generated by the crowdfunding will help bring new customers in, or will Shenmue 3 only be purchased by people who played the old one, the previous installment?
That is a really interesting question.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I love that notion because Shenmue 3, unless it starts with a previously on Shenmue, which it probably will, but even still, like, I gotta hack.
What if it included the first and second one?
It should come with a DVD of our Let's Play.
Yeah.
And then people can get caught up on the story.
Well, like,
That is a good point, though. Like, yeah, this game is built on the idea of being I think it wasn't supposed to be a quadrilogy originally. Like a 4-part narrative is what they structured out. And so jumping in
works
at
out.
the Shenmue 3 is going to be maybe a little tough.
yeah.
I don't know. I think
I think there's a lot of gamers who either weren't alive or didn't play Shenmue, and then just seeing the reaction, I think, has made people curious. And I think there are people who will watch Let's Plays of it and look at trailers for it.
Yeah.
But Shenmue is it's not a game that demos easily. I think Let's Play culture is probably the best thing for Shenmue that could be, because if you have somebody that you like watching, like I could see Spool playing Shenmue and actually like people digging it off that, because it's kind of a slow burn and it requires like patience and comprehension and like reading.
Well, I mean, like, to be honest, the only reason we did the Let's Play, and I mean why we might actually even continue it, is because of the Kickstarter. I don't think we would have played Shenmue on our channel.
Oh, there's a million old chintzy RPGs from '99 that are on like Shenmue level that we could play, but yeah, that one's just it pierced
Blue
the
Stinger.
zeitgeist. Yeah, Blue Stinger,
I was gonna say Heavy Rain.
Cold Steel.
Oh, boy.
People always want
wait,
to play
no.
that. It's so slow.
Heavy Rain is so slow. It's very
Shenmue
boring.
is more of a game
Also
than Heavy
bad.
Rain.
Heavy Rain's also really bad.
Yeah, I will never compare necessarily that Shenmue to a game like Heavy Rain or Beyond Two
Shenmue
Souls.
actually has
Those are not
gameplay
games.
somewhere.
Yeah,
you do express your volition and free will in some way in that game.
those
as
are
opposed to-
visual novels.
Yeah,
but
they are basically. Yeah.
Which
you
one's
gotta
the one where
scream at
Ellen
it.
Page gets naked in the shower?
Beyond Two Souls.
That was only on David Cage's computer. But then someone
Yeah,
found
he's
it.
like we're gonna model the vagina.
Heavy Rain
Why?
does
There's no
have a-
nudity in it.
have a
We're
shower
modeling the
scene.
vagina.
Yeah.
I want it.
Next question from Britannica.
Nice.
101. Do you think that some limited editions, collector's editions, can justify the price and retail exclusivity?
What?
So wait, I'll take that one back. I guess we have to answer your question with another question. Is Shenmue a PS4 exclusive? Maybe. Probably not.
I didn't assume it was going to be.
I think Sony identified it. Like Sony is really like since the PlayStation 3, they've really been about like we need to be kind of like the cool one, you know? We want to be the cool guy in the on the block or whatever.
Yeah.
We want the gamers to like us, which
Yeah.
is fine. You know, I mean, it's
Well, also
I'm not
exclusives
criticizing
are-
them for it.
Exclusives are drying up.
But I think they may have just been like, we took a couple meetings with this guy. We can use him to basically like give us gamer clout. You know, we don't necessarily have to fork out the cash for it, but we can put him on stage at the biggest gaming event of the year, and we can basically ask for a little bit of clout.
It might have even been a thing with like Shuhei's a cool dude, and he's got a lot of friends, and maybe one of his friends is the guy who made Shenmue, and he was
yeah.
like, he had a lunch with him one day, and he was like, man, when are you gonna make Shenmue? He's like, I don't know, that thing doesn't make any money. And he goes, tell you what, I have some friends at Sony. Let's see if we can work a deal out. We'll try to gauge interest because I have my finger on the pulse of the internet, and I understand that Kickstarter is a thing, and we can try that. Let's just give it a whirl and see what happens. And it was probably like a very casual conversation like that, and it probably blew up more than they thought it would. And so now Sony's probably even thinking like, oh, we got something big here. This is pretty good. I don't know. I haven't actually looked at the Kickstarter in a while. I don't know if he's talking about there are limited or collector's editions of Shenmue 3.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'll be surprised if the game comes out.
Ooh.
Honestly.
Ooh.
Well, no, I mean,
But they got all the money they wanted.
This goes back to my frustration with Kickstarters in general. There is a thing online right now. I think I sent it to you. It's like a MagSafe connector for your phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a piece of metal you like shove in your phone, and and then it basically makes any cord like magnetically connect to your phone. It's already done. They already made it. They already showed how it works, and
yeah.
they said, we'll take money, and basically, however much money you make, that's how many we'll give out. When you go to Kickstarter with a game, and you're like, I am going to build the most immersive science-based dragon MMO ever made.
Science Dragon.
Also, I'm a girl. Money now. And then people go, yes, here you
Well
go. And you have
done.
nothing to show.
Well done.
I like girls.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
Shenmue's a little different because, yes, there are 2 games that existed before, but we've already said the budget was
60,
astronomical.
70 million.
To elaborate on that, as I understand it, they built a lot of the assets for all of the games they were hoping to make. I think they were like future-proofing it, kind of.
Sure, but
So
how
I think
long
there's
ago was that?
a long time, but I think they still have
1999.
access. I think they still have access to high-res assets and stuff that they can use. So like, it's kind of the same thing that we were talking about with PT. Where it's like, if you have the game engine,
Yeah.
if you have the groundwork laid, the skeleton is always the hardest part of these games,
Yeah.
and then it's filling it in. That's tough. So it's entirely possible that yes, it was $70 million, but some of that $70 million is going to go to turning over this new game, like years after the fact, because they have a hard drive with all kinds of assets and game information all over it that can basically explain how to make the game.
Here's
I
a
don't
weird
know.
question.
That's possible.
Though. Well, here's a weird question though. Doesn't Sega technically own that then? Because that was those were assets created at the time. I mean,
I'm sure that's been discussed.
Yeah.
I'm sure Sega probably sold off the Shenmue whatever,
right. I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's always kind of a
Make
curious
all the
thing.
money we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the fact that this is so shrouded in mystery is a really good case for not necessarily like making your bed with Sony or making your bed with Xbox or making your bed with Valve or any of these things. Like, this is a really good case for being a skeptical consumer who informs themselves and doesn't adhere to any specific alliance, because we don't know anything about
Yeah.
this deal where people are taking your money like ahead of time and saying like, yeah, sure, yeah, we'll give you a game.
Yeah, whatever.
That
What do you
leads
want?
us-
Fuck it. Yeah, we'll do that.
That leads us into the next question, kind of.
Oh my.
Chad1888 asks, how long after its release do you think it will take backers to realize that it's a terrible game and they were blinded by nostalgia?
Probably not very long for backers.
I think backers will never do
Yeah,
that because
they'll
there's
be
a bit of
happy.
confirmation bias there. Like, if you
know what
spend
they're
$1,000 on anything, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
You're gonna make yourself love it. I think there's going to be a very interesting discussion shortly after the game comes out between those that played the old games and are just so happy there's a new one that they love it no matter what, and those that maybe have legitimate criticisms of the game, or I don't know. It's possible it could come out and be like modern and awesome and a totally cool open world like murder mystery action game. That could happen.
I'm curious how many people backed the game that didn't play the old games just because of the hype around it and just because of the conference.
Maybe.
There must have been
There's
a
gotta
fair
be a
amount
few.
of that.
I
People
wonder
who
if
have
they'll-
Well, so
people
there
who
were-
are aware of Shenmue's legacy without ever actually having played it.
There were only around 60,000 backers, which is, if you just translate that right into unit sales, pretty terrible, pretty goddamn awful.
Unless everyone's willing to spend $500 for a copy
Well,
of Shenmue.
so that's an interesting point. If you divide it out, people spend an average of, I was looking this up before the podcast, people spend an average of about $95. So before a game was made, a group of people were willing to spend over retail for it.
Sure.
So that begs the question, you know, if this was traditionally retail and it came out with an MSRP of $120 because it had to be profitable, would people be willing to pay that?
Here's my question. I've actually, I have a question for the room.
Okay.
I've often wondered this. It doesn't really work.
That's not how the podcast works, Adam.
Well, it doesn't really work in today's ecosystem. But imagine a way in which we can do this, where a game like Psychonauts 2 or Half-Life 3 was created, but they only made a handful of copies. Like, you could only play it with the copy. I'm saying throw the world we live in out the door, but like the idea is like, here's Psychonauts 2, it can only be played on this console. Here you go. There are only 1,000 copies. How much would you pay for that copy of that game?
Well, what's the Nintendo World?
The
what's
Nintendo World Championships
Nintendo
card?
World Championships.
That wasn't ever
card.
meant to be retail. Like,
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it has created that.
I just imagine. I'm waiting for a company with the balls to kind of do this. I guess Elite Dangerous was kind of like this, right? Because the game's really isn't the game really expensive?
The beta was like $85
$60 now. I think.
for the beta, and yeah, it did scale down, and to a degree, Star Citizen is like that.
Yeah, it's like $15,000 just to play with
It's
the
crazy how
spaceship.
there's two
Hell.
like modes of sale there, because there's ones that start low for pre-orders. Like
Yeah.
early access games are usually cheaper than the retail, but then you get other games that are like that. They're like super special and like premium. Like people really are like fiending for them, and then they're like expensive, and then go down to a normal
What am I
price.
doing? Oh, I have to go build that.
Are you the
thing?
Raptor? No.
I don't know what's happening.
Punch the Raptor.
I'm stuck in the corner. Whoop.
Either way, you guys are gonna love the game. Next question from No Homo Bra.
Great.
Have you? It's BROA. Broa.
I don't know.
I don't know. Have you ever crowdfunded, and were you happy with what you invested your money, the final product?
I mean,
I backed the Tim Schafer game, and I never played it.
Nice.
I've backed both Double Fine, Massive Chalice, and Broken Age. But my justification for that was that I was paying for, which I've done a lot. I was paying for content already delivered. I was like, I love Psychonauts.
Oh.
I would pay for it again, except I've purchased it basically on every single platform I can.
Suck it.
So, doing that, I will happily give them more money. I was excited for Brutal Legend, but I didn't really. I thought Brutal Legend ended a little too soon. I thought it was kind of half a game and not fully fleshed out, and I wanted more of it. I was okay paying for it because my thought process was, I love Psychonauts so much that I would pay this much money for it. And that is including the cost of Brutal Legend, including however much I paid for all of the Broken Age. I think Costume Quest is a game I just bought because it looked fun. You rotate it.
I also
That's what that
donated
means.
money. I donated like $20 or something to Chimney Swift was doing he wanted to do a live action video, and then the Kickstarter failed and I got my money back.
Nice.
And I felt I felt really bad because I wanted him to make it. So I guess I talked to him at E3. I guess he's gonna try to do something similar, hopefully with a group of people.
My-
I have never
Nice.
crowdfunded anything through Kickstarter, like Indiegogo or anything like that. Although I've bought a lot of early access games. I don't know if that counts. Where I bought Minecraft when it was like an alpha,
Yeah.
I did that too.
which isn't, I guess technically, I don't know if that's technically crowdfunding
It's
at all, because they're making the
pre-Kickstarter.
game. It's just an early access thing. And
I backed Hanson versus Predator.
Hanson versus
You've kickstarted quite a few like indie games and stuff, though, haven't you?
No,
What was the one that you bought?
I kind of
just
don't-
because the name. Or
Oh,
kickstarted?
Techno Babylon. I didn't kickstart that. It was done and I bought it.
Oh, okay,
I don't really crowdfund as a kind of a philosophical statement, except when it comes to my boy Chris Hansen smacking it down on some pedos out there. He's doing God's work, and I got to put my weight behind that.
Well, that is also, again, that's content already delivered,
yeah.
right? It's not.
Yeah,
It was Chris
that's true.
Hansen doing a new idea that you had never heard of before.
Yeah.
Or you were basically crowdfunding for more of what you already know he's done.
That's true. Yes.
What
Giving
was
it my
the
blessing,
number on that
my
one?
lord.
So they're bringing back To Catch a Predator.
It was very low. Like
it was
the-
like $25. It was weird.
No, we
Yeah,
just need to pay for the delivery guy
like to
who's
rent-
going to deliver the pizza that the little girl's going to say that she
Yeah.
has.
I mean,
Rent the house that they're in.
the baseline cutoff was like 80 grand.
It's
And
weird.
Wow.
It
I-
can't be that it can't be that expensive, right? You just I will give you $500 to pretend to be a 14-year-old girl
Yeah.
online. And then we'll just like rent out some dude's house
I know.
and then film people walk up and then tackle them. That's
I
it.
just know that like certain news hosts get like almost like double digit like $10 million
Maybe he does
a
it pro
year.
bono.
But
He's doing the Lord's work, Adam.
Well, I'm just saying And
He doesn't accept a dime.
James can back me up on this, but like television production ain't cheap.
Oh yeah.
So is this thing only airing online?
I think it's internet.
Is it on his Vimeo channel?
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
direct to
Daily
blip.
Motion.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's neat.
Why? Are you,
Why?
Oh, that's the credits.
We beat it.
Oh.
Well,
That's the end of the first
breaking
movie.
we got 3 more movies. to
We
go.
did it. No, I think it's just the 2.
Eric DeWitt asked,
Yeah, Eric.
when was the first time you played Shenmue, and did any of you contribute to the Kickstarter?
I played it on Dreamcast in 1999, like a dork. And no, I did not contribute to the Kickstarter.
I didn't contribute to the Kickstarter. I did pre-order. I did have that game pre-ordered.
Nice.
So I would have had it. I would have played it day one.
I didn't own a Dreamcast, but a friend of mine down the street did, and I remember he would get the demo disc. They'd come
Yeah,
in, with, like,
Dreamcast magazine.
yeah, like Dreamcast.
One had Sega Swirl on it.
Yeah, Dreamcast Weekly or whatever it was.
Journalism.
I remember actually reading a couple of those magazines, and I remember there was so much denial in there. How they're talking about how
Yeah.
bad the PlayStation is, and they're like,
PlayStation sucks.
it was.
Check out these
every-
polygons, dude.
It felt like towards the end, especially, they were like, "Look how good 1999 or like I think like 2001 is gonna be," and I was like, "Ugh."
Whoa.
And they're like, "Xbox,
bankruptcy.
Halo, what is this garbage?"
You mean like the PlayStation 2? Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Like PlayStation 2 is bullshit. Sonic Adventure.
Listen, don't get me wrong. I loved my Dreamcast. I loved the whole ambiance of it.
Yeah.
It had a fantastic feeling about it, but really, like there weren't a whole lot of really great games.
No,
for
no,
it.
there absolutely weren't.
Like maybe
there were a lot
10?
of good games that made you think that they were awesome
Yes.
games. I think that's, if anything, the Dreamcast legacy is somehow managing to market and sell these games that looked like they were going to be the next greatest game you ever played,
Mm-hmm.
only to have them be some of the like most anticlimactic, boring shit.
It was the death of arcade ports.
I don't
really.
think I've ever played a Dreamcast.
Really.
Yeah, maybe.
It
you
is
feel that
a,
controller in your hands.
Because I remember when it came out when I was young,
dinner plate.
it was like the biggest like kind of letdown. Like people when they initially reviewed it were like, oh, it's not that cool. Like kind of like what James was saying, where the idea and like all the games that were like promised weren't. As
Memory
cool.
card has a
Sonic
screen
Adventure
on
was
it.
awesome.
I was like, I can't.
Sonic Adventure was awesome.
My friend had it, and remember he popped in one of the discs, and he was like, "Huh, Shenmue, what's this?" And we watched this like preview video, and the trailer you probably find it online at this point, but like it's something like something you've never experienced. And they were just kind of showing like QuickTime events, but this was pre-QuickTime
Yeah.
events, so you're kind of like
It's pre God of War.
We kind of looked at each other like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck was that?" That
That's
looks
where the
kinda
name
cool.
came from. That's what they called it.
Yeah. Then I immediately forgot about it because I got a PlayStation 2 and a PC.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Technically, they weren't lying.
Got the bouncer
It
and
was something you had
Fantavision.
never experienced.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't get a PlayStation 2 until I want to say Devil May Cry 2 was a thing. So,
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Post GTA 3, the PlayStation 2 was kind of a wasteland. Not a lot of people remember that.
No, but it played DVDs. The first thing I bought
That's
was
right.
Gladiator.
The Matrix on DVD.
Yeah. Oh man, I could finally watch it.
You can just skip
Yes, it
right to
was
the
meant to
lobby
be
shootout.
watched.
Next question from Elise.
This is living.
Elise. I can't say it.
Ulysses.
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 But it's not spelled right.
Why does people want Shenmue so bad?
I love that one.
Why does people want Shenmue so bad? Think.
Well, you see,
Thank. He's
well,
thanking us.
So
Thank you.
You see, people they Shenmue bad, but Shenmue good.
So want.
Me have Shenmue with me. So me make 2B Shenmue. Thank for Shenmue.
You too. Thank you.
Shenmue is meaning much to Shenmue. Shenmue, thank you. So Shenmue, thank you. Shenmue, Shenmue.
Shenmue good.
Shenmue, good.
Dreamcast really good.
Yeah.
Call of Duty bad.
Ooh,
There you go.
can't
There's
do
your
that.
answer.
wasn't expecting that.
Next
Also,
one.
All right.
little twist of the knife.
Vicky Bloodshot wants to know at what
good
stage
name.
should a project be at, especially in the case of video games, before you think crowdfunding is the right path to turn to.
Playable demo.
I.e., when only a basic concept is there, early dev stages, etc.
I think if you have a friend who can draw, have them give 4 pieces of concept art, and make it just be whatever. It's like Battlefield 4.
That's all it takes?
Meets space battle,
Battlefield
ground to
3.
air space battles with colonization and there's crowdfunding
Tag
simulator
outbursts.
inside the game. Then I think that's how you get the that's when you know that you can start
Well,
one.
I've ruined the world because I came up with the Skyrim with guns thing.
Oh dear.
And now people just do that as a marketing thing. They're like,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, it's just Fallout with swords. I'm like, cool, go fuck yourself. But like, yeah, that's what people are doing now. Actually, it's funny. I ran into the marketing guy during E3, And he was like, dude, thank you again for that quote.
You punched him in the nose.
Yeah, and I was kind of like,
That's great.
well, I'm glad the game did well and you got a sequel. So
Get a haircut?
Yeah, I gotta go get a haircut.
I take
Lawrence gotta get a
all the
haircut.
credit for that.
I'm gonna go look good for you guys at SGC.
Look pretty.
All right.
See you on the other side.
Is that before or after they've already made a game that you love, James?
What?
That stage that then they can turn.
I think Lauren said it best. Playable demo.
Yeah, I
Something.
mean, well, we already. Our opinion is kind of to maybe just don't crowdfund
Turn to
things
an
in
Evan.
general, unless you have a really good justification for giving this stranger
get
your
this
money.
Yeah, I think if you've got a playable demo, like you're an alpha or whatever, and people can play it, it's kind of like early access, basically. Like
The
then-
weird thing about that though is that it goes back to the whole like building the engine is sometimes the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like building the playable demo is probably where a lot of that Kickstarter money is gonna go.
I feel like
That's why if they already have it, then you're like, yeah, they're halfway there.
the tier has become funded, in development, and now there's early access, and now there's Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And then there's like just really bad ideas below all that, and it's like I feel like that's the structure now.
Because my thing has always been like with Kickstarter, and why a lot of times I don't back them is because I feel like if it was a good enough idea, they would have been able to go to a studio or something like that and pitch it to them and succeed in that pitch. But I mean, that's not always the case, especially if they're like an unknown person.
I was gonna say, who do you take Minecraft to? Who goes, yeah, that's a good idea? They'd probably be like, no, this is weird. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But it's like you couldn't have predicted the success of that.
THQ? I know, I don't know.
Oh man, they could have saved the company.
Part of Minecraft's success was its release schedule. Though. Like they did it
Yeah.
correctly in the sense they released an alpha, and there was in beta for a year and a half.
And they
like,
update it like every other week.
Yeah,
It was-
they kind of knew what they were doing in the rollout.
It was early access.
Yeah.
100%. Cool. All right, next question. This is from Master OFD.
Master of D.
Master of D.
Master of
13.
Dick is what he's getting at.
Oh, you're the Master of the Dick.
Yeah.
Do you think that Shenmue will reach its Kickstarter goal, and will you buy it?
Did
It
he,
did.
he asked this question an hour ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was way past it.
Yeah, I think
know-
it's over.
No.
And it blew it away.
Good on you, Master of D, for not following Shenmue news.
I'm just more impressed that he was able
yeah,
to.
you. Good job.
But the other
yes.
part of his question is, will you buy it?
Yeah, I'll bet.
So like when it actually comes out.
I think that I think that it will meet its Kickstarter goal, and I think it might
prediction.
exceed it.
Yeah.
Good prediction. Are you gonna buy it, James?
No.
Yeah.
you
neither
played
am I.
two? I know you played
on
one.
PS4.
No, I didn't
right?
play two.
I was gonna say by the time it comes out, 15 years from now, we will have finished our Shenmue 1 and 2 playthrough.
We'll also be dead. Well, two of us will be.
Yeah.
I'm curious what the hype will be like when it finally comes out. Do you think, like, I don't feel like it'll be there.
I don't know.
The launch parties are gonna be insane.
I mean, Lauren's accurate. We should look it up so that way we're not talking horribly incorrect. But like,
Uh-oh, I'm stuck.
if what Lauren said about there
Already?
being like only 60,000 backers is true, that does not necessarily instill a lot of confidence in its ability to sell a ton of copies. You know, that's not that much.
Those targets.
They're gonna sell a lot more copies
Yeah.
than 60,000.
Absolutely stuck.
yeah, I guess it's not really. Did you already break the kids game?
I don't know how I mean, like, I've seen this happen before in Lego, but like, come on.
Later,
Free 'em.
bitch.
Jeez. Hopefully,
Alright.
can you get past with this?
Spoil God.
Border Ranger asks, are there any sequels that you do think warrant being crowdfunded apart from Psychonauts 2, James?
Well, if you're not gonna ask my opinion,
Any other sequels to games?
Sequels. I can't think of anything.
I don't know. I mean, we're living the world of video games, man. We can do anything we want
Ocarina
to.
of Time 2.
It is strange. I hate doing the endless comparisons to the film industry and the game industry because they are totally different. But it is funny how every time a sequel comes out, people roll their eyes and they do really well. But on the same time, like I feel like there's a lot more enthusiasm for sequels for video games. It's strange. Like when a sequel comes out, it's like, yes, thank you.
It's less
unless
critical.
unless it's Call of Duty, but that does well every year. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a strange thing. I don't know.
I like that
Free
Bruce is stuck over there, and the only character we have left is bald guy with a sniper rifle, who is, by the way, my favorite Jurassic Park character.
Can you switch characters?
I'm the only other character.
Can you just restart?
Well, he doesn't really. He might not need to. Hold on, let me see if I can shoot you.
Maybe you can just get past it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Sequels? I don't know. I at the same time, I kind of want to see less sequels. I like what? I like original ideas.
Original IP, yeah.
Yeah. That's always the riskier thing to do.
Skyrim 2?
Yeah,
That's
Skyrim
not
too.
original IP.
Sky Harder.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm just
Even-
trying to think of sequels.
Sky Hard with a
Well,
vengeance.
they're gonna make. Well, it's not gonna be called Skyrim, but they are gonna make another
Elder Scrolls.
Oh, yeah.
Scrolls. Yeah, for sure.
Elder
not
Scrolls
a,
Online.
Yeah, they tried. Next, Fambini. Do you guys feel that with the do you guys feel that with the world getting more involved with crowdfunding, do you feel like there will be a decrease in truly unique, crazy ideas because no one will want to fund them? Wow, you read my mind.
Literally.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I say this once a week. I love this game industry. I love the games industry because it's always evolving, always changing, and all sorts of different ideas can be made. And different you can be the one guy making a game, about Braid or whatever, or you could be a giant studio. And there's a lot of pieces in the middle, so it's like, and you never know what's going to be the next success.
Well, it's going to be the same thing that, again, I know the comparisons are there, but they're different industries, movies and television, where the bigger studios are going to bank on the franchises that already exist, and the smaller studios are going to be the ones that take chances. And that's how the smaller studios become the bigger studios.
Yeah.
Because they invent an IP that wasn't around before, and it becomes this huge success, and then they become a large studio and make sequels to those games. So it's very, very similar to movies and television.
I agree.
I wish I could get out of this box.
You wish.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I
Just
mean,
kill him, man. Now you're stuck.
If
Now
you
I'm
take a
stuck.
look,
Are you shitting me?
This is amazing.
to build on that, if you take a look at like Steam's Greenlight project or like Steam's Greenlight stuff, there's a lot of crappy games that come out of there, but there's tons of them. There's tons and tons of things there's always new kids getting into like game development stuff that are always trying to make new projects, and they're making new groups and new studios and stuff. And there's always going to be new, crazy, unique games. They might not all get picked up, but they're going to get made.
I mean, for us especially, I prefer having way more than less, especially because we get pleasure out of playing shitty games. So,
Pleasure?
yeah. I mean,
Like butt pleasure.
yeah. Well, I mean, like maybe during the gameplay, not so much, but we create entertainment out of crap, which makes me very, very happy.
Well, there's never going to be a shortage of bad games either.
Or just bad ideas in general.
like as time goes on, there's just more and more games, which means there will always be bad games.
That's what makes me excited. I never want to get to a point where there's only 3 game companies making everything. That'd be misery, because you have to rely on all this. I like the idea that people can empower themselves to like download the Unreal Engine for free and just make something, and it can be a success or it can be like hilariously bad.
Yep.
What was that one game we played? The like
Ramicide.
Time Ramicide, where the guy clearly he did what everyone does when they first buy like any sort of development kit or like an editing software or something. They just use the templates.
It's showing you the order, and then you need to select it in that order. So go bottom left, and then hit X.
Well,
It's like Simon says, right?
there we go.
No, that was bottom right.
Oh.
They're like, only Ian Malcolm can solve this
right,
equation.
Go ahead, Swole.
Black Nerd asks, do you think publishers, companies will keep using crowdfunding to test whether the market wants to buy certain games? What kind of influence do you think this would have on the industry as a whole?
Do we, if they
Do you
are...
think publishers will keep using crowdfunding to test whether the market wants to buy
I think Sony just pocketed... Well, we don't know if Sony pocketed. Someone just pocketed a ton, like a, what,
$6 million,
Well, this
$5.5 million.
$5 million.
The studio that made Shenmue, right, took some of that money, I would assume, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, not just Sony.
It's just like, I'm just saying, like, this was their test. This was the equivalent of them like taking a movie. Imagine if you could take a movie and have on a Wednesday an audience watch the movie, fill out a survey, and tell you whether or not they like the ending for that
They also
movie.
have to pay to go watch
Except
it.
they bought a ticket.
Yeah. yeah.
Like that's
Double dipping.
That's
Yeah.
that's a lot of extra money.
Yeah.
And as Lawrence always likes to remind us, they're perpetually trying to figure out a way to recoup that revenue.
Because development costs and like just pre-production on like in a movie's case, or like development costs on the game river is expensive, and they don't get that money back for years down the line. So if they can like James is saying, like buffer that cost or that expense, they're all for that.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. It feels weird because Kickstarter for so long has been synonymous with the small indie guy and like helping the small ideas get big. And when a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate's like, we're going to use this neat little idea, and it's like, fucker, you could make this game 10 times over, and you wouldn't be hurting at all. But at the same time, it's a smart business move because, you don't have to spend anything, and you can gauge interest. Like James was saying, like people are actively giving you money to tell you that they want a thing that does not exist.
That's the thing, is the demand is there enough that people are paying for it. If no one paid for it, they wouldn't do it. So
My fear is this is really the first big one, but like someone just taking major advantage. Like imagine if Square said, we're gonna do Final Fantasy VII, the remake, but you have to buy the game first, and we have to sell at least X amount to pay for the development, and then the game goes through development hell for 7 years. Like that's taking advantage of someone's trust.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
I think we're gonna get into a situation like that.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
we should totally expect to see that because like.
With
We don't know, like even smaller games like Broken Age and the games that I've backed and stuff, like they took years.
Yeah.
Like Massive Chalice just came out. It's like several years since I put any sort of money down to say yes, I will buy that game. Like that's a really long time.
Like kind of.
And these are small studios that like are doing it because they're like, hey, we actually need this to supplement the cost of our production, as opposed to bigger studios that are like, hey, give us some money so we can decide whether or not we even want to start making this game.
I wonder if they'll start using it to kind of like almost tempt people to be like, hey, if you give us more money, it'll speed up the game development process. So instead of getting it in 5 years, you'll get it in 2.
Yeah,
not-
but it's just not
that's
really
like
how it
that's
works,
Shut up.
though.
That's like not too far away.
No, I don't like that because then it reinforces the idea that if you just throw money at stuff, it'll get it done.
Yeah.
And
Well, not
it-
better, but it'll be done.
I don't like that because
No.
it means you're rushing
Scary.
things.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, James was saying, game takes years to make. Yes, games take years to make. Movies take years to make. Though it feels like they're coming out faster and faster every year.
Like Assassin's Creed
I feel
or
like
those like
it was like 3 weeks ago they announced that Human Torch is gonna be black, and now the movie's coming out. I was like, that's cool.
no, that's been out for a while.
No, I know. I'm just saying. It's really like,
That's been out for like a year.
I just remember people getting mad at that and laughing.
It can't, but he's supposed to be her brother.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Well, and then it's also like you're getting mad about the Fantastic Four. Really?
I also don't. I'm like, wait, are you racist, or do you think that adopted families are not real families? Which side are you on?
Which horrible human being do
They
you
probably
fall?
have an adopted sibling. They always told them, reminded them that they were adopted. You're
Oh.
adopted.
Wow, what an asshole. I'm not going to that guy's house. What are we at? Diablo?
Yeah.
Yeah, Diablo Dugal. Regardless of total cash made at this point, Shenmue only has 65,274 backers. By video game sales standards, this is pretty piss poor.
That's a good point.
Do you think more people will be inclined to buy the game with a physical release if it happens, or do you, like me, think Shenmue ain't gonna sell shit later as everyone who wants it has backed it?
Oh, go ahead.
I should say, for the record, I don't think anyone of us here wants Shenmue to fail.
No.
You know, there are much
care
worse
if that's
games
good or
that could be exploiting is a negative connotation, but whatever the neutral connotation of exploitation, the word you're gonna get stuck again. Whatever the neutral connotation word that you can use for exploitation, but there are worse games that could be
Slave.
using this process, right? So I don't want Shenmue to fail, but man, yeah, there is. I don't know that this is not gonna knock anyone's socks off.
I want them to succeed just for the people that work on it to get paid and
Sure.
like have a
Yeah.
decent living. If they fail, then their life's gonna suck.
I think that's
pretty bad.
already. I mean, like honestly, I think they're already going to get paid, like for this game at least.
Yeah.
So like we've gotten those people a job for another year, right?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah,
I mean,
and if it's something they want to make, this is art they want to create, and they're getting paid for it. Like, yeah, more power.
He's
to
got
them.
a story he wants to finish. You know?
Yeah, let them do it. Like, I
Like,
think that's cool. But I'm
that-
never gonna wish like failure upon
Yeah,
anyone.
anyone.
Like,
Yeah.
like I say, the people get upset about Transformers doing well. They're like, man, just stop making money already. Go out of business. Like, Transformers at this point, you don't have to watch it. By the way, no one's sitting you down and forcing you to do it.
yes, they are.
No,
It
they're
was
not.
on the plane and
Yeah.
I had to watch it.
And they're like, you're ruining my childhood with these movies. Well, the cartoon was never good, and the toys are kind of crap. But
Yeah.
that's fine. That's,
Protect that toy franchise.
yeah, exactly.
Beast Wars. They need to make
The
Beast Wars.
cartoon was a commercial to sell you toys. Like, sure, your childhood's ruined, whatever. But these are movies that make billions of dollars a year, and they employ people year round. And so it's like people talk shit about Michael Bay, but I'm like, the dude is like, there are families that are being fed because of this guy.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
also lots of cocaine is being bought.
Yeah.
Well, that's him.
Yeah, they're
That's
keeping
his
drug dealer
Keeping the
families.
drug dealer families, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, imagine some kid's going to college right now because his dad is a visual effects supervisor or something.
Yeah.
Or just, I don't know, he's a grip and he got paid his.
There's
you know,
hundreds of people that work on those movies. So.
Yeah, almost like thousands at this point. And it's like, it's become its own economy. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. And Bruce and I watched the one and we were exhausted by the end. And it was like, there was a lot of work put into this.
Yeah, really.
And it's making money and it's giving people jobs. I can't imagine anyone who wants to sit there and go like, we need less jobs in this world. And it's like, no, like Could you imagine someone actively, no matter what you do, like they're sitting there going like, man, I hope you don't have a job tomorrow. Like, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, there probably are.
The other,
those
the other
people.
part, his main question was asking if do you think a lot more people than the 65,000 backers will buy it when there's a physical release that you can get?
Define a lot.
There is a huge barrier to entry for Shenmue 3, as I can see it. Like right now, it is what? You have to have played Shenmue 1 and 2 because the game is heavily narrative based, right?
Yeah.
And so
I think they should include it, like have like a
yeah, but even that requires, even if you do that, it still requires going
play.
back and playing
I don't know.
it.
That
Like,
might scare people
They'll just
away.
link to the wiki page,
Yeah.
Shenmue Dojo.
I kind of agree with this guy though. I think it's only going to sell. I mean, it's sort
Like
of like
maybe
it's
100,000.
the Star Citizen syndrome, where all these people that really want Star Citizen are paying hundreds of dollars for it, which is fine. This is a new business
Gus.
model, like Gus, right? Exactly. And I mean, honestly, and so then it doesn't have to be a $60 game for everybody. Shenmue could be at $100 for the people that really want Shenmue, you know, like, and then they make it.
Lawrence was saying on average it's $95. So
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
It blows
but
my mind.
If you want it, make it.
Yeah.
you got to finish that story.
I guess.
I just don't know that it's going to like transcend things and be this like super
No, it won't.
accessible. Yeah.
No, the answer is it won't. But I mean, but again, it's like we're lucky enough now to have this weird ecosystem where we can build these sorts of things for certain tiny little groups of people. That's what
Yeah.
YouTube is.
It's like
Each channel is a tiny little group of people that love, you know, iJustine, or people that love whoever else.
The key-
PewDiePie,
the
even
key-
though he's not a very small group.
The key for the developers, or like the guys creating the game, is to keep that in mind and scale it down to how much money you think you'll actually make off of it. Not try and make a huge game that would be worth 60 million, I guess.
Well, that's what Kickstarter's for.
Yeah.
Then you get to gauge the interest and be
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, we can make this game
That's
because
the
this
key.
many people want it.
Where I've seen quite a few like failed Kickstarters, I guess, where like we didn't realize how much work was going to actually go into this, and like, oh, sorry, we spent all your money on like just living basically.
I
and
was
didn't make anything.
I was reading about a lot of Kickstarters that have failed after the fact because they made perks. They made the perks
Like
so
custom.
absurd that integrating those perks into the reward system
Yeah.
was they completely underestimated the cost of those perks and
because they'd have a lot of physical ones, right? Like T-shirts and stuff that you have to ship out, and the
Yeah.
shipping cost. The perk would be like a $20 thing for a T-shirt, but the T-shirt would cost $10 and cost $5 to ship, so they'd
Yeah.
basically like end up like losing money and stuff
That's
like
crazy.
that. And like,
Well, I think the danger with the Kickstarter is I've heard a lot of like artists complain about the fact that they don't have enough money to do what they want to do. And again, that's why I like the Kickstarter ecosystem, because they can gauge the interest, and then you sort of, as an artist, have to be realistic and be like, okay, only this amount of people want this, which means I have to scale back my vision for this time.
you can't do the full thing.
Yeah, you know, next time I'll be able to make it bigger, but
I kind of prefer Patreon in that sense.
Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
I will give you, I will pay your bills if you just keep making that thing that I want. And I think that works really well with certain
Compies.
YouTubers and video creators and stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, you make stuff that I like. Oni, NG, or Stamper. Like if those guys weren't doing well on their own, and they were like, I make one video a month, or I can make a video a week.
Yeah.
But I just don't have enough money to do it. I'd give them money if it was like, yes, I'll give you monthly money to make stuff, even if it was only getting like 10,000 views. Like I don't care. It's like you're making content specifically for me because I enjoy your stuff. So I'm okay with that sort of thing.
yeah.
All right, next question. Fries Over Chips asked, if you were to make the upcoming Shenmue, how would you do it? Also, yourselves must be added to the story and the game. Question mark?
It's a first-person shooter.
yeah, I don't know how you make Shenmue.
Did anyone here play 2?
Here's okay. So
even
here's
know
what I
the
would
story.
do. I would start over. I would reboot it, kind of like DMC Devil May Cry, and I would burn through the first and the second story,
Yeah.
and then that would be like the first act. I would burn through that, and then I would follow it up with the game, the rest of the game. Because then I'd reuse the old assets, and then it would be a way to catch up on the story. So if you hadn't played the first two, you can do it. I would use it as an opportunity to make the game I wanted to make in 1999, but
Yeah.
couldn't.
Like
That's-
George Lucas in Star Wars.
And I'm not saying that's the most successful route that they could go with it, but that's what I would try.
I think like the Phantom Pain / Ground Zeroes idea is pretty good, where it's like add all this extra stuff that you don't have to do, but it's there. Because I like the idea of the living, breathing world. That's it. That was obviously way ahead of its time, but it seemed like there were so many just little broken things in there. Like imagine it's like a game that you could burn through in 30 minutes, but there's so much to do that it rewards you for going back and doing optional stuff. That's what I would do.
What do you want me to go down?
But I don't make
No, no.
games. So.
Come and build that, whatever
Oh.
it is. Hold B.
Just throws the pieces.
Well, you got to be more towards
Go
the
Jeff
center. I think.
Goldblum.
Yeah, there you go.
Either way, we don't make games, so
We'll
we'll never make a video game.
I would like to be a
I just
child.
think at this point you have to think, how can I make this accessible? You know, how can I get new people to play this game?
Right.
Yeah.
Call it Halo. That's a good idea.
Yeah, Halo 6.
Accessible, not even more out of date, Adam.
Sorry, I'm the only one who cares.
Halo burn.
Look, Halo 5's coming out this year.
Yeah.
Metal Gear's coming out this year.
Oh.
Star Wars, the film's coming out this year. Fallout's coming out this year.
And the
It's a
game.
good fucking
Actually,
year.
I would say Metal Gear Solid is a pretty great example, like
Of what?
of adding to a franchise. Like while it is a sequel, it is still kind of. It seems like
Standalone.
it's the game that Kojima would have made if he could have made back then.
Yeah.
So maybe that's.
I still have the crazy theory that Phantom Pain, you will beat it, and then it becomes the original Metal Gear. And I think it's going to be this.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite things about the Prince of Persia series. Anyone finish those?
No, I haven't
I mean,
finished.
I played
which
Sands of
series?
Time.
The
Sands of
one?
Time.
Oh no.
I didn't
I
finish
played
the
the
entire
first
series.
So Sands of
Watch
Time.
the movie.
I didn't see the
With
movie.
Jake
Jake Gyllenhaal?
I should watch that.
Yeah, me too. We're
I'm
gonna
a
do a
big
viewing
Jake
I
night.
saw that movie in theaters.
Heard it's garbage.
That's not very good.
Yeah.
I don't know why everyone's got to have a British accent, but so the game's pretty cool because it starts with Sands of Time, and then there's Warrior Within, which is kind of like a weird middle game. Gets a really dark, kind of strange for some reason.
Can you not have the time dagger in one of them too?
I didn't play enough of 2 to remember. I think you do, and you have to end up replaying levels. Either way, the second one's the most forgetful, but then the third one kind of brings it all back. But it's beautiful because the way the game works is by the end of a spoiler for anyone who plans on playing
Uh-oh,
this.
spoiler, Prince of Persia.
It's okay, they can go back in time.
Yeah, when I wave my hands, you can come back. But the ending of the third game is him telling the story of the first game to the princess, and so it is
That's amazing.
It's this perfect closed loop. Shut up. I just remember walking away from that going, "Oh, that was neat.
Yeah.
That was cool." Because the first game, every time you die, the prince would go, "No, that's not how it happened," because he's like telling you a story, and so it does like that's not how the story
Obviously, I'm
went.
still alive.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, that's really neat, and I kind of have this weird theory that that's how Metal Gear Solid 5 is going to end, is that it will just
Come on,
start the
Bruce.
whole thing over again.
I'm trying. Look at
So,
there we go.
That's just me though.
I like the Nolan North Prince of Persia myself.
So you're in Boston.
That one was good.
You mean
was-
Uncharted?
that
Is that
one
what
was-
you're talking about?
No.
No,
They're
it's just
actually
called-
the other Prince of Persia that they made were Nolan North.
Really?
That was his not his height of things, but that's when it was like, all right, Nolan North's going to be in everything from now on.
Wow.
Well, it came out of nowhere because they finished the trilogy and then they just made this new game. It looked totally different.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same character.
It's like parkour.
Was it just called Prince of Persia?
Just called Prince of Persia.
Yeah, yeah.
Reboot?
That's
what I'm
it has a beautiful art style. The combat's very simple. The puzzles are somewhat simple.
Yeah.
You can't really die.
Yeah, you cannot die.
And it has one of the coolest endings, I think, to any game I've played.
Are you including the DLC?
No,
okay.
I never played the DLC. Does it kind of ruin?
I don't know.
the ending?
I didn't play the DLC either, so I didn't know if that's
Okay.
what you're referring to.
I love that ending. It was really good.
Yeah,
question.
Looked awesome. Let's talk to Prince of Persia cast.
Yeah, fries over chips. If you were to make
no, we did
the,
that one.
oh wait, oh yeah, sorry.
I skipped one because it was asking the same question as one earlier.
Which one are we on?
So we're on Boston.
Boston Brawler 02. Do you think crowdfunding a physical item, a board game or a watch, coin card, is more or less reliable than a digital item, like a movie, a video game that will be delivered digitally, a YouTube series? I feel like the physical things are almost more accountable because they usually have a working prototype at some point. If someone just shows me a picture of a watch that will suck my dick, I'm like, whoa, I need to see it. I need to see it.
I don't know.
I like that.
That sounds like a
Yeah,
pitch.
yeah, I'm definitely kind of like a.
Well, they're like, it has black hole technology, but it won't hurt
Black
you.
hole?
Yeah, so like, it just, because otherwise you'd be fucking your
Would it
wrist.
shrink
That'd be
you
dumb.
or like condense it down?
Well, no, that's why it works.
Adam, I need to see this working.
I will show you the dick sucking watch. What do we call this watch?
The dick sucking watch?
Yeah.
The eye blow.
Perfect.
Oh, you. Blow?
You blow.
Nice.
Well, no, because it's the eye blow.
Yeah.
I blow myself.
Gotcha.
You said you blow at the same time. That was the high five.
He went like this. He's all,
You stay back there.
Hey, what are you doing?
Typically, yeah, I can't think of anything I bought though. Like, Bernie always talks about the coin, the super shitty credit card thing they bought. Have you seen that?
Oh, I've seen it.
I don't know what that
They
is.
always talk about it on the podcast, but it's like they,
Named coin, but it's like a credit card.
yeah, you like can load every credit card onto it, but like it doesn't work. So,
what an investment.
well, because it doesn't work enough reliably that you you always have to have your credit cards with you anyway.
Some of the time it works every time.
Yeah, it's a neat idea. Garbage execution in the fact that Apple Pay and whatever
Google Wallet.
whatever
Yeah.
Apple or Google Wallet's next thing is going to be called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's called Android Pay. Yeah, it's Android Pay. But yeah, the fact that you have your cell phone on you wherever you go, and everything has NFC technology now. So the idea of having this card is pointless. So yeah, I always prefer the physical things.
I don't. I'm kind of neutral to both of them. I guess I'm like, it's the same. Like if there's a physical item or like a prototype or whatever, that's cool. I feel like that's the same thing as having like a physical or like a demo, like a playable demo. That's kind of the same thing. I would want either of those things to like donate to anything.
And then also like in terms of like a movie or like a YouTube series, I do like those as well because like when Freddie Wong did his with Video Game High School, it made sense. You're like, okay, I've seen this guy make hundreds of short films.
Well, they had like a short kind of video for it or anything like that.
Well, I mean, all the videos Freddie had made before kind of served as that.
Yeah.
So it was like, look, we've already done this. We just want to make it longer and make a series out of it.
Just hiding.
And that was successful. Like that made sense because you're like, okay, he just needs more money to do a longer version of what he already does.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like video games are my least favorite things to get kickstarted.
What about board games? I don't know. I just
No,
threw that.
silence.
It's really the ultimate insult. Yeah, there's a car.
That one we already answered.
Oh, that's cool.
Go on,
I'm
spool.
trying to find one that we didn't answer because we're getting close to the end.
Yeah, we're basically.
Man Mountain asks, do you boys think that Shenmue 3 would be better suited on a platform like the Oculus Rift, with a lot of focus being devoted to submersing the player in an authentic recreation of an 80s Japanese town and
Recreation, huh?
recreation?
That should be one of their stretch goals. At
Yeah.
$82 billion, they will do Oculus VR support or Morpheus support.
I
Even
want
though that's
them.
not a thing anymore.
I want them to focus on making it slightly more realistic than it was in 1999, though. Like, someone. I think someone else. It may have been the same guy who made a really good point on the subreddit. Was like, yeah, if you want a better version of Shenmue, you can play Yakuza.
Oh yeah,
Like
I keep
Yakuza
seeing that,
is a
yeah.
game that's very much about the environment you're in and embodying a character, and it's very narrative. But it's kind of built on what Shenmue was originally setting out to do, and you can use it to explore like a certain period of
better.
Japan. But then the combat's there, and there's other stuff going on. for it, too.
I say just play GTA 5.
Well,
It's a big open world. I mean, I guess if you want to experience your Japanese roots as a white person, go for it.
Weeaboo, is that what they're called?
I don't care.
Is that derogatory?
I mean, I would say those games are a little bit more subtle. A game like Yakuza is a little bit more subtle than a game like Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto, I think, is very much about playing the game more than it is about the environment you're in. You
Yeah.
can stop and appreciate it along the way, and that's what I like about it.
Well, Yakuza's story is supposed to be really good, right?
Yeah, I think these are very like you couldn't play Yakuza in Florida. Like it couldn't be take place
I
in
see
a
what you're
town
saying,
in
kinda.
Florida or
Yeah.
whatever. You know.
You're entering like a world,
Right.
like outside of your own.
Grand Theft Auto works in New York City, Miami,
Yeah.
Los Angeles, all kinds of things. Whereas
I'm just talking
Yakuza,
about like for a sense of immersion of like,
Yeah.
look, the time of day changes, people react to you, they
Yeah.
do stuff. But then again, it is all kind of based around being an actual video game and being there. It always kind of devolves to just being overly violent and
Yeah.
kind of like the physics are funny. Yay.
I think in Yakuza you get I've never played I've only played part of one. I don't remember which one it was, but I think you get more the vibe that you're just a piece of this world, as opposed it's like Sleeping Dogs, kind of the same way. You're like a piece of this world as opposed to the god overseeing it. And in Grand Theft Auto, you are the god.
Yeah.
It's your car that comes crashing down the highway.
Yeah.
And you're the one with the rocket launcher on top of a building blowing up the people in the streets. Whereas like the games like Shenmue and Yakuza, that you're just supposed to you're supposed to walk down the sidewalk to get to the
You're another
convenience
civilian.
store. Yeah.
There's a balance though. Like I saw people complaining today on the Destiny subreddit because they're nerfing a lot of the guns, and people are like, I want to be the most powerful guy in the world because this is my escape. I have to crunch numbers at work all day.
Right, yeah.
I don't want to come home and have to grind and do another job. Like I want to come in and just fucking put a bullet through some monster's head and watch it explode.
Yeah,
because
that's a valid thing to say.
yeah, so it's like when I hear
play a
Lawrence,
different
Then you
game.
shouldn't play an ARPG.
Yeah, well, when Lawrence is like describing Shenmue, and he's like, yeah, you have to like work a job and you got to make money. That's why I always laugh at The Sims when I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, why would you ever play that?
Yeah, I mean, once you put cheats on,
Some
and
people like that. Why would you
Get
play any of
weird with
those
it.
stupid like dump truck simulators and lumberjack simulators and stuff?
people like it. But like I said, I'm not going to tell people how to have fun. Personally, for me, it's like, well, this isn't what I'm looking for. Also, I'm kind of a weird exception, not the rule. The fact that I have a job where we kind of make fun of games. So I am at the same time looking for those things. All right, the last question comes from the Johnson one. I find it hard to tell people how to spend their money, and I think you guys do too. However, 13 people have given at least $10,000 to this game. Some after it was already funded. Several more have given hundreds of dollars after the goal was met. How do you guys feel about this? Is it ridiculous or just people showing how big of fans they are?
People spent a lot of money on, or one guy especially spent a lot of money on our Kickstarter to send us to the UK.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
not
and
our,
he
our
wasn't even
fans'
in the
Kickstarter.
UK.
And he wasn't even going to appreciate it.
Yeah.
He was just like, hey, I have the disposable income and I like seeing people happy.
He was just being nice.
I hope that's the case. I don't know how that could be a malicious
was-
act in any way, but like
Yeah.
just being like, I have the money. Sure, I'll do this to help the people to get what they want.
You really went though and just like recorded like secretly?
Yeah.
No.
It's none of our business what people spend their money on, honestly.
Yeah.
That's do what you
It's-
want, man.
I think we always talk about being an informed consumer or whatever. I think when you're forking over $10,000, it's impossible. No, you can't make that decision without informing yourself.
I'd
so,
love to see that guy get mad and go, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Do you
Yeah.
think they go back and forth on something like that? Like 10,000 or 5,000?
I
10,000?
want to say someone is giving
I think
10.
they do.
Check those perks.
Or do you think they're so rich that it's like, it's $10,000? That's like a penny to me.
I feel like I would hope that the people giving, I would hope that the people giving this much money, that sort of cash, are independently wealthy, or they come from a rich family, or something like that, and they're like, yeah, I see some good in this. That's fine. Or, I don't know. I owe part of my success to Shenmue in my life because I made a
Yeah.
business where I sell, Jet Cola. I'm like, okay, you were inspired. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you're gonna give a little bit back.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
Like I'll see like during like AGDQ or like any of the like the speedrun events and stuff. That's all charity, and you'll see people like, oh, this game like so much nostalgia basically got me through hard times, whatever, and they'll give tons and tons of dollars.
am I
Where
supposed to do?
Shenmue's not a charity in any way, really. But I guess maybe the game did really affect them a lot when they were younger. So
Yeah. But if you have $10,000 and you blow it on that, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do what you want.
hope you
Yeah,
get a gold
just
like
get
a
it there.
gold-plated
Yeah.
version. Of
I always wondered that. So like, if you were like a crazy billionaire, like one of those guys who's just like flush with money,
What?
um,
Why am I not grabbing this
would
thing?
would it be illegal to buy a neighborhood?
How would you buy it though?
Yeah. What do you mean? Like buy the property
Like,
of a
imagine-
Google
neighborhood?
did that with like cities.
I was gonna say, yeah, like what if you just bought like a cul-de-sac?
Yeah.
I guess
I don't
you
know.
could. If you
What do
bought
you-
up,
you
can
mean
buy
the
up all
property?
You can buy all the property or the
Yeah, I was
land.
gonna say it was like, so like for us buying a house for $1 million,
like an oil
that's
baron.
like typical like LA stuff. Like that sucks, right? Like we can't really afford it. It's a little hard to buy any property out here.
Get
But it's like
off
you're
already,
a
geez.
crazy billionaire, and you're like, I'm gonna buy this entire neighborhood of houses, just give them to people, and I'll sell the houses for like $100,000.
I think there's lots of westerns that's like the theme.
I mean,
when they're trying to buy up a town.
Well, one, there's a lot more. There's a lot more associated. This is completely off topic. There's a lot more associated with home ownership than just like, hey, I own a home now. You know, like it's like property taxes year over year. That's why. Every single time, what the fuck are these Lego guys
I don't know,
doing?
but it's really-
they're just committing suicide. Anytime I see a car won as a prize on a game show, I always think as a kid, because it's something my parents said to me, they're like, they're paying taxes on
Yeah,
that.
you have to
They
pay.
might not be able to afford that car. You know, like just because the car is handed over to them, they're still gonna have to pay taxes on that car, and they're gonna
What's that lady doing?
The first time I had that moment was
Stop it.
I saw the trailer for Mr. Deeds. Never saw the movie, but there's a shot where he buys everyone a Corvette, and it's kind of like that shitty '90s Corvette, so it's already kind of a shitty gift. Boom! But he gets it for everyone on his block, and I guess they were all poor, and then immediately
Yeah.
went like, this was like right after I got a car, and I was like, ooh, they gotta pay for that. The insurance for that's through the roof.
yeah.
That sucks.
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah, no, that's the problem with like James said. My parents always said the same thing too. Like, oh man, they gotta be taxed.
Oh, Mr.
Yeah,
Deeds will pick it up.
$50,000
Who Wants to Be a
car.
Millionaire was the
Mr.
same
Deeds
way.
picked it
As a kid, I was watching it and I was like, well, he hit the 32,000, but he's only walking home with 16.
Yeah, no, that's only
So
like.
what are you gonna go for?
15,000.
Yeah.
Can you have someone else pay your taxes for you?
No.
Like, could Mr. Deeds pick up their taxes for you?
Later on in a lot of those game shows, they factor in that cost. And
Yeah.
they're like, we will be paying the taxes on that, whatever that is.
And so you're like, take that, mom and dad.
Yeah.
Jeez. Anyway, that's it for all your questions this week. Thank you guys. I hope we made Shenmue somewhat entertaining. In this
Just so you
very
know,
slow.
we don't hate anything. We all like video games. We don't hate Shenmue, but if if you play Shenmue right now and you can't laugh at least some aspects of the game, there is definitely some
Monty.
issues with you.
Well, I've
some
started
real serious
I started
issues.
figuring out what we do, which is when there's this ridiculous backlash in the community, like with Dark Souls, we're like, Dark Souls is the greatest game of all time. We sort of smack them down and say, hold on a minute, Dark Souls may not be the best game of all time, and let's talk about why it's not. And that's what we do with
But it is.
Shenmue. It's the same thing. Like everyone's talking about, oh, I can't believe Shenmue's back. It's the greatest. And we're like, no. Hold on a second.
Well, my mind usually goes this way. So like with Dark Souls, it was always, well, I've never played Dark Souls. I'm very intimidated to play it, but I want to do a series where we're gonna see if it's actually if it's really the hardest game as everyone claims it to be. And I was like, oh yeah, it's really fucking hard. But also had other different problems with it. Shenmue, the same thing. When I saw the game trailers thing and I saw that dude pretty much
Crying.
pick up a chair and throw it at your wife, I was like, okay, we got to see what the fuck this is about. Like, I am really curious. Are you supposed to like just lift someone up, just hold B or whatever?
Here, let's do it.
It's really throwing me off. Anyway, I was trying to outro the show, so we're done.
Okay.
Thank you for
right.
watching, and we'll probably see you in
Time.
Texas. If not, then we'll see you in
guys.
Texas.
Again. Thing.
Tune in next time to find out if we make it through.
Probably
Lego
won't.
Jurassic
Mine 7 all that. Bye, guys.
Lawrence was in the middle seat between Adam and I, right? And it literally looked like Lawrence sat down and then they built a plane around him.
Because there's no room.
Because you didn't have much stuff. You had a small tablet, right? You had a small tablet. You had your DS which you were holding, and because you can't move the seats in any sort of way, it was literally Lawrence to the extent of his knees, and then that's exactly where the next seat started.
Yeah.
Like it was bright. He couldn't, like, it would be like anytime